EMEA Spring Split 2025. My name is Alshashar Maya. I will be your host, and I have the lovely company on the desk of Aragon and Trabalink. Welcome back.
Hello. We're back in the city of love.
In the city of love. How are you doing?
City of love. Yo, I'm happy to be here. Super excited for day 2.
Yeah,
Very
we
big.
also have
Okay.
aesthetics on the cast if you want to show it. He looks beautiful, by the way. I'm so confused with what is happening.
The city of love! Aragon's was pathetic. Get him off the show. Actually, he said, the city of love. Like, you're such an NPC.
That's not very
Get real.
nice.
Yeah, je suis content.
The city of love.
You know, buddy, sometimes the truth is not nice. Yeah.
I'm
Shame,
glad.
isn't it?
You should
Everybody
fire.
gets along so well in this studio, don't worry. No, with this in mind, we need to understand where we are and what happened yesterday, because this is day 2. Day 1, it was Los Ratones facing BKR. We're talking about the first seed of LFL. What happened?
Yeah, I mean, it was quite a stomp. I mean, game 1 was a bit more contentious, but game 2 and 3, it was just a complete blowout. This was an insane scat of the week. I just have to stop and highlight this right there. The 4-man from Nemesis, he was absolutely on one yesterday.
I feel like Los Ratones, the last time they really did get tried was from Barcelona in their groups. And, of course, the quarterfinals versus TCL, #1 seed. But, I mean, big props to BK Rogue, right? They completely defied all expectations. They took the LFL finals domestically versus KC 3-2. They made it all the way to semifinals. This team had only made top 8 up to that point. Great opponent. LR, though, are coming in as the reigning champions, right? They're holding the crown, they're looking to defend it, and they're waiting for their counterpart in the finals already.
I will say it's a bit of a shame, though. I think we didn't see the true, extent of BKR's powers. I think it was a bit of an off day on top of LR playing extremely well.
Yeah.
I think we could have seen more from BKR.
On one side is Los Ratones getting better by the game.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, BKR didn't show up what we were expecting. They're the first seed of LFL. They proved so much during the regular splits. We didn't really get to see them versus Los Ratones. On the other side, I gotta say, Nemesis was a complete monster coming into this series. The shot calling, what he brought in as well. This is why they're again on the finals. You keep doubting, but they still show up. As schedule says, we're not out yet. Meanwhile, on the bottom side, we have Barcelona versus KC Blue, and this is the match of the day. There's a lot to talk about here, so let's start talking about Barcelona and their group as well. What did they have to face in order to reach semifinals?
They had to face the reigning champions.
There you go.
They were in the same group with LR starting off. And to be fair, LR didn't even put as much of a fight as the Italian scene from Axolotti. Like, it was actually Checo having to drag Barcelona through that best of 3 to get him through. But that was a very good 2-0, in terms of series for Barcelona to qualify as the first seed from their group.
Yeah, and it looks like Barcelona, they had quite an easy route. They 2-0'd Los Ratones, like you said, and then dropped very few games. But then you take a look at the other side as well with KC Blue, and they've dropped 1 game this entire tournament so far, which is a stat I feel like is very underappreciated. But so far for Barcelona as well, dropping 4 games. But KC Blue, they're on one. They're doing extremely well.
Two monsters meeting.
I will raise, however, technically by the book, that was a much easier group that KCB was in, coming through as the first seed, right? But yeah, that's exactly what you expect, especially for KCB, who are trying to rebuild their name right now from what happened in winter, also losing the LFL finals. Like, this is a very great start for KCB so far.
This is important for them. Barcelona also needs to win this one. It's also last hope for these regions, Spain and France. Meanwhile, NLC is just chilling on the finals as well. But now they're chilling. Let's make this more confusing for the desk. We're going to play a new game show, okay? We cooked a new one. I'm sorry, Aragon, you're not ready for this. Taking into consideration the Spirit Blossom, okay, new map.
Okay.
We're going to look into the map. We're going to look into the map itself. So we'll present you an image.
I knew it. Okay.
And you'll have to tell me what is wrong.
Hey, we've played that on the NLC. Stop cheating.
This one is called He Changed the Map. So I'll present you the first one. You'll tell me what has changed, and I'll just say, okay, let's reveal the real one, and you'll get points because there's more than one change, by the way. No, it's both of you at the same time, and you'll let me know what's changed.
The funny thing is I've not played with the new Rift, so if there's like decorations there, then I have.
To the first one, you'll tell me what has changed, and I'll just say, okay, let's reveal the real one.
I got this.
Sorry for you. Show me the first one. Chat, you can be part of it because we have the chat right here, and we can help you.
What? The funny thing is I've not played with the new...
Only the image, Aragon.
I can't. I'm not looking at the chat.
Looking at
You have
chat.
to trust me.
Okay. What is different here?
Okay, I got it.
Okay, Trouble.
There is a wall where there is supposed to be... The bottom wall is not supposed to be a brick wall. It's supposed to be trees, I think.
Where?
So
This one
above... Is that Timo? Yeah, above the Timo abilities, there is a wall.
Yeah.
That's not supposed to be a brick wall.
like that.
Yes.
That's your first clue?
Yeah.
Okay, we lock in that
Yeah.
one. Eragon, do you see anything else?
I mean, I can't just say the same thing, can I?
No.
Because I mean, there's never a beacon on the left. That's immediately where I draw my
Oh,
attention
so the
to.
beacon on the bottom left is not there?
Usually, no.
Okay, but that's
also
wrong, by
part
the
of
way.
rule.
Yeah,
Okay,
don't say
never
that
mind.
because that is wrong.
All right.
Okay, so do I win or what?
That sucks.
No, is that all, the only change you see?
Are there more than one?
There's usually 3, by the way.
3 changes.
There's an easy one, a medium one, and a hard one.
This
Each
is
one
the
will
easy
give you a point. Even aesthetics is like glued to the screen.
Okay, well, I got one more.
Yes.
I think next to the tri-bush, to the right, where there's like the big wall. Can I have the full screen, please, again?
Okay.
Thank you so much, production. Yeah, I feel like the wall is weird there. The wall is elongated.
You think it changed?
Yeah, the wall is changed there. It's added.
2 guesses for Trouble. Thank you for participating, Eragon.
Yeah, I'm out.
Let's see the real image.
You said you actually played.
See?
Oh my god!
You got 2 points,
Wait.
Trouble,
Wait,
by
were
the
the
way.
trees gone from the top right as well?
Yeah, that's what she guessed.
On a set?
my
Yeah, like an
goodness. Okay,
entire
I'm
tree
getting
branch was
cleared.
out.
I'm
The
getting
last
cleared.
clue was the root on the bottom right, which was the hardest.
Oh, my word.
You got 3 points because of that.
Wow.
One easy, one medium. Good job, Trouble. This is the first one. You're warming up. You're
Okay.
warming up. I'm gonna
Okay.
give it to you. Okay?
I need to lock in.
Give me the second image. We'll do 3, okay? We'll do 3. Don't worry. Chat, participate. What has changed? Only 2 differences on this one. I'm helping you. Look closer.
I'm looking. Can I ask a
One
question?
is- Okay, Trouble. Yes.
There's 5 raptors. Isn't there supposed to be 4?
No, the number is correct. But
Oh, sorry.
Okay, so something, I feel like I've fallen into a trap of looking at the UI. Is that like a part of the trick question ever?
No.
No, not the
No,
UI.
it's
It's
the
the map.
Okay. Yeah.
the UI is
I
not
thought you were
part
gonna.
of
I
the
thought you were
Spirit
gonna.
Blossom.
Okay. Can we get a
Okay.
full screen on that again?
A full screen.
Because I'm too blind for this, right?
Also, Trouble, you were so close. Look into your left. Trouble, left. Look into the monitor. It might be easier.
Perfect, yeah.
You were looking at it.
Okay, one of the little guys is black instead of blue.
Yes, that's one. You lock in that
Okay,
one.
okay.
What's the next one?
Yeah, I'm looking. I'm having a hard time with this
No
one.
pressure.
No pressure
No
at
pressure.
all. I just feel like I'm not
5.
doing very well.
No pressure. 4. 3.
Is the ramp different? Is the ramp area different?
What ramp?
Towards the river.
Towards Timo.
I feel like there's a ramp that's more defined with like rocks and stones.
There's a difference where Timo is.
Yes.
That it?
Yes.
Let's lock it in. Let's see the real part. There it is. You get
Let's
2
go.
He
points.
said ramp.
But it's
like
ramp area. I don't know how else you define that area.
2 points, but you got 1. You're currently at 4 points. You're currently at 2.
Yes.
Final image.
Yo, I'm lucky.
It's us.
Oh, it's the shirt.
What changed?
He
Okay, there
changed
you
the
go.
skirt.
What is different?
Me.
Yes.
The doghouse? What's he doing there?
It's because of Nafiri. No, I'm kidding. Okay, you lock that in?
Yes, the doghouse.
Obviously, that's not part of it. There's 2 more changes.
2 more changes?
2 more.
Me.
Yes.
Okay, there's a little light to the left of the tower. It's not supposed to be there.
Is it really meant to be a swirl around the tower?
Doesn't
I
supposed to
feel
be
like
there.
I've never seen a swirl around the tower.
Swirl like the,
I
it's
played
the Spirit
1,500
Blossom.
games.
Yeah, it's the
Okay.
Spirit Blossom. And you're a top player as well.
Inhib doesn't have a...
By the way, did you see how he started? This game so confused. He's like, oh, I've been playing this game for so long. It's like, I got this. I'm like, I'm not playing the map at all.
Okay, listen.
Yeah.
There's never a roof on the inhibs.
Yes, there is.
Yes, there is.
It's
Oh my
Spirit Blossom.
god.
I've played so many games this season. It's
Oh,
the
yeah.
most I've ever played.
Yeah, well, you've spent so much time in the gray screen that you don't even know the
Yeah,
riff.
you're right. Actually, maybe that's the problem.
Top laner, by the way. 5 seconds, 4 seconds, 3 seconds, 2. Yes.
The tower looks different as well.
The tower.
The tower
yeah,
looks
that's
different?
because it's Spirit Blossom.
And the light should not be there. The light should not
The
be
light, you're so close, by the way. Let's reveal the real image. It's
Hey, I
the
got the
tree.
doghouse.
The doghouse is
Trees.
correct. The trees
trees
near the lamp.
Oh my god, it's
is
so
the
obvious
difference.
once you bring them back.
Obviously, it's also like there's a little
Oh my
thing next
God.
to the gate. It shouldn't be there, which means
there.
trouble.
I got the hardest one. The
Yeah.
doghouse.
You won. You won trouble.
This was so difficult.
It's so rare. So we got you a gift, okay? Last split. Well, LFL were the reigning
I
champions
got a really
and all
cool
that.
shirt last time.
You got something even better. Trust me. So since it's like Los Ratones, a defending title, we brought something from England, which is actually
Is that a
we can't
guard?
see it.
What am I looking at?
Is that a guard uniform?
It's an entire full body guard uniform. You can
Wait,
now
I'm so
protect them.
sad. I'm the Englishman here. I need this. Oh my.
Wait,
You have
the
so
hat
many
is
things.
So good.
There you.
I can't wear it because I have a bun on me. I've got a bun
But
on
you
my
have an
hair.
entire costume as well. If you can show eventually as we move on with the show.
Sure.
Congratulations, Trouble.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much for
Dude, I swear,
participating as
every
well.
single time I win something, I get a Halloween costume out of here.
Hey, you're ready.
I'm wearing my prize from yesterday. It's pretty cool, I will say. Look at it. Cats.
If
You're the
only
whole
you
Halloween
played as
costume
good
when you're
today
on
as
Yeah,
well.
okay.
I'm a top laner. I know the riff so well. Well, do you know the teams? That's the question because we just started on semifinals. Do you know who they are? KC Blue. Let's start with KC Blue and understand a little bit more from this team. This team, well, they have the players. I think this is so important to say.
Can we first get a round of applause for them managing to get their entire roster this time around to EMEA Masters? I just want to highlight the hardships they went through over in winter with Pukada getting swapped for Isma, then Isma getting bought out from another LEC team, and then Piero had visa issues so he couldn't play, so they had a lone jungler and, you know, a Division 2 support over there. They had like barely any practice at all, but this time around, it's the true deal.
This is KCB.
Yeah.
What do you have to say?
And I just want to give some more insight on one of the players on Yukino because I feel like a lot of people might not know where exactly he came from. And I think his story is quite interesting where he started in Tier 3 NA, played some Champ Skew, got scouted a little bit, went to Korea, boot camp there, got scouted a little bit, and then also got rank 1 and 2 on the EU ladder. And that's probably where Casey saw him
Maggi
and
Felix
picked him up.
who?
Yeah. Did really well in almost every single aspect of the scouting process. So now he's ended up here and he's looked really good.
NA bringing talent.
Yeah.
That's, dude. I'm
Damn,
just
don't even start, bro. Jojo just won the LEC.
True,
Don't even start, okay?
We're losing, guys.
We're gonna get added on X for like forever.
So-
Okay, I want to jump into in-game though. With
Yeah, Yukino in-game.
because I feel like he's the kind of jungler that I call the glue between the early game and the late game. I feel like KCB are a team that are like very macro-oriented. They like playing very calculated team fights, but someone needs to be the psycho in a good way in the team, right? And that one is Yukino. I feel like he's so good at tracking enemy support, enemy jungler, and getting into these fist fights that we see right here with the help of his support.
Yeah, and I feel like the way he plays out situations is super good as well. Just watching his micro, he goes back in and out of the fights, plays around his cooldowns super well, and you can never see him actually step a toe out of line in these fights. The way he's kiting in and out with the Triumph procs and his cooldowns over and over again. And then also playing towards bot side is really significant too.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like it's a give and take, right? If he's going to go all crazy and request his support, it's only fair that he returns the favor as well. And this is just a very simple, just set up dive that they're going to create right here. And he's going to grab the double kill onto the Xin Zhao. However, what I wanted to highlight mostly is the next clip that's coming through. That is a dragon that KCB had lost from that play. You'll see Yukino. He stands in the pit. He goes invis in the pit. They don't chase him at all. He sees Maokai through the ward, goes back to his blue buff, and he sneaks through the Skull Crab with his W, wraps around, and then finds Maokai in his jungle. And I feel like this sort of tracking is what makes him really, really important for that early game for KCB.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think he's fantastic. The bonk on the head there, I remember watching this and you being pretty happy with that. But no, he's incredibly good micro-wise. And I think this team in general is just relatively simple, honestly, compared to their messy counterpart in BKR that we saw earlier on. They play weak side top, playmaking mid jungle, and then a bot that they play for, just very standard League Legends.
So it's mostly aggressiveness coming in from Yukino. With the things we've seen, like the Wukong, what else does he play? So we understand a little bit more of his champion pool, because so far what I'm getting is like, I want to throw hands.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. This is aggression on aggression.
It is aggression, and then there's also a lot of the meta, a lot of strong skirmishing champs. In my opinion, the best champions that Yukino played when it just comes to the raw eye test of seeing his mechanics and skirmishing, it was Skarner and Wukong to me. He did incredibly well. I think in one of the Skarner games versus Heretics, I believe, he was 5-0 at one point, just beating people up with Heartsteel. It was pretty impressive, and I think he's really good at these champions.
The only thing that's kind of worried me right here is that he's fantastic on sort of like the AD champions, because let's not forget that Skarner is also another AD champion, right? right? But what happens when that pool gets suddenly trimmed down? What does he actually jump into, and how much value can he provide to KCB? Because, of course, when you have to jump into more of the AP likes of the jungle, you need an AD mid laner, like an AD somewhere else in your team. So I'd love to see how KCB like actually pivots through that if it does go to 4 or 5 games.
That could actually be something to pinch on this team. And we were talking about what he can provide. Okay, he's aggressive, but what is the aggression leading into? And we saw a lot of replays about providing that into the bot lane. So how does the bot lane behave as well?
I think the way that the bot lane behaves is they set up dives with slow pushes, very standard stuff. Setting up for plays and ganks down in bot side is very, very standard. I mean, the thing is, though, it parallels with Barca as well, right? Barca also plays the bot in a lot of ways. These teams are very, very similar where I feel like we're going to see a lot of action down in bot lane with gank setups and dives.
I particularly wanted to highlight from the side of KCB with what Aragon is saying right here, their team fighting as well. I think it has been fantastic. And Aragon has pulled up a clip, particularly on the team fighting, which highlights how good they are even fighting 4 versus 5.
So I really wanted people to see this clip because it's super interesting. It highlights a few things, namely depth of pool for KC with the Neela pick into the Enchanter lane here, which was super, super cool. But also the fact that this is a 4 versus 5 in the Heretic series. And they managed to pull it off, this 4 versus 5, to actually secure the Nash as well. Because as you can see, Yukino's dead, the jungler is dead, and Heretics want to flex that by starting up the Nash. And I want you to also pay attention to Neela. And because like this champion is not played very often. She has a bunch of different passives, like where she'll get a bunch of XP or she'll heal allies too. So notice how Slowq's on the flank now and Akali on the top right. He's going to find an engage. So if we can roll out the clip a little bit. And there we go. If we pause. What that's done is it's made the fight incredibly messy. And now this is going to allow 3xA on the Neela in the bottom left to be able to engage. And I want you to look at Pierre's health. He's dropped to about 1,000 right now, and it's going to be a 4-man Neela ulti. Now, Pierre is going to heal the full and more because Neela's healing on allies will also convert into shield. So just keep an eye on the 4-man engage as well as the healing onto Pierre right there on the center. Oof. There it is. Overheals a lot. Right? I mean, Neela's just an incredibly interesting champion. Being able to punish these Enchanter lanes is super, super cool, and depth of pool is awesome as well.
La bot lane secret is what they call it at KCB. Targamas and Kalist, if I'm not wrong, brought it out 2 years ago in 2023. And this is what won them the title in 2023 as well. They brought out this bot lane in a quarterfinals or semifinals. I can't remember. It was so long ago. But yeah, it's a bot lane that, you know, KCB traditionally carries through no matter what the bot lane is. And it's also actually fantastic. I think Slowq, you did a fantastic job right there into drawing 5 people so that then 3xA can get a 5-man ult with the Neela, which was also fantastic. So again, coordination, team fights is the bread and butter for KCB.
These sort of surprises can just solidify an entire series. These are the surprises we're looking for. Okay, KCB, it's presented. What about Barca? It's a team, well, coming in from Spain, and we have to highlight it, or else Noah is going to chase me again on the studio. So when we look into Barca itself, who are they?
I think they're incredibly similar, right? As I've already mentioned beforehand, they're so similar, honestly, these two teams, in that they play super weak side top with White Knight on a tank or isolated scaling sort of champion, like a Gnar or something like this. And then you have playmakers in the jungle, specifically Thega is who I look at a lot of the time to be proactive and make plays towards bot side, with Legolas and Whiten setting up the plays down in bot.
I also have to highlight right here that Superliga traditionally, they bring teams that are very chaotic, very fiery, very team fighty, very skirmish heavy. And I think that's what they do as well. I think Thager and Chekolad have been playing really nicely together whenever they link up. I think Chekolad has been an absolute demon in the mid lane when it comes to the laning phase, decision making as well, as we saw at the start of show, with just choosing to end the game instead of team fighting. And then also all that pressure that bleeds towards the bot side of the map. I feel like the unsung hero of this particular composition of players is White Knight. I think he's been doing fantastically well, left alone in his devices, and I think it's going to be an interesting matchup as again into main tier, because I'm thinking of all like the Aatroxes, the Gnars, all the skill matchups that are going to be thrown into the top side of the map. We might even see some attention be thrown there too.
Yeah. So tell me.
I mean, I just think, I think top lane in current iteration, especially on these teams, it's a bit NPC. I mean, let's be real. Right? I think for a lot of the games, we're also going to just see Scion or handshakes kind of deal. But maybe on the Nas, like you're saying, I definitely do think there's room to show a little bit of skill expression.
So if they can be left alone, we obviously have to talk about where the jungler is going to provide this attention, where the pressure will be applied. Because if we were looking at KCB and the pressure that he brings, like those fist fights, how can on Barca's side be applied, the jungler?
Yeah, I mean, so when I think of how they play around bot side, I think of their play in the most recent series, I believe, where they ganked for bot lane. There was a Lucian, Nami, and Legolas kept dashing forward in the trades to bait in Dote in for an engage right here, but little did he know that Thago was actually ganking. So it's a nice little bait from the bot lane. They play really well with their jungler to set up for Legolas, and this is exactly where they like to attack.
And I feel like it's sort of this iteration where bot lane might be in a little bit of trouble in a lot of situations, and then Thayer comes around to kind of save the day.
It's a classic,
It's the classic for Barcelona. That's why I'm saying, like, Superliga brings the fire, right? I feel like Legolas and Whiting have been overstepping the boundaries a little bit, right? And Thayer is there to save them. But what happens in this series when Thayer is not there to save that 2 versus 2? Because they put a lot of eggs on that bot lane basket, and it needs to come through.
And I will say, I'm a little bit worried about putting all your eggs in the bot lane basket because I do feel like sometimes, just to be a little bit harsh, is Legolas can be a bit irresponsible with his lead. I've seen times where Legolas will die 1-for-1 in a team fight, which isn't so great. You know, it's not a great quality when he doesn't have to. He will also die on lane swap scenarios where he won't check a bush as he's extending past the bushes in top lane. And it's just not so great. These deaths are very avoidable a lot of the time. But they do play for him very heavily, and they do have a lot of first blood percentage down there as well.
That's what I'm going to say. Like, that's an extremely high first blood percentage on the bot side alone. Like, it almost goes there. So either in favor or against. I see like a lot of there's 2 sides to a coin. It's going to be flipped.
There's also the KP that's very, very low, right? It's like, but when this guy deals damage, he deals damage. That's his DPM from the entire tournament. 800 is pretty high. His damage share, 28% is also pretty high for an entire tournament. We're talking about a team that has dropped a game here and there as well. I think they've dropped 2 games for the entirety of EMEA Masters. So you can't always look good, but his stats so far look good. They play heavily for bot lane. And today I think he has a very big weight on his back to carry the team through that.
So bot lane is going to be pivotal towards this match. I know
Absolutely.
jungle, true. We'll talk about the mid lane. I think that's going to be the big one. But bot lane might be explosive or even too much bloody. Okay. As we now know a lot about these teams, I think we have to do it. I think we have to look into the mid lane. You've been giving like sneak peek about.
I think I've been the biggest fangirl of Chocolate in this particular tournament.
If we keep talking about it, let's talk about the mid lane. I think that's where we're going to really,
Would you guys like to hear about Chocolate?
Okay, talk to me about him. Okay, write a book.
Okay, I feel like Chocolate has been an absolute demon, right? I feel like the way he's been so prominent in the mid lane, I thought Nemesis was probably the best laning mid laner in the league, but I think Chocolate falls really close, and that's because he beat Nemesis in mid lane when they played against each other, when Barcelona 2-0'd Los Ratones, and it was through sheer pressure in that mid lane. Sure, Nemesis makes a mistake by overextending level 2 to level 3, right? But Chocolate instantly punishes, and then you see that his bot lane instantly roams towards the top side of the map to actually defend him on Xin Zhao chasing him. And it wasn't just that. It was decision-making in particular. The will to actually win. Right here, the losing Elder Dragon, he's taken 2 inhibitors, which means Elder Dragon cannot result in a win.
And I think the crazy part is we've seen how good Nemesis is as well, so beating him is crazy.
Absolutely.
Especially in the round of 16 onwards, Nemesis has been an absolute demon. But this play was really, really crazy. TPing out and then coming back and ending the game later was really phenomenal.
But these are the moments where they're 4v5, right? Right here, they're 4v5. His team is looking for a fight, right? There's Guardian Angel onto this area as well. He's like, screw that, I'm actually ending the game. Keep them there. You'll see on your minimap, suddenly Sejuani also starts moving towards that mid lane as well to make sure the game ends. And Chocolate right here ends the game for his team. And that's what I meant earlier on when I'm saying I've seen him drag his team through the victory line. Ooh. That's exactly what I meant. The fantastic shockwave to stop the dash from Sylas as well. Absolutely beautiful.
That's really good.
I'm just enjoying this at the moment. Because you've been talking about him so much.
That was their first series. That was their first series.
So they could have been eliminated here, but it's like, okay, I got you, folks.
Okay, they couldn't. It was their first series. They would go lower bracket, but yeah.
Hey, true. I'm just going to say, I don't want to glaze, but when we talk about, hey, Barca just won 2-0 versus Los Ratones, I think whenever Los Ratones lose 2-0, we know what's about to happen. They go Super Saiyan.
Yeah.
Nord beat them 2-0 and they didn't like the finals.
Remember? Do you remember?
I remember. I'm
just saying. So we got Chocolate on one side. Now, hey, I'm giving you the time.
Look,
she glazes Chocolate. What are you going to do?
Yeah, I'm going to be a bit of a glazer now as well. Look, you know what I like? You know what I like? I like really good micro. I like spacing. And I think slow Q's micro is crazy. I mean, I've watched this guy. I'm like instantly, well, damn. You know,
Well,
this guy's...
say what Aragon would say. I'm a really big fan.
I'm a really big fan.
Yeah, there you go.
Of Slowq. I am. I think he's incredibly phenomenal. He always avoids ganks. He plays team fights well. His reaction speed is crazy. And I really like his spacing in early lane phase. So I think we have a clip. If we could pause it upon starting it with a Taliyah turnaround. It's very simple, okay? You have Sayator walking up with a gold card, Twisted Fate with a gold card, about a gold card, trying to set up a gank for a Xin Zhao, but Slowq's going to know exactly when the Twisted Fate gives up and actually turns back around to then walk forward, and he turns around pixel perfect, harassing. So if we have a play of it, gives up about now. He knows, turns back around, never gets hit by the gold card and avoids the gank. And this is a theme, right? He always avoids ganks, survives. In this clip in particular, you see he's in the top left right now, Slowq on the Azir, on the ramp, and his Zhonya's reaction speed is really fast here. Managed Zhonya's the Nico ulti, and I love seeing this kind of thing. Because this is the kind of thing that's really good for developing talent. Having the baseline mechanics are phenomenal. He avoids a gank here right now as well, and I thought, you know, he probably dead here. There's red buff slows on the Lee Sin. Looks like he's dead, flashes away, gets away from the gank again. And it's a trend. And then it's just solo kill after solo kill after solo kill. No W on the rise, goes in. And I have to be honest, when I was preparing clips for Slowq, I got too many, right? There were too many plays, and I could have made a montage of all the plays. There were more where he was getting solo kills on the weak side of the map, covering for cross maps. There was so much that really looked good, and I was super impressed.
Yeah, and I actually remember this guy from like 2021, 2022, NLC, where he just came in as the guy who was playing Akali and LeBlanc.
Yeah.
And Akali and LeBlanc would be perma-banned throughout any series, any best of one. Because he was just so damn good in these assassins. And you saw that with the Akali right there. The last second flash into the redirection of the Q to the left was absolutely beautiful. I feel like these are the kind of mid lanes that I do want to see, because Chocolate is more of the control mage kind of guy, but if you bring in things like the LeBlanc, the Sylas, the Yone, the Akali, you can really break apart team fights like this.
I think he's got like an 80% win rate or something on his Akali lifetime, right? Just to support what you were saying. Like, he's just nuts. He is nuts on these champions, these assassins. It's super, super cool.
Every now we'll get to see those stats, and we can talk about it. I just want to let everybody know Champion Select will happen as soon as possible. But for now, let's chat a little bit about this. Not only about the stats, but the champion pool. We look like the shared champion pool is Ahri, Taliyah, and Azir, but we know Slowq can pull other things. Like, he played the way, even the Aurora. There's no LeBlanc there, but you know he can pull it off.
You know it's in the back pocket. You know LeBlanc is in the back pocket.
Just waiting for the perfect opportunity. So when we look at this, I want to get us a little bit of time to talk about head-to-head and how they can face each other. You were talking about Control Mage versus the playmakers from Slowq, but my question to you, if possible, Trouble, is Chocolat has the experience to be like, hey, you play Assassin, I'm not going to give you the opportunity to kill me.
I mean, he's playing really good champions for that, like Tristana, Corki, Ryze, Sylas, usually champions that can very easily go past the laning phase. Even though Sylas is a melee, usually a lot of the skirmishes that he does 1v1, the healing that he gets back, like, he has really good matchups as well in a lot of the champions, like Akali and stuff like this. However, what I'm really worried about is that we mentioned how Yukino really likes his AD champion pool. And if it does go to 5 and if it does get trimmed, I don't necessarily see Slowq right here with any AD champions over in the mid lane. Of course, we have seen him on things like Tristanas and Corkis, but how polished are these champions coming into this one? No pun intended, because Chocolat is also Polish, right?
He hasn't been able to play those. So that's your state for Chocolat. And right now, I'm going to talk to you, okay, Aragon? About Slowq. Yeah, you've been defending him. I also am a big fan of him. He was playing on the NLC 2022 at the stacked moment. We had the most stacked mid lane moment with Timp, for instance, back in the day. We had the one that completely broke records in the mid lane playing Brand, the Kai'Sa with AP, all that. How can Slowq win versus Chocolat?
I think there's lots of angles for his pools to be good into Chocolat specifically, but a lot of it will come down to the micro in mid lane. I feel like if Slowq is supported by a strong jungler that lets him be lane dominant, and also if he gets to play his pool, his best champion, I believe, in terms of win rate and most picked is the Taliyah. So that's going to be a contentious pick as well. But if he gets to play his pool and he's left to be strong with a strong jungler that supports him to be able to trade, I think he will dominate the lane phase.
Well, before we toss it to the casters as the players are getting ready, tell me something, Eric.
Oh, yeah, go on.
What's going to be the number at the end of the day? Predictions. With everybody watching, the chat is judging.
Well, my prediction before the show was 3-0 for KC.
Okay.
And I think I'm still going to stand by that. 3-0 for KC Blue.
Wow, clean for LFL. Hey, let's see what happens within the game. But in order to jump into the game, to get the bird's eye view of the Rift, we need to toss it to the casters. It's going to be Aesthetics and Trouble taking this one. So tell me, what's the number at the end of the day?
Yeah, what is a number? Who
What is the
cares?
number?
I mean, geez, that's...
Come on in.
I really don't know.
Do make yourself comfortable.
I will. I was comfortable the whole time. I was sitting on a chair waiting.
You were taking the whole space.
I actually, yeah, I was feeling really good just listening to you guys. Portuguese John Travolta. I mean, he raised a good point. Like, what do we really know? What do we know? If you've seen his chest hair,
What do you know?
I don't know if you should trust what he says. But then again, it's Archeron, so you kind of just look
You
at
never
him.
know what he's about to say,
Yeah.
first of all.
Yeah, that guy's strange. He owns like 3 boats back in Portugal, by the way, if you're wondering. We're about to get into game 1, and for this semi-final, we're hoping again it's a little bit more competitive than today. Anyway, on desk yesterday, trouble. Yesterday was a quick day,
Yeah, it
unfortunately.
was. I don't think it's going to be the same today.
I hope not.
feel like Barcelona have only grown throughout the tournament.
True.
And I feel like KC are looking for events as well. They lost the LFL finals to BK Rogue. Then
Yeah.
BK Rogue got 3-0 yesterday. So they might want summer events for the LFL. And let's not forget, both teams that are today in the semifinals have both beaten LR
True.
in the group stage, once in winter from KCB and once now for Barcelona. So whoever makes it there, LR might want some
That means
events
they're going to win
time.
finals, right? That's how it works. So we've actually got draft coming up pretty, yeah, I'm told now. See, I summon it, boom. Yeah, even the Portuguese can't do that. Now, focus up. We go into game 1 with heightened expectations. You guys are talking about mid a lot at the end. I know you're a big Checkerlard lover. I'm a slow queue and Checkerlard lover.
Equally
I'm
a slow queue, because I saw this guy grow in the NLC. That's where
Yeah.
he started, right?
So we love both of them.
Yeah.
Oh, you can't pick
Big love
between
for
your
both.
kids, can you? No.
Nope.
All right, so what's open? What do you see? Because I see Hui bands, I see mid lane bands really taking off the board. Big jungler there with the Fury Vibe.
The Rumble, a bunch of the junglers, the Talia that both of these two guys play.
Oh, yeah.
I'm actually so not in sync with Talia because Nemesis does not play it at all. I was co-streaming all
True,
their
you were saying
games.
that
So, like,
yesterday.
Talia became a non-factor in my brain, right? But it's so good, especially when you know both Thager and Yukino love their Xin Zhaos, they love their Nafiris, they love their Pantheons, all of those champions that kind of want to fist fight. Talia sets up so nicely for them.
And when you have junglers like the Xin Zhao available, maybe this is Yukino's first thought. Take it away from the pairing that you so like. The Pantheon, similar value as that gets locked in here for his game 1.
I was about to say I smell something like a Pantheon plus an Ahri, but Ahri plus the Hui right here have been taken away. The Varus, a great takeaway right here. Depending on what Barcelona go, this Varus could be on hit with lethal tempo.
True.
He can go full lethality, which makes him that much stronger in laning phase.
Now on the other side, let's just see if
Oh,
the
wow.
handshake Wukong for the double AD already picked up. This is getting more and more popular. The Ezreal's still there, and okay, so we got pretty standard draft so far and just power picks for Bartha.
I wouldn't be surprised right here if I saw a Sion Slam coming through from Mainter.
Oh,
You
yeah.
don't really have any tank killers from the side of Barcelona, right? It's all set up.
True.
You've got a very slippery AD carry set up through mid jungle a lot as well. So we'll see if Mainter wants to pilot that or take an S tier pick like the Rumble, which is usually banned away.
I guess they want more AP as well to follow up
This
too.
is gonna be a big mess in the best way
You
possible.
reckon?
There's no tanks.
True.
This is gonna be a lethality Varus with the
True.
Pantheon hitting the side lanes. Wukong and Talia flying in your screen.
True. Good semi-globals. I wonder if the question about Rise might add to that mix then as well. Part of the engage tool now taken away is KC Blue don't want Barcelona to... Sorry, Barca. I've been doing this all week, talking about them, thinking about them. Remember I asked a stupid
Hey, they
question?
do have the logos. It is them
I
technically,
know.
right?
We just say Barcelona, why not? With Orn's taken away, I guess engage is where they're going here to start off game 1. They don't want White Knight to be on that neutral tank that just takes it in front of the Rumble.
I wonder if they're gonna go towards more like a bounce approach for White Knight. The Galio is kind of good into the Rumble
Oh,
as
yeah,
well.
neutralize the
You
lane.
do have the Wukong diving super deep into the backline, so
True.
a Galio would be a fantastic pairing as well. But also looking towards the terms of like something like a Sion potentially. Again, a big brick wall in front of KCB kind of forces the Varus to go on here to deal with that later on as well.
You can't ban them all away. I mean, because you took the Ornn, the sign you're talking about, good one, Trouble, that's off the board, but you raised a really important issue here. The setup for Barca is they can just walk towards this Galio if they so choose. They've already gotten rid of the Yone. What goes with it here?
I feel like they're looking for their mid lane right here for the side of KCB. You pick your mid lane right here, and then you counter pick with support.
Yep.
Because it could be any type of engaged support for the Ezreal, but it could also be the Karma. So if you do pick an support here that is melee, you could run into the Karma Ezreal bot lane, and that would be a really big bad thing that happens to them. So Syndra right here will pair perfectly again with the Pantheon, a very strong mid jungle duo to rival Wukong and Talia, and then you counter pick for Piero last.
Annoying for the range for Talia and lane as well. Let's wait for that to get locked in because I mean, the Nemesis Syndra, I fear. Slowq going a different direction this time. Still a pairing, but I guess they weaker on the range, if ever so slightly.
Ooh, okay, that's just a hover.
Yeah,
80 carries have been picked.
Let's
I got baited for a second, so I'm like, he's forcing into Pantheon Rumble. Ooh, that kind of stings. It's not going to be the case. I wonder if right here they're going to go for more of an engaged kind of support. The Galio, I'm expecting that to go into the Rumble top side.
Yep.
And we're looking at things like Alistar or Leona if they want to. I think Alistar and Leona are fantastic because both Orianna and Varus are extremely immobile.
True.
So you can definitely get some flashes early on.
Also, range as well for that Leona is a really nice option. I feel like that long-range engage against things like Rumble, as you said, against things like Ori, Varus, with immobility as well, all the dive, makes it so easy. So Barca really making their comp easy to execute and press their buttons. KC Blue have counterpick. They have counterpick for their support. Do you just shape it with something easy?
I don't think it's a counterpick anymore. I think it's a case of,
like,
do you want Nautilus or do you want Alistar? Like,
ooh,
pick
big
one of the two.
counterpick. No one saw this coming. It's a cow. Okay. Well, they round out engage at least, so they also have, I guess, pretty reliable R buttons.
Yeah, I feel like for KCB, it's more of a structured draft right here, where they're going to try to play the front to back with Pantheon and Alistar sort of buying time for Orianna and Varus to ramp up. However, for Barcelona, it's an all-in type of day. You've got the Wukong with the Leona diving into the backline, Galio smashing through, and usually Talia is the one that will start setting up the play with the wall,
True.
and Ezreal is very elusive, right? So Barcelona have a pretty much every man for themselves kind of composition, where some of them dive, some of them trying to scatter, whilst KCB are trying to more hold the structure.
Where I feel like for Barca, seeing things like Ezreal and Talia that can kind of hold their own feels really nice. I love when my AD carry and an AD carry like Legolas is a little bit more reliable on his champion, because, you know, Aragorn was bringing it up on desk. It was talked about where he does get a lot of resources. They play towards his bot lane.
He also gets caught.
He does get caught. Ezreal makes it a little bit easier not to get caught. So at the very least here for Barca, the way the comp functions seems like they're playing towards their strength without giving up their AD carry in the process.
I'm just going to look to see what happens in the early game and where both of these junglers are going to choose to path towards, right?
Yep.
Wukong usually looks for that level 6. I feel like Cyclone is his big weapon to start picking up fights.
Sure.
Pairs up really nicely with Talia level 6, right? Because you can actually roam, cut off pathings, play for dragons, play for void grabs, yada yada. But Pantheon is a little bit easier because once you have the passive on the Pantheon, you get the 5 points on the passive, you can very easily actually pull flashes and summoners from different lanes.
Plus that enhanced Q damage is nuts. But we're going into our next semi-final. Spain versus France. It's on a different level this time, though, and it's the last seed for France, the last seed for Spain, of course. The winner waiting, or rather looking towards who they verse tomorrow, and we already know, or the day after. Los Ratonas are there. They're waiting. They're just going to see which one comes through. KC Blue last time, you know, faced them last year. Unfortunately, it wasn't the full roster. I know you talk about on the desk, where it was a little bit disappointing. It was like the Isma fill-in show, and KC Blue weren't their true self, but this time they are. I know something else you said on the desk as well. They finally got their roster together. There was a bit touch and go with Piero at one point, but they're finally here and in full form against Barca. We have to see if Shekelad's going to be enough.
It's really funny because they won over in winter in the LFL without the roster.
True.
And now they haven't won with the roster, but they look stronger at EMEA Masters right here. So that's a big takeaway from the side of KCB as we see 3XA walking into lane with Comet, of course. It's going to be the lethality virus. You don't really have any heavy duty tanks on the side of Barcelona to go towards that lethal tempo. Plus, Varus into Ezreal. Varus will always have the priority in lane. You've got a lot more AoE spells, heavy hitting abilities, and very raw AD damage through the Comet and through, of course, his abilities.
Plus, I respect the cleanse here as well against Leona, double CC, and with Shielded Duran coming from that top lane too, and that'll definitely come in handy. Slowq decided to take this lane and take it as an Orianna. The Syndra was looked at for a little bit, but still expecting some lane presence here as like Ori, Syndra, both similar in the sense that their lanes are probably some of the strongest out of like control mages. You know?
I'm actually kind of surprised that it was the Orianna here over the Syndra, because I can't imagine a time where Barcelona will be grouped up with the champions that they do have,
also true.
especially since they don't necessarily have a proper structure in their composition so far. And Syndra kind of thrives at deleting one member or taking them super low and they have to back, so you make it a 4 versus 5, right?
Yeah.
So we'll see what Slowq you can actually do with this Orianna right here. If we're talking about Nemesis, then it's like kind of hands up, the respect on the whole thing of Orianna. But we'll see how Slowq sort of pilot that through the time. I think we have some time in our hands.
I think we do as well. And that's
I think we're looking at level 6s here for sure between the two teams.
I'm happy with that. Like our games yesterday were kind of the same, where it was only game 3 where I feel like BK Rog just started panicking and like, we just got to throw something at the wall and see what sticks. But yesterday was a slow burn of a day. Early games, 10, 15 minutes, couple of kills, but we're just kind of lolling about. And what I noticed yesterday from Lost Returns is like, they played all towards bot side. It was all about these dragons, and the dragons that can give them so many opportunities with comps like this that you talk about, Trouble, where it's like this all in this wombo. And dragons in this meta are still so damn important, regardless of the soul.
What I'm seeing is that both the junglers are pathing bot side, and I'm actually very surprised right now that 3x and Piero do not have the priority over on the bot side of the map. Because usually, when you are playing with Total Devourers, you do have the push in lane. However, Alistar, not the greatest level 1 champion to take control of a lane. So Leona plus the barrier, which a lot of the times any carries in the LCK and LPL will use early on to take trades. This is why 3XA was probably not so willing to try and step up, get priority, take the trade. He doesn't have the second combat summoner, whilst on the other hand side, Barcelona does.
Also, I will say, Alistar into Ezreal can be quite a pain as Arcane shift away. Ignore that because he flashes and matches, and Legolas has to burn his own. Here comes the jungle supporters. They've gone deep for this, and KC Blue's bottom lane now need to make an escape trip. With Yukino coming down, it won't be too hard as Vega pays attention, and it all just disengage.
This is good and bad for 2 reasons. 1, of course, it's bad for Barcelona. You burn both summoners onto the Ezreal. 2, though, Yukino spent so much time waiting around, knowing that Thager was taking the skull crab from the river, that now Thager's gonna back first, grab the double longsword, grab the dagger, head towards the top side of the map, and Talia can actually open up mid lane for him. So we're looking for a double scuttle potentially for Barcelona here.
That's a nice start. I mean, at the very least, as you said, it'll be a nice trade considering that Legolas, with those double summoners down, is kind of big. Bot lane's gonna back though. Might be talking about the swap question mark. Pings are going down that they're going back bot.
Double scuttle for Wukong, just like this. I think it's so important, right? Because Wukong actually loses to Pantheon 1v1. Pantheon is one of the better fist fighters when it comes to like melee champions. And Wukong's really looking for that level 6 to actually be relevant in the game. So getting the double scuttle right there, even though you lost summoners on your Ezreal, is it the worst thing possible? Not necessarily, because he's kind of sleeper. He can play for distance. Are you losing a lot of the priority? Sure you will, because you can't push as hard, right?
But I do want to see how that affects with bot as well, because that clear leads down towards bot for Thager. Almost level 5, so as you said, that XP advantage is meaningful. You can going to now check, though, as that scuttle means that Vision's going to be given over with the ward placed down. Dragon started, but wide in on a ward. Flash Zenith Blade. Slowq saw him coming, but he's seismic shoved back. He might not even be able to burn the Flash to survive. Even though he does, the poke going to be meaningful. Up against the turret, 100 HP left standing, but that summoner down, and not respecting White-In as Dragon is going to be the trade. But for now at 1500, it's not secured. White-In's walking in, need to look for the turn. Thager's there in front, looking for the fight. It's first blood going over to KC Blue. It's turned into an absolute slugfest as the seismic shove from Chocolat burns the rest of his mana. Dragon now sitting there, unleashed, unsmited, until Thager gets in front. KC Blue. That was just a horrible exchange.
That was a fantastic play from White-In. Getting towards the mid lane, he commits the exhaust. He takes Slowq out of the play, knowing that there's no teleport for Slowq to join his team. Creates a 3 versus 4 scenario right here. Let's watch this one more time on the replay. He flashes for the E, connects, and the knock up from the Talia. They do commit the exhaust right here, which is not going to equal a kill. However, you see Chocolat, he'll stay for one more wave, which means that Slowq, if you look on your minimap, he can't really commit to walking in. Because the reason Chocolat committed to that wave was to get level 6, cut off Slowq, and make this a pure 4v3 in favor of Barcelona.
Good catch there as well. Dragon also goes down to them, so for Barca, this game 1 just shapes up to be really nice with the kill also on their main carry that we talked about on the desk. I also want to pull out there that the disrespect from Slowq. Aragon was glazing this guy, but and I'm not just trying to blame Aragon. Yeah, his micro, he needs to flash early there. And the fact that he didn't, the disrespect from him onto White-In cost him dearly. As I said, Chocolat already with the tier, in a really good spot in the game. And Slowq is trying to back now, but Chocolate has enough mana to clear this wave fast, and it feels like Slowq might have to stick around so he doesn't miss another wave.
Yeah, this mid lane is going to be a little bit rough right now, especially since when you burn that flash onto Orianna, you're literally sitting duck, and you know that Wukong has just hit level 6 as well.
Yeah.
So you're permanently under threat. I feel like, if anything, for Orianna, it's really worth warding around the left side of the map that we're seeing right now towards the ramp, behind the Raptors, because that's a very easy way of Wukong to dive underneath the tower and pair it up together with Taliyah. So we'll see what the next plan of attack is right now. Barcelona is pinging the tops of the map, which is towards the Void Grubs that will be spawning in around 30 seconds. You do have your barrier back up onto the Ezreal, only level 5 for now. And I think the biggest point here is to look for that Taliyah ult to come up, and how close is White Knight to join that engage.
Because as we said, all in or nothing here for Barcelona in this game one. Grubs are spawning in 10 seconds, and remember again, Chocolate gets to the wave first because he got to back first because of the trade. So he will have priority here, also coming up with a lost chapter just like his counterpart. Grubs now spawning, health is healthy. And for Barcelona, they're going to start it off first.
I feel like it's very difficult to try and contest right here. The setup came through from Barcelona. They pushed up that top lane. Taliyah has infinite priority over in the mid lane due to the flash black onto Slowq, and Yukino is all the way towards the bottom of the map. Can they make a play? I would say no. You can't make a play onto Galio. He's one of the hardest champions to actually dive with flash, with taunt. They're going to try anyway, so let's see how it goes.
Mater is half HP though, so Yukino needs to tank it up. Justice Punch first, and all it takes is Shield of Duran.
That was it.
You draw aggro, and yeah, that's the dive, ladies and gentlemen. Meanwhile, Corruption counterplay. It becomes a 2v2 though. Legolas gets out immediately though. You talk about a trouble, but he didn't have to use the barrier. Heal on the other side, however. That's the summoner trade for the 2v2 of KC Blue. They started it, but now they're leaving it as Vega wants to continue. Bring up the ramp around prey. The Taliyah Weaver's Wall. Trouble's telling me, look out, because here comes the structure. Lining the back end. They won't be able to get out as White dives in under turret, but there's no follow-up damage yet. White is alone. And the teleport from Slowq, yes, but 3XA gets his just dessert.
I think they were kind of shaking right there from the side of Barcelona. The second they saw the TP coming through from Slowq, they just abandoned ship, right? And unfortunately, Whiten was too far in, didn't have his flash available. So I feel like Chocolate kind of fumbled that wall a little bit as well. He put the wall down, but it didn't really mean anything. And then he landed on the opposite side of the wall as well, so he couldn't really put the poke down. So a little bit of a fumble right there from Checo as well. All in all, 1 kill over to KCB. Let's pause this one more time. Thager was in position right there. Does have the cycle on the Wukong, does have the flash, so they can definitely dive onto the Varus. But look at that. Piero pushes him on the other side, the wall goes down, so both mid-jungle are isolated on the right side of the map while the dive is actually commencing.
That's rough. I mean, 3XA getting killed there off the back of it feels really nice. As Shockwave onto Chocolate. There's a good seismic shove, though. The rest of his mana, the poke is really good, and Slowq in trouble, flashes away. Chocolate, that's the last of his mana yet again, but Slowq, summoner down once more.
We're getting 1v1s?
We are.
Okay. Oh, just gotta be careful.
No, it's the 1v2. Yukino just wants a piece of the action. Slowq's trying to bait. Look at him. He's like, come on, then. Feels like I'm wearing nothing at all.
No mana.
Yukino just walking into the front. Oh! Slowq, what are you doing? The step up was bad. Check. He just got... He got his phase rush. The flash needs to be burned, but Slowq, that was just atrocious.
Chocolate got everything, because through killing Slowq right there, he gains mana to create distance between him and the Pantheon, which means not only does he get the kill to Slowq, he burns the flash into Yukino, and now Legolas.
That we used, by the way, so Legolas flashed on Hail of Arrows, trying to be predicted. Q! But he's on the right. There's the flash. Wukong ulti as well. 3XA may have bitten off way too much for the commitment, and Piero, while it is a good sidestep and a flash headbutt to get out, nicely done. It is still a kill in return. It's getting sloppy in this game one.
Piero and 3XA are really trying to make plays onto Legolas, but again, we mentioned how slippery the Ezreal is. This time around, he did have both of his summoners, and that's the only reason he gets out unscathed, right? But overall, Barcelona have been winning on most of fronts around the map, and right now they're starting the second dragon of the game as well.
Mater is here, though, with an equalizer, but again, Yukino's a little bit far off. Without ulti, he couldn't join in. Barca is still going to have double dragon. They're still getting the objectives in this early game. The replay person's going to have their work cut out for them, because we're just constantly going from play to play. And as you said, Trouble, was like, we're getting a lot of 1v1s. We're getting a lot of these 2v2s. These bot lanes are edging to fight.
You know, I chatted a little bit to the KCB coach, because he's my friend, he's Greek, and we're chatting about it. He was like, we're not going to give them any dragons for free. We're going to make sure we're setting up right here. I feel like KCB are like scrambling around the map.
Yeah,
they're trying to hit Legolas. Slowq's trying to 1v1 Chocolate. That doesn't show a lot of patience and structure to me. It more shows like we're going to outhand you, which Yukino's looking to do right here as well.
They could do that with their hands, yeah. Thega going to get the smite down, though, and now that Yukino's committed, Legolas looking to punish the Weaver's Wall down as well. Seismic shove, well avoided, but it's a flash, it's a solar flare, it's a stunned up Pantheon. KC Blue trying to turn it as Yukino took a long time to die, but Barca still have the numbers advantage as 3XA will burn the cleanse after getting shielded, but a Seismic shove back takes care of him. Thega with another and 2 kills for Barca. They keep the train running.
Absolutely fantastic. Yukino a little bit too aggressive right there. Takes 3XA down with him, and I think we highlighted over earlier in the desk as well how crazy Yukino is in the early game, trying to bridge that early to mid gap between the team fights and the early game aggression and creating leads right here. He did have the lead. Hold Whiten?
Whiten just appeared in OE. He hex flashed over the wall. He'll be Shockwave. Slow Q wants to get to this top lane turret in safety, but Checolate zone controls. You're going to now ulting in, but already Whiten's picked up the kill. Checolate jumped down by the man, the mission, the legend, the Pantheon, the Archerom in game, but Yukino looking for a spear. We'll find it. This Pantheon again now looking to run. It's in, it's out, it's in, it's out. That's what we're doing with a Cyclone. We're all about another Cyclone about the hit, and Yukino jumping, just trying to find another kill, but Thega picks up yet another 3 kills for the Monkey. I feel like we're all apes in this game with 11 kills already on the board.
So you had a pretty slow series, I heard yesterday. How do you like that one?
This is not the same. This is very much better.
11 kills in 13 minutes. And I mean, that's a super liga. They love to fight. They're a fire league, right? They find Slow Q. They know he has no flash. They take his shockwave as well, only onto Leona. Then you'll see Whiten will connect the E. Yukino will then ult in. If you look on your mini-map right here, you'll see Thega had just finished the blue buff, heading towards the top side. Pierre is suddenly over at the top of the map as well. But it is a favorable trade for Barcelona yet again. And I just want to add, Galio has not said a single word this game.
No, the top laners, I think, was said they're neutral. And look, it's happening top again. They've just found another pick. Slow Q caught in the alcove. And because him and Checolate, they love to brawl. It's so funny, this game. Like, Checolate is skill checking every play, and I think he's winning every play as well.
I think Checolate has gone demon mode this year, honestly. Again, I remember him 2020 summer with a full Polish roster, a Go Rogue. Trimby was in this roster, Woolite was in this roster, Checo was in this roster, Zanzara was in this roster as well. 4 or 5 members, I remember the top laner as well was, I can't remember who the top laner was. Anyway, 4 or 5 members made it to the LEC the next season instantly. Checola too. Then he gets benched from Excel back then. And he's been hovering around the ERL, still been decent, but never like this. This year he's really, really popped off. And right here, 3, 2, and 4. 7 out of 8 kill participation in 14 minutes in this game. They are playing for this Aliyah.
They're really punishing Slow Q as well. Every time he steps up to the wave, that mobility, and Whiten has to be added into the mixes. Herald is now starting. We're going to see what he's doing because he's around the back of the pit. Weaver's Wall onto main to look against the wall. Has to flash away. That was a perfect sandwich. And let me tell you, I can't eat bread, but I would suffer for that one. Herald's going to go down. That's another objective. And Barca in game 1, 2,000 gold up with some exceptional zone control.
Barcelona so far have been fantastic at covering around the map. I feel like their objective control has been incredible as well. We mentioned how easy it would be for them, right, to use that Talia and the wall management, but the wall management has been perfect. Apart from one, it's been incredible. Main cannot join, he gets pinned on the wall, has to flash. Now this is a flashless rumble on a side lane. This is the perfect target for Wukong. We've got 4 minutes, and after the next dragon as well, that's the perfect target, a very mobile rumble that you can fall into with the Galio and the Wukong.
We've got first items all along the board as well. And if you notice, seconds are starting to be built, but I noticed the first because I see Rumble with that. I see a Pantheon. I see it being used into action. Whiten was looking for another play fishing, but now caught out in the pixel brush down in bot. He'll be stunned up. Solar Flare to buy himself time, but a great shove back from Slow Q thanks to his shockwave. Will help the kill go over to Yukino right before Dragon. Finally, breathing room for KC Blue.
That's a great start. Whiten was holding the exhaust as well, so if Rumble chooses to TP in, he'll be more free to deal the damage as well. And right here, KCB really needed that pick. They need to stop the stacking from Barcelona. Veigar is looking. Legolas and Checolad are also around, and Galio, for the time being, was kind of hovering towards that river, but they're going to choose chunk down that tower, take that mid lane tier 1. Not the worst of trades, right?
Yeah.
Especially with how immobile Varus and Orianna and Rumble are. Who's going to walk up that mid lane to push out that wave?
They can also set up for the potential dive top. Remember, again, mobility. Even if Checolad doesn't have his wall available, They're walking as a
they're
unit.
looking.
They're just going to say, yeah, we're doing it. The Herald now plonked down. Vega taking a camp on the way. A Galio dive under a turret solo as the Equalizer also lay it down. Chocolate does a drive-by, takes a bit of turret damage, does some damage on the way out as well. The Herald will get the charge in. Mate is just like, how long can I survive? While mid lane, meanwhile, Legolas died. Not what you want as an Ezreal who's playing the weak side of the map right now, but never mind. KC Blue, while they're taking mid turret, top inner 2 is getting threatened down as well. This would make 3 turrets if Barca can find it.
Yeah, mid lane tier 1, top lane tier 1, and I think they're beating top lane tier 2 as well, but Slowq responds with the bot lane tier 1 and the rest of KCB respond with the mid lane tier 1. I want to see what happened with Legolas right there, because you're playing an Ezreal, you've got all your summoners up, you've got your E up. How in the world will you get caught unless your name is Jackie Love? And his name, I'm pretty sure, is not Jackie Love right there. He even dodged Shin Corruption, he is forward!
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh my
So
God.
he did a Jackie Love.
He's got the Jackie Love syndrome,
He does.
doesn't he?
He does.
Oh, dear God.
They forgot about Pantheon.
I don't know if I respect him or not. I just, you see players like that and you're like, you know
Hey,
what?
sorry, you have to respect Day Forward.
Yeah,
You
I
have
do.
to.
You
have
always
to.
do. No matter what, even if it's in KC Blue, trying to catch Bar by the tippy toe is teleporting.
Avengers!
Bot. We're calling him, aren't we? Trying to buy time as White Knight on this Galio. He takes one section while the Weavers wall out. Mechalad. That guy's Tom Cruise. How did he get away with that? Well, meanwhile, White Knight did the same thing, but from the sky.
Slogger tried to shockwave him off the wall, but he missed the timing. And White Knight was keeping the... How in a 3v2 do they get out with both their summoners?
I don't know, but that was so smooth from Jackalad. I think also, Slowq, you're right, having a rough game on this Orianna.
You know what it is?
What is it?
Didn't Aragon yesterday say, I'm a really big fan of Omon? Do you know who struggled in the series?
Yeah, it's his fault.
Yeah, and today he walks in, he's like, I'm a really big fan of Slowq, by the way. Look how good his micro is. His micro has been terrible this game.
It's right. And again, people at home, not to throw shade, but it is like, right now, it does feel like a
He can't
mid-diff.
defend himself here. We can throw shade.
It's a massive mid-diff,
Yeah.
this game. As you said, Chocolate's had one bad ulti, the rest has been superb. 8 out of 9 kill participation. He's been a part of everything this game. Him and White in, with Faker being the most active, because meanwhile, Legolas and White Knight in this game haven't really been saying or doing that much.
That's the scary part, right? The whole composition acts around the Galio ult.
Yeah.
Diving into the backline, the Galio smashes right on top, catches whoever's in between, spreads KC apart in the fight. But right now, we haven't seen much of White Knight at all, and this is what's scary. Barcelona have been winning those early game fights due to the raw power of what Talia really provides in skirmishes.
And especially with Vega going alongside, I mean, the setup, the ulti's now going to hurt a lot more. We've got 2 items there, so all it takes is a flick back, and there's going to be a lot more nuking damage as Atakan now spawns. Spawns in top side of the river, if I'm not mistaken, and for Barca, they're just taking zone control, doing dotting of the I's and T's right now, getting vision as deep as they can, while KC Blue trying to get their own jungle back in control.
Yeah, I feel like it's going to be a back and forth in terms of who resets for vision, who takes a lot more vision inside. I would love to see Barcelona kind of like find their way inside KCB's jungle if they want to take control of the attack and get a few control wards or vision wards behind enemy lines to try and see if Talia can catch someone off guard, have the Galio there as well, because this is how pretty much their composition interacts. But for KCB, they can actually take this one slow. They're only 3,000 gold in deficit. You've already got the Black Cleaver completed for Yukino. That really does benefit the lethality Devours over on the bot side as well. And you just need a couple more items to come through for that Rumble and the Orianna until the composition that loves to teamfight truly comes online.
Yeah, the second item going to be taking a while, though. Needlessly large, sitting in the inventory of Slowq. And with how far he's fallen behind with the 600 gold that he's disadvantaged of, the only thing holding him in this game really seems to be that CS lead that he's maintained off the game. Meanwhile, let's look top because, Atakan's being started off, now spotted out. So let's see if Barca continue on.
I feel like what they're trying to do right here is take the TP off from Slowq on the bot side. Now he's going to be TPing in. Barcelona are going to either have to commit or back off.
Legolas going to ulti through at 5k, 5.5. It's still being whittled down, but sparsely put is how I'm going to say this Atakan going to be done for now. The patience wearing thin as Yukino's in the pit. This has to be reset surely because Steel territory at 3k. It's been held on. It hasn't properly reset. What is the patience of Atakan as Chocolate zones off, turns into a fight. Atakan goes down to Barca, and we're full on 5v5ing. White Knight ulti's in, and Even though I'm a bit late in seeing, and I see a cyclone on top of Yukino's head. His house is going as far as maintenance, burning down. KC Blue winning the rest of the fight, but buying time is Chocolate. He kited back, now kiting in. They got won it out with the lead he found earlier as well as KC Blue run for their lives. They lost the objective. They lost 2, and even though it looks scattered again, Spain continues to dance.
I can't say that I do like truly 50-50s, especially when you're ahead like Barcelona. They took the 50-50 here and they won that. I want your eyes over on the bot side of the map because Mainter did God's work. He took Chocolate and Legolas completely out of the fight. But what they forgot is how this composition from Barcelona works. One person on the top side fighting 1v1 in the jungle, then White Knight really hovering around that tri-brush, not allowing KCB to advance too far forward, and when they do, Mainter falls as well. We talked about how Barcelona loves to play every man for themselves, because they have the mobility, they've got the agency to do that with these champions as well, and it does show in this team fight as well that they don't have to play any type of formation to win.
I mean, it's just been class, really. It's been messy, but it has become class out of the individual leads now picked up. 3 Dragons, by the way, from Barca as they're taking the last outer turret of their game down to the ground. 4,000 in the lead. And the only thing that's really holding them back is pushing the game further with Baron. That comes up in a minute 50. I always think, I'm like, man, Baron being delayed back has obviously pushed games back because if Baron was available, would have been taken as well. All that thought Equalizer just going to be dropping. But getting rid of the minion wave because Barca are destroying these turrets with 3 grubs.
Equalizer had to be used right there, as you mentioned as well. And Slowq on the side lane, doing what Chovy would do best, trying to farm up his second item. He might actually have Death Cap in base right now. He takes the tower down, surely he has enough. The W is going to miss from Talia, as Barcelona are trying to take that mid lane tower, but KCB, I feel like they can actually defend that. The only problem is that if Mainter has to be your main source of wave clear and you walk too far forward, you could potentially get that Rumble in a lot of trouble right there, especially having no flash. Death Cap completed though for Slowq, and let's see if they're going to look for a pick.
Also, chains were used by 3XA, which means that the Siege just moved to bot side, no threat of lockdown, and another turret goes down. As you said, Slowq...
You could say that was a Baron. They took 2 towers.
Yeah, close enough, right? 50 seconds, the real one's coming up, and I think that'll be the straw that breaks the camel's back. If Barca can get that, so far, it's just been so good from Chocolate. I could keep glazing this guy. I mean, he's going to look like a donut after the end of game 1. I mean that in the nicest way, ladies and gentlemen. Everyone loves donuts. Oh, Krispy Kremes. Oh, man.
We can ask him too if he wins.
Yeah, be like, brother, how do you feel?
Random question, do you like donuts?
Do you like donuts? We're going to send you one because of all the glazing we've been sending out for free.
Before he has 0 context of what you're talking about.
Yeah, he'll be like, what is this?
Oh, Whiten?
He went deep for this Solar Flare, taking time to die, though. Here comes Chocolate to the rescue. Whiten might die here, but let's see what the consequences are. True Shot Barrage flown through, and KC Blue get chunked a bit, but it is a pick right in front of Baron. However, the health bar's a little bit low. Might need a reset before they contest and look.
That was a little bit careless right there from Whiten. You always need a friend to enter the jungle unless you're 100% sure enemy team is resetting, they're going to be in base, so it's free for you to walk in there. But there was no indication whatsoever from that. They literally have their towers right there. They push out their waves. They're going to bleed themselves into the jungle to try and get some control, especially since we mentioned Baron being up and available for Barcelona, which is most likely the next objective they have their eyes on.
Going to be yoinked is the Raptor as Chocolate jumps up. As you said, Baron is going to be vision controlled by KC Blue for the time being, but good control ward that's going to start clearing and put them in the dark. I think they'll be happy their lucky stars that there's a Hex Gate
Nakakalungkot po dahil
where they can pay homage and pay visit to the back of Baron and drop some of those wards. Because they're going to have absolutely no clue otherwise. As Whiten is now back in action, all 5 members in front of Baron. Remember, Dragon's 145 away, so they've got all the time in the world, Bastard, to just keep the pressure up. Make sure that KC Blue make a mistake.
I feel like this is the perfect part about us. They're trying to force the cleanse right here from 3XA, but very nice spacing right there from 3XA to get away from the E from Leon. Another bleeding the pressure into the jungle. Blue buff is going to be taken away by KCB. Now, what I want to say is that the beautiful thing about being on soul points is that you can choose. Give away the next dragon, you can go for the Baron, because the Baron would actually help you open up the base and end the game. And there's always going to be another soul point right after this, right? There's only one dragon in the name of KCB. So usually this is what T1 was known for, sort of like shifting the pressure from one side of the map to the other. They'll have a lot of vision on the bottom of the map, and once you see KCB running into this, then they'll take control over the other side of the map, just because they know they have the raw power to take that fight no matter which side of the map you're at, and they take the vision away from their opponents while they're doing that.
You also have that option coming up in 50 seconds that you were talking about. And the biggest thing is that for Barca, all they have to do is just put the tea bag in the tea, you know? Put the tea bag in the water.
You're glazing donuts, you put tea bags
Yeah.
in the tea. I don't know, man.
I don't know. It's just, it's what I would do.
Is that what you guys do down under?
Yeah, we put the tea bag in the tea.
In the tea.
In the water, you know? You don't put bread in a toaster, or you don't put toast in a toaster. You put bread in there. You gotta put the tea bag in the water, then it becomes tea.
All right.
You know?
We're teeing the tea.
Been a little bit crazy. Maybe it's taking some of my cells with it as well. As I
Midland's down.
Chocolate just walks up, and mate, just like, no way am I walking near that Talia. Understandable as he's almost 3 items, and regardless though, a bit more gold in their back pocket. The 4K just about maintained as he comes that objective. Bot side, Barca really want to contest for Sol.
And very importantly, KCB just completed their second item. So if they're ever going to be just as strong to fight Barcelona, now is the time.
He begins at 5 and 5. Teleport burn first. Mainta comes in from a flank, but he's just going to stand behind. It's an objective, bounding it's at 5K, and this dragon needs to be taken. KC Blue stand in front, Solar Flare. They get the bounty, but at what cost? Look at the hero's entrance. A 2-man knock-up in the backline as Thega is taking the world for himself. This monkey goes pop, and it ain't the first time this game. As he picks up his double, Mainta's left alone, and all for the dragon. The fight's taken, but the game may be broken for KC Blue.
And if it wasn't bad that they were losing from the side of KCB without Galio joining, now that there's a level 16 Galio on their butts, it just makes it that much more hard. Legolas even flashing forward to find the pick onto Piero, which they're going to find eventually. And that's a free Baron right here for Barcelona, and a fantastic way to open up the base towards KCB.
And it's not the first time in this game they've pulled apart the fight. It's not the second or the third. I think it's like the 7th at this point. But again, Chocolate is dominating as Yukino looks at the hero steal. He's trying. He's got a good sidestep in him, but with a flash shield of Duran, he gets bonded up. He'll ulti out, but stunned up. Means he goes nowhere but into the dirt. Legolas with one, and the Baron in their back pocket.
I think he was trying to ult in to the Baron pit.
Probably was.
But that was 4 members of Barcelona trying to zone him away. Let's watch this one more time. Eyes on Thager, guys, on the monkey. Level 16 Wukong. The second that Solar Flare splits KCB, that's where Thager finds his timing to jump into the backline, dive on top from the Galio as well. And again, Barcelona thrives on a split-up team fight. KCB do not. Both the carries were the 2 ones to die first.
Mainta's trying. He's trying to do some damage, but every time he keeps running into White Knight. And this is the thing about this Galio, is this Galio just doesn't take damage from anyone.
That's a tank Galio, by the way.
Yeah, it is. It's like a bruiser mix, and he still takes no damage, right? For White Knight, it's been a quiet game, but a good game, I guess. He kept isolated Mainta, and he never let that rumble into the fight. So he's done his job, I guess.
It's 2 levels up as well. Everyone is pretty much 3 levels up for Thager into Yukino. And I feel like, again, the unsung hero, we did mention him over in the pregame, Thager, but he has done absolute wonders into accelerating that early game lead. Again, that Talia with whatever AD jungler does this to your early game, it's absolutely fantastic. Let's see if Barcelona can actually close it out.
Yukino's trying to stack up the passive. This could be the miracle they need, but with a seismic shove backwards, Mainta, even under his turret, is in trouble. A Pantheon ulti built short, and White Knight once again in the way. Set up, even though his ulti is cancelled, even though there's a shockwave, they just don't die in the Spanish community. As Piero bops his way back in, you know Chocolate's there to pick up the prize. This Talia running the mid-diff, and Barca running KC Blue into the ground for game 1.
KCB were trying to find the backline, and Barcelona were just accelerating forward underneath their towers. Barcelona solidifying themselves with an 1-0 in the semifinals.
And what an entrance.
Wow.
What an entrance.
Thager didn't die the whole game.
That was jungle mid-diff.
Damn.
That support from White in, he was just everywhere. Like White Knight, I can see he wasn't even on the screen. He just popped back in because he's playing Galio. He decided to have some time off.
Like, wait, this guy was playing? Is this guy part of the
was
team?
he in the game? No, but credit. Again, Barca came in massively. I even said in the content piece, I'm like, I feel like KC Blue, the lane diff would be huge. But it started with Chocolate, I think. Chocolate just absolutely destroyed.
He's a demon. And Thager really put his stump there as well. Like, that mid-jungle duo was just crazy good.
It was a good game from Spain. And
it's Aragon's fault about slow queue.
I know who lives next to Spain, and he's on the desk.
¿Cómo estás?
Oh.
No, we need to talk about something if possible. Yesterday,
here we go.
you were the scout of talent.
Yeah.
Today, you were the predictor of a 3-0. Aragon,
It's not going well, is it?
it's not going well,
It's,
boss. This is your opportunity.
I believe in the boys. You know what? It's not quite a 3-0 like I predicted for KC. Not quite.
quite.
It's a 3-1. I'm doubling down.
Okay.
I'm doubling down.
So it's going to be...
Yeah.
Okay. I like where we are going.
Uh-huh.
But what happened on this game to make this Barca so
Right.
uncontested?
I mean, okay, listen. I think we could start with draft to give context, and then
Okay.
we go into the clips and what happened in terms of gameplay. For starters, the Talia setup was really nice in draft. We have a B1 Talia, which I said was going to be a very hotly contested pick. This is, in fact, SlowQ's most played to most highest win rate champion ratio, right? It's like 76% win rate on Talia with most played. And Barcelona, they take it away, right? And clearly SlowQ had something prepped into it. Typically, your best answers into a Talia are something like a control mage where you pick Orianna or Hui, and Hui was pinched. So it's very clear that Barca are setting up for a Talia B1, and that was their game plan. Now it's denied for the rest of the series, which is a great thing to do. But you do get Orianna into it, and this is where we had a discussion backstage. It's like, the way you want to play Orianna to Talia is it's a counter matchup, and you want to play with a strong jungler to allow Orianna to bully and accumulate a CS lead into the Talia whilst winning the lane. But what they did was not allow for that to happen because it was 3 winning lanes, well, 3 lanes, a push for Barca into KC Blue and a bunch of ganks onto the Orianna, which means that the Orianna can no longer push and secure anything. So before this clip right here, there was a gank to mid from Whiten, which was super good, which then allows for a numbers advantage play on the Dragon. And it was a win for Barcelona on the first Dragon. Super, super good right here. Here's the flash onto gank onto mid. And what this does is it just affects SlowQ's conditioning lane over and over again. And he can't bully Chocolad. But I will have to give credit to Chocolad here. He is outplaying and winning the lane really, really well.
I think that's the most concerning part. We highlighted the mid lane, SlowQ and Chocolad, and I think Chocolad was just outstanding. And when you're talking about bringing Orianna versus the Talia, I also believe like Orianna is not the champion for SlowQ. It's not that he doesn't know how to play it by far, but it's not his style.
Comfort's important, right? I mean, I think comfort's really, really, really important. And I think when I think of SlowQ, I think
So clean.
of Azir and then a bunch of assassins.
Yes.
Right? I think of Silas, I think of Akali, I think of Azir, and these are like the champions that I really, really do think of. Slow controlled style isn't really his thing. Playing with a jungle supporting him into slow control isn't really the SlowQ angle for me. But you can see right in the back-to-back clips, he's just getting punished on side lane. The immobility of a control mage being abused. What you want typically is to have a jungler that shadows you. Yeah, he kind of did 7k damage, didn't he? I just noticed. That's almost less than a Leona. They really did not let him play, and he did not have a great time.
So they have also identified the situation. SlowQ is a concern. We know Chocolad is also one of our winning conditions. So by shutting down SlowQ, you also amplify your winning condition.
Yeah, they had 3 lanes of push, guaranteed scaling on the Wukong, and they shut down SlowQ with everything that they had. I think on the other side, just to give credit to KC Blue, what they did do well was they punished Legolas's mispositionings a lot. They punished his summoners, you know, overextensions onto mid lane, and I think Yukino had the lead, but that's just not enough.
So let's look into the big picture right now. Legolas was cut off like a lot of positions, but he's playing Ezreal, so he was comfortable. He got away with the get away from jail free card, but now Ezreal is gone. So maybe they can pile on that mistake if it continues to happen, but now they also need to amplify SlowQ. I'm going to give you this information. KC Blue picked blue side instantly, without a thought.
Yeah, I'm just taking a look at the draft priors that were down and were gone now, right? So Talia being out is a really, really big one. I do wonder what that could set up for in terms of B1s. Wukong, Pantheon, very high prior picks. I think of junglers. I think of Neferi in the current, at least the meta for the EMEA Masters. Neferi's been very, very popular. Zin's out as well. Those could be high prior picks. In terms of mid lane, typically you want pairings with the current meta junglers. So Annie could come out for SlowQ. He was great at that, I believe. But yeah, anything with skirmishing in River, with Akali, anything that pairs off well with it, you know, you've got the Lee Sin, the Zins out and stuff like this, could be good for them.
Okay, so this is first game out. We know Barca was amazing coming into this game. I know your prediction, we were talking and beaming about it.
Yeah, let's not.
But how do you think the second game will go, especially coming in from draft expectations and what can happen into the second game?
I believe in the boys. I think we'll draft more to comfort, more to what we've seen from the rest of the tournament, and I think KC Blue will take the game too.
Oh, so even after this performance coming in from Barca, Tiger with an amazing, outstanding performance on Wukong. Wukong game 1. This is how confident he is. Like, Wukong game 1, by the way.
See, the problem is, low-key, all my predictions are going the opposite way. I'm kind of the counter cursor. So I will say I still think it's a 2-0. Sorry, a 1-1 after this game, despite all of the good stuff we saw from Barca.
So my final takeaway is I want to ask Chat. You can see Chat, by the way. You can get their view. Okay, Chat, do let me know who do you think is going to take this one, Barca or KC Blue as it stands. We don't have delay, so we're reading what you're telling us right now on the chat because it looked extremely good coming in for Spain, for Barca right now. In KC Blue, we're talking about the team that completely destroyed EMEA. We only have a few seconds.
We have a lot of Thega fanboys.
There you go.
Thega LEC is the sentiment.
Spain is just popping on the chat. ¿Cómo estás? I know, we love you very much. We'll toss it to a small break before we jump into game 2. So far, Spain is just winning. KC, do you have anything in the bag? Show us. I'll see you soon.
Woo! Oh man, I feel like that was my best intro ever.
Yeah, not bad, hey, not bad. I can go pro. You know it as well. I also know you can dance. You should join me next time. And yes, I feel like you've also deserved a bit of a break. You've earned it.
Thanks.
Even the biggest champ needs a break.
Good job.
Hey, thank you.
Yeah, you know, I don't really do this too often. I'll be good for real. Just watch. Yeah, hey, how you gon' feel when I take it? How you gon' feel when I take it? We about action, we don't say. We about action, we don't say. Coming for the crown, I need my fit. I don't stay in rooms that I don't fit in. She swear that I stay up on her mind like a fitted. Ain't that cap? She probably wouldn't give me time if I ain't around. Please see me, email me. I need all formalities. I need all incentives. This money's about the only thing on mine, like my business. That's black on the type of wave I've been on. And it's always got to crash like it's Windows. Need all of that and more. Give me all the go. Give me one play. I'm on 24. Kobe right in that hour. Shot wet just like showers. Tell me who got all of that power. Oh, that's me. I carry loaded team. I get that ring, I'm MVP. Know that they envy me just like cement. I'm in these streets. No opportunity, knock at the door, I give you keys. My mama raised me selfish, I don't share, I play for keeps. And that's all game time, know that win all mine, I'ma keep it, baby. How you gon' feel when I take it? How you gon' feel when I take it? We about actions, we don't say. We about action, we don't say. Yeah, how you gon' feel when I take it? Yeah, how you gon' feel when I take it? We about action, we don't say. We about action, tell me how you gon' feel. Yeah, when I take your spot, tell me how you gon' feel. Yeah, only thing I need is time and this is on shit. Tell me when I take your spot, tell me how you gon' feel. Tell me how you gon' feel. Yeah, hey, how you gon' feel when I take it? How you gon' feel when I take it? We about action, we don't say. We about action, tell me how you gon' feel.
Give me your best shot, cause I'ma never quit, give it all I got. When you think about the best, see me at the top. I'ma keep on going up, I can never stop. Yeah, piece by piece, I will fight till it's all complete. Can't you see? I'm built up, oh yeah. I'm the realest, I'm a vibe, guaranteed to blow your mind. I'm built up, oh yeah. So no matter what you try, you right, I'ma get right to it. They be like, she the best to ever do it. Ain't no lie, I'm the truth, that's why you see me fly like a bird in the sky. I'ma spread my wings, I'ma never fall. Don't you anything I want, I'ma get it all. I'ma shoot for the stars when I got the ball. No fear, see me standing tall, stand tall. Built up, oh yeah, oh yeah. I'm the realest, I'm a vibe, guaranteed to blow your mind. I'm built up, oh yeah. So no matter what you try, you won't beat me, I'll survive. I'm built up, oh yeah. I'm the realest, I'm a vibe, guaranteed to blow your mind. I'm built up, oh yeah. So no matter what you try, you won't beat me, I'll survive. Built tough, I am the one, 'cause I am the one, yeah. Built tough, I am the one, 'cause I am the one, yeah. Built tough, I am the one, I am the one, yeah. Built tough, I am the one, built tough, I'm the one, yeah. I'm built tough.
Bienvenidos into EMEA Masters. This is going to be pre-game 2. We have Trouble with us yet again. She just escaped aesthetics, so we're trying to give her
Just
a little...
about.
Yeah. Oh no, he's walking in.
He just
you know
laughed.
what? Let's toss it to draft because we can't deal with that individual.
No.
Now we're talking about this one. Hey, whoa. Okay, bans are going in, and this also means picks as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Surely there will be picks after bans, for sure.
Okay,
For sure.
as we were talking about this, priority into the jungle, also how Slow Q is going to adapt into this game, and how KC Blue is going to use this blue side. What do you think is a priority for this blue
I mean, we're
side?
just talking about adaptations from game 1 to game 2. There's a distinct lack of bans towards tanks this game, which is something that, you know, KC and Barcelona like to play. Ornn and Sion are going through draft with Gwen ban, and that's always a good setup for that. So at some point here, we could see a blind in the first 3 rotation for either team for one of those tanks.
I'm seeing a Syndra that might be
Yep.
very heavily contested right here. Both Checo and Slowq really have it really high in priority in terms of picks. And I wouldn't be surprised with the Akali, Ari ban,
Yeah.
the Viego Vi. Like, you can literally play things like Nafiri potentially as well, which was banned, if I'm not wrong, in game number 1. So Nafiri, Syndra, I think are the 2 priorities here.
Yeah, I also think there's Xin Zhao for jungle. I think jungle's been pretty pinched with Wukong, Pantheon, Nafiri as well. Yeah, Nafiri as well also pairing with that, but Xin Zhao is also available if you want to play more defensive style to receive the enemy team. I think it'd also be very, very good. Nocturne's pretty good objectively into the Nafiri because your tether lasts on the W as an answer, but you can... I think Zin's probably best, but there it is.
There
I
you
think
go,
it's a
it's
Syndra Zinzao angle right
Yeah.
here for Thager and Checolad. I'd love to see again a very strong mid-jungle duo. I feel like they completely took over the map. Zinzao is one of my favorite jumpers as well. One of the greater fist fighters of the early game, especially with Pantheon and Wukong out the game.
Yeah, I think with Neferi as well now, on the other hand, you want setup with these champions, setup in the mid lane, often champions like TF or Annie, you know, are your go-tos, Ari as well, to allow Neferi to land her spells are really, really important. Same goes for, I mean, Silas works too with the chains, right? So a lot of skirmishing, and this is back to, I feel like KC Blue style, more skirmishing, this is what we wanted from Slowq.
And you can play safe. Yeah, we talked about those trades with the Silas in the pre-show, but also his win rate and also play style. So we only had 9 games historically on the Ariana. Silas goes to 8. So he's running away from his most played champions in his career so far.
I would love to see. I'm thinking KCB are going to have a 4 melees in their
Yeah, that's
composition.
good.
I would love to see a lot of distance created for Barcelona. I love the sign right here because him and the Zinza will act as a wall in front of everyone else. And then you can have like really long range AD carries. I'm thinking if there's no tank on the side of KCB, you can even pull out a Jin in
I
this
agree.
instance as well to set up for the rest of the team.
I think Jin's great as well into the MF because you outrange and neutralize lane pretty well. But for KC Blue, I would love to see more and more melees so that you have less and less effective usefulness for the Xin Zhao ulti. More people in the ring means more damage onto the Xin Zhao because you're not getting mitigated. So I think, yeah, more melee supports. Nautilus, Rel work really well with the MF and with the skirmishing as well as with the Neferi to set her up. I think those are the champions you're looking for as well.
I was actually looking into Alistar for help as well.
Yeah.
Disengage, be
Alistair's
another
gone
body
in the
wall.
Fearless, but Brom also works really well into the champions like the Nautilus and so on, especially with the Xin Zhao. I think Xin Zhao Brom is a great pairing because you insta-proc the passive. So versus the dive of KC Blue, that could be an angle you go for.
Yeah. You need as many meat walls as you can to protect. So far you have a lot of damage on the Syndra, but what else can you bring in to provide more damage? Xin Zhao is not what he wants. Sion can be a menace in the late game, but yeah.
I might actually take back my Jin thought process right
agree.
here because there is not enough damage. You've got Syndra that does a lot of burst damage, but there's no consistent damage. So I love the Rel right here. You're gonna last pick for your AD carry. Things like even the Zeri are up for grabs as well. Kaisa, an AD carry that can go for on hits, you can go for pokes, you can go for mix, you can go for attack speed. She kills tanks, she kills squishies. I feel like maybe a Kaisa last pick into 4 melees would be fantastic because she was the OG AD carry counter for Olaf. When you're running into her, she can dive into your backline.
And best into Sion, you get to free scale in this lane pretty well. Get to Eclipse and you're really happy. And then lastly, as support into this, you have Braum if you want to, but I like Dive with the Ambessa and the Neferi. So I think Nautilus is probably going to be your best bet over the Braum since Leona and Alistar are out.
This is an easy way to tackle who you want on the back line. You just press R and it follows through. So Piero is taking a peek, probably fancying this. That could be it.
I'm trying to think of front-to-back AD carries that could work well with the double tanks. I mean, you've got Jinx, but versus this Dive, Xayah would be really fantastic.
Banned.
Xayah's out. They've set up for that because they know they've got Dive. I guess it really is Zeri that can work with Dive, but I don't like Zeri without an Enchanter. That's the problem. Maybe they have a different perception, though. I just think Jhin is the choice.
I feel like with Jhin, they'll have such low damage. You might have to take one for the team here and just go Kaisa. And if you're like Lucian. Okay, so this is the BLG Classic. BLG this year have been pairing up Lucian with very unconventional supports, like no Milios, no Broms, no Namis. And the latest one they played was with Rel and it was successful.
Okay, this is going to be interesting. So it's set up. We know both team compositions. We talked about this. Legolas, being exposed, you can pilot it. And now without the safeness of Ezreal's E, now you have Legolas. You can actually dash once, but you die.
Something else with the dash they could go towards in the future is the Corki, but like, yeah, exactly. In the last series, Legolas, I think in the first game, picked Lucian Nami. So we have seen the Lucian on Legolas before. He has died in the side lanes before as well from overextending. But this is an Enchanterless, no Nami, Lucian, and honestly, I'm not the biggest fan of it, especially since it's been nerfed. In terms of composition, I much prefer KC Blue. I think their composition makes a lot more sense. I was looking for more of a hyper carry with, you had the Sion Xin frontline, but on the other hand, with KC Blue, you have very clear draft identity with a full send dive and MFL over the top. It's much easier to execute, and I think they've got this.
Yeah, regardless of how you look into your team, when you look into the way KC Blue can chase and prey on someone, you don't get away. You might just disable one of them, but look at the chase potential.
Yeah.
Nafiri with the Silas, with Ambess as well. You're locked down. Okay, tell me, Eragon, this is time. Who's going to win this?
I think Sylas into Xin Zhao is so broken that I would choose it based off that alone. Sylas with Xin Zhao is unreal, and also they have very clear draft identity. Go KC Blue.
KC Blue, so that means Barca's going to take it. Take it away, Kasi.
I have a feeling Aragon just says go KC Blue because he wants to be right for once. But I'll be honest with you, seeing drafts like this, I'm expecting Slow Q to really step it up, or it doesn't feel like that style is going to be relevant because he had a pretty rough game one. I'm driven by trouble, of course. And I see Checolade on something that can make plays. Piero, let's see who face checks. Yukino's there. He's just going to Q spot out the whole team. We're waiting, and unfortunately, no lockdown connects.
So many ghosts.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I do agree with the desk right here. KC Blue have more of a clear identity. It is a little bit scary because they are playing 4 melees into a big beef wall. Oh,
hang on.
Hold up.
Hang on. And the turnaround, White is like, hang on a minute, waits the double invade. Slowkey was caught out, but absconded, ducked rather, flash away from a dredge line. And that was really nice from KC Blue to just turn it around and go to enemy blue.
Yeah, bot lane's kind of over right now. Even though I have seen BLG play the Lucian with Rel before, it was more kind of a composition where you're kind of lacking 80 carries to pick from, and you've already picked the Lucian, so you're picking the Rel for more engage. So it's not the best scenario, and I feel like they have a lot of burst through their mid and their 80 carries as they're trying to retake the blue buff.
As Taker's going to take a blast cone. It's going to turn into a fight. 4 versus 4, even without a flash on the Rel. Audacious Charge starts it off with Dredge Line as well. Taker's a little bit early. It's a crash down, a flash away already from the Barcelona jungle as Yukino's running for his life. It's still messy. 3xA gets over the wall, gets first blood. Absconded duck onto Checolade, who now flashes away. Blue buff gives level 2 for Yukino, and it's gone so horribly wrong for Barca. They can only try and salvage it, but Piero doesn't even die to the last auto on little Nautilus. That was absolutely perfect for KC Blue.
I think that was a little bit of a misstep right here for Barcelona. I think you let go of your blue buff and you go to the other side. Nautilus level 1 is so strong because you can literally just root every single champion he auto-attacks. Plus his Q is very strong, right? So the second Thager overextended to get onto Yukino. That's when the Nautilus stepped up, and Piero right here really huge for the team. I just don't understand. Barcelona did not really gauge how much stronger KCB are in this early game, just run into the trap.
Really true, and Yukino already with the kill, and the champions they have to snowball this early on. I think this game's going to be a very different story already. Seeing a misfortune, seeing an abscond of Duck, by the way, from Slow Queuers. And he went a little bit deep for that, which means that Chocolate gets a good trade back, but Slow Q does have the level advantage, and so even though Chocolate gets level 2 now, with Scout of the Week, hang on. Did I speak too soon? Slick, you just taking a bit of a heavy trade.
Don't worry, Aragon did not praise him this time around.
He did not.
However, I will.
Okay.
Because I've seen Slowq throughout 2021 and 2022. He is the melee assassin guy. The Akali, Sylas, Yone, LeBlanc in his back pocket always. LeBlanc used to be a champion that would be permabanned throughout 2021, sorry, in 2022.
Yeah.
And right here, he's taking a pretty big chunk. Does
You
have a
shouldn't have
flash.
talked him up. I think you might have cursed him. Abscond, but there you go. Oh, in. Oh, that was nice. Almost connects. That win becomes lightning after the audacious charge was very innovative.
That is a fantastic trade right there from Chocolate to pressure Slowkey like this. So the Syndra without flash, you cannot really overextend. You will lose a lot of the skirmishes to the Sylas as well due to the healing as well. So if Slowkey is able to dodge a few abilities and get that heal back, that's what happens. He's gonna TP back into his lane. Whiten is now there with Piero.
Oh, mid-air. Piero, nice hook, and with Abscond of Duck, the only thing that saves the play is that Scout of the Week. Chain Lash on the way out, and both supports really want mid to kick off like it did last game.
It's all about the mid lane again. Whiten trying to find angles, but this is so fast. I feel like Whiten has been incredible at just capitalizing on flashes that miss on the mid lane. In game number 1, Slowkey was missing his flash, insta-capitalized. Now Yukino getting spotted on the right side. Piero on the other side as well. Thager's around.
It's a great ward maybe to use a bait as jungler's there. As you said, Thager under turret. Yukino gets caught and almost caught by an audacious charge. Whiting is going to bring round 2 to there as well, as he now starts shadowing his jungler.
And it kind of shows what we're talking about in the previous game as well, right? When Slowkey was under attack, we mentioned that ward over Raptors. It's one of the easier ways to actually try and create a dive situation through a wall. Obviously, Nafiri can get through walls, so that was a pretty easy way of doing that without having to waste or commit a flash right there, as Legolas all on his lonesome down bot
I've seen
lane.
this before, stepping up to the wave with the support on the way. Dredge line again. Piero just keeps hitting, but under turret, he goes a bit too deep. I think I said that before. From the jungler KC Blue, now give it to the support as White in for the chase up, the remount, the shattering strike 3XA is getting autoed to death, and Legolas just has to simply step up. He flashes in to secure, and Barca are recovering the early game bit by bit. Yukino needs to find something because, again, this should be a done deal. White in. He's got the shield up. He wants to sacrifice his life. He will die in the end. Yukino does not have an ult to dive further. Legolas will be safe under turret for now.
But what a fantastic trade for the bot lane. Legolas and Whiten. Yukino.
Oh,
he's going to interrupt the back right there.
And the bleed. How long does it go for? Okay, he's
All right, it's done. He's gone. All in all, favorable trade for Barcelona as hold that.
Scout of the Week. I mean, there's no level 6. Slow Q. Waiting for the Abscond. Win becomes lightning. Thager threatens, but again doesn't make the dive.
What is mid again?
Bro, they love mid, and I mean, this just seems to be the story of the series. Both teams are willing to throw haymakers.
I've been playing mid my whole life. I've never seen that much attention.
I know.
Ever.
Every mid laner's dream.
Right.
It's Thager and Chocolate have just been this dynamic duo. And again, even though the early game has been such a disaster, the fact that mid is salvaged with a 1k jungle gold lead for Yukino, kind of a sentiment to how Barca are fighting their way out through the mud. Well, 1k gold lead, of course, as supports hit each other. But yeah, I just feel like after that early game lead, the game should be snowballing so much heavier than maybe it is right now.
Yukino's looking for bot lane again.
Okay.
Piero has found an angle on Whiten.
Dredge line again. Piero's been insane with these engages, but they can't find the kill. Both supports now to half HP as Dragons are thought about Yukino.
And the fun thing about this is that I really hope Los Ratones are watching this.
Yeah.
Because we said their weakest point is their early game. These teams are willing to scramble in that early game to gain their advantages. So whichever one of those goes into the finals, I think we're damn straight going to have a really good best of 5.
If it ends up being Barca, I know that I know that lots of toners will be like, look, we need more mid attention because Thega just loves mid. Abandons top. Maybe Faust will be happy with that. But again, there's no guarantee. I mean, this game is still start off in a better state. Look at the Dragon here for KC Blue. As Grub spawn in 40 seconds, and we'll have to see if there's a bit of a swap because I already see that Whitein is starting to make his move up towards River.
Yeah, Pierre and 3XA have already started getting towards the tops of the map as well for the side of KCB. And again, here comes the whole story of we're not going to let them take those neutral objectives for free. From the side of KCB, Barcelona really likes playing really aggressively around the objectives. And what do you know? Both the supports are around the mid lane. One more time.
They even main to...
3 things are for sure. Death, taxes, supports around mid.
They're making it so... it's just like, I guess, so obvious, but
It's too obvious at this point,
and Pierre's like, nah, it's too obvious. So he walks in, gets crushed down, and we have a fight. There's a sign ulti as well that hits the corner. White Knight with a good decimating smash, but he's absconded upon. An ult stolen as well as the orb sent out, but it's not good enough. White Knight will die here for sure, but the Ambassador ult follows the playthrough. Checolat dove in upon, and Mainta doing so much more in this game already. As Yukino denies the turret aggro. Whitein is safe for now, but the Grubs are not. KC Blue, they're keeping this trainer moving.
Again, Barcelona underestimate the numbers for KCB. They knew that their Lucian was going to be on the tops of the map. Legolas doesn't have flash, he just have a pickaxe in his inventory, doesn't want to fight, has a cold in his inventory as well. And this is a 4 versus 5, essentially, because that Misfortune starts moving instantly. You'll see that SlowQ dashes in, grabs the ult from Sion as well, and then Barcelona can no longer walk the second they see 3XA, of course, having that bullet time available as well. And then the tip of the ult from Mainter into Yukino connecting on him as well. Checolat ends up going down using the flash too.
Triple Grubs off the back of that play too, 2,000 gold lead. You know, I was just saying like, oh, it was great from Barca to really slow this down in the early game. But I guess, again, when you still have a Nefiri at this state, when you still have, you know, this comp that you guys were talking about in draft, how it just wants to send it. They keep sending it. Yeah, you're right. Let's talk about mid again. Here it is. Okay, Checolat. Good dodge away from the abscond of Duck Chain Lash. And because of that, he's alive. Thega also here in the nick of time. And SlowQ about to get sent skyward. Yukino also dodging in and out. Sends out the blades, but it's not going to be enough. The fact that Checolat is alive was pretty smooth.
I think he dodged every single ability thrown his way. Absolutely demonic performance right here. The 50-50. Who got it?
Demons. I mean, we are just demon trading, honestly, all the time. Stretch line. Piero. Oh, again. Sets up the bullet time. Legolas takes half his HP for it. Whitein almost dies. Meanwhile, Jugglers are fighting again, and Abscond of Duck. Checolat walks into this, gets caught out. An ulti reset means a double kill. 5 kills for Yukino. We're seeing KC Blue as, I don't want to look, as 80 Gary's going to trade 1-for-1 under turret though. Extra going to be ultied, but max out of range. The flash burn, the chaos ensues. Teleport bringing in. White Knight wants to kill. He's like, man, we've got to kill this Misfortune. No mana, slowed down, decimating smash, the damage kaput, and Exa is just trying to buy time where he can. 12 kills, 10 minutes. Spain and France apparently do not like each other.
Break it down. All right. Let's start from this invade. Thager versus Yukino. Thager was on these Raptors prior, and this is where Checolat almost committed his life, but then he didn't. But then Thager again overextends because he's feeling confident because he has his ultimate available, but Checolat doesn't have flash. So once he commits a little bit too far forward, he gets caught out. Then the ultimate expires from Zinsao, and Yukino finds a double kill. 5-0-2 right now on this Nefiri, and we mentioned how pivotal Yukino is for the early games of KCB. When they want to play more slow in the early games and structure team fights for later on. Usually Yukino is the guy who finds the angles and the advantages in the early game so they don't lose that path.
I remember what you were saying last game, Trouble, where like Yukino, he was actually trying to make plays, but he just didn't have a mid laner who he could play with. That Orianna couldn't do. Yeah, now he's got a Silas who has been very supportive towards keeping Checolat down and all this jungle attention towards mid. This time hasn't worked out. This time there's been a better response, and obviously it's because of the early game, but overall, they've really kept the train running. 3K gold lead now, KC Blue heading towards the next dragon. In 35 seconds, it's coming down bottom.
And I love the aggression right here from Yukino. He knows there's Bootyard cell inventory for Thager. Item and a half for Yukino, so constant pressure into Thager's jungle.
He's doubling down as well. And he's got a control ward in. He's trying to command his territory as a ward spots it. Thager just going to go towards his topside camps or at least see what he can do up there. But KC Blue are hovering, and Checolat's like, I know again that there is someone in that bush. I just saw a dog. Piero's missing. Chocolate. Is he going to realise? Wait for the dredge line, wait for the setup. Again, it hits. Piero doesn't miss, and Slow Q hits him down. A kill finally to the mid laner, and Chocolate is getting the Slow Q treatment.
Yeah, a little careless right there. He walks up even. Oh, they're going to dive Thager.
It is a 1-for-1 in terms of ulti now. Yukino takes a double turret shot as Slow Q has now stolen himself a Crescent Guard from Thager. Chain Lash being maxed in this range lane, so there's really good damage out of Slow Q. And he just gets mid for himself now. Bit of turret plating for him too.
Yeah, and that second tower for KCB right here too. Yukino absolutely taking control of that early game. And it all happened especially because Barcelona like to overforce fights over and over and over again. And KCB right here, they're so much stronger. 2,000 gold lead onto this dog. Eclipse plus the pickaxe is going to have that Black Cleaver so fast in his inventory as well. So Yukino's going to be truly terrifying. As what do you know? Piero is mid lane again.
Oh my god, I love it. That both mid laners just get to experience it. Piero is fishing for that hook. He's been insane on the Nautilus this game, and he doesn't miss, so I'd be scared.
This used to happen when I first started playing League of Legends.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if it did for you too, where people did not know lane assignments. So you would just go into a game and people would type where they wanted to go. And if it happened that you typed it with someone else, there'd be two people in the mid lane.
Oh, yeah. Like the good old days. So Wyden suddenly turns up. Good scout of the week, by the way. Teleport from Slow Q just to get back in the lane. But Piero, again, he lives here, rent-free, as Legolas steps up to Mainta. There's a culling. Mainta just needs to wait for his cooldowns, and to Legolas, he might be able to find some flash kill. But half HP in the bottom lane in the meanwhile, as turret plating, as you saw, was falling, which I think means a big deal when we are pushing for the kill and for the turret in each and every lane.
A 3k gold lead for KCB as well. 2 of the dragons, feats of strength confirmed for them as well. And majority of the gold lead is through the mid jungle.
Yep.
Yukino and Slowq as they are looking for Mainter.
Face checking. Oh, and the flash away. Not enough because Wyden Magnet Storm to get the shutdown over to Legolas, and that's a much-needed kill here for a 3-0 Lucian, who is already skyrocketing. White Knight is going to be the trade on the other side of the map, though. Slow Q close to killing as turret shot won't dissuade Yukino. It's so easy to dive as an Neferi. The flash away, the ulti midway, but Yukino can just press the W button. The dogs are out. The second turret shot, not going to mean much about.
Neferi is immune, for this champion as well. And I feel like once Barcelona was like, wait, we cannot make trades in the mid lane, there's way too many people. We cannot make trades in the bot lane, there's way too many people. Haha, we still have top laners in this game, guys, remember. But both got punished at the same time. Mainter's flash got forced, White Knight's flash got forced as well. Another kill going to Neferi. Now Black Cleaver completed is actually huge. That's a 2-item Neferi, 14 minutes in the game.
You got an Ambassador and you got a Misfortune. I love the itemization here. Normally a Shojin that might come alongside the Eclipse, but still as White Knight, by the way, teleports for Herald.
A Black Cleaver is just so much value here. You've got double AD in your team as well.
Also, I mean, you get that extra health too when you're so far ahead, when you've got levels to add into the mix. Trouble, I feel like this Neferi in this next fight, we're really going to feel it here on the side of Barca as they walk into River.
Let's see, Barcelona is trying to take some control of this River. Mainter all the way down the bot lane. Slowq over in the top. Slowq can actually flank around the top side of the River and join the fight. Mainter will have to TP, and Barcelona are starting that Rift Herald. KCB have pushed in that mid, and they're trying to make the way in the River.
White Knight has no ulti. He's going to walk up to this one. Piero flashes away. Bullet time zones him off. Thager is isolated. Abscond Duck doesn't connect to Slowq. Also isolated, but Chocolate just walked in like a blind monk. He gives a reset over to Yukino, who now ready to run the back end of the fight. Thager runs back in, but an ulting dog once again pounces. He's isolated, left alone until the boys wrap around, send up the double, and Yukino runs the Rift, the American, putting the Europeans in their place.
Where have I seen this before? Oh wait, the LEC finals.
Oh no.
KCB right here, grabbing a great team fight that will also net them the Rift Herald. Absolute dominance when it comes to neutral objectives right here for the French team. They are back. They're back off of the back of that mid-jungle duo that we mentioned earlier on and that we did praise in the desk earlier as well. And 3xA will take that mid lane tier 1 tower. I just feel like the composition for Barcelona is so damn difficult to play. Look at Chocolate. He's technically coming from an angle that's safe, but his whole team is on the other side of the map. How does the Syndra cross the road? I feel like I'm playing the little frog game right now, but it's so difficult. He even flashes towards his Sion, but wait, there's a Nautilus there. He knows that one.
That's rough. And you're right, like, how does he get to play when the fight already starts up before he's
Have
engaged.
you ever played the frog game? Where you have to
yeah,
cross the
you
road
have
with
to
all the
click.
cars going past.
Yeah.
That's what I felt like Checo had to do there.
It's like impossible. You get like past one intersection and that's it. Barcelona are trying to keep the game rolling, and at the very least to their credit, but a 4K gold disadvantage. Right now, these objective bounties get picked up with so much risk. KC Blue trying to stop it from happening. It's a turret trade in the end, Scout of the Week, to get them away, but even though they minimize the gold, still, it's KC Blue's game. We're just living in it. It is nice to see, considering game one felt like such a stomp after the first 15, 20 minutes of fighting. This time, it's almost a complete role reversal.
Yeah, and I'm not going to lie, I would have... Oh, hold up, Fager.
Yeah, he's in trouble. 3XA just gets him down to half HP. Dredgeline close as Yukino is caught out, but again, how much really? He gets into the Herald! Away from the Magnustorm, and Legolas gets sent up! It's easy CC for the Ambassador to knock through. I mean, Yukino just absolutely styled on them. What more do you say than, oh, that dog is out?
He dodged the Q from Rel with W, and then when Rel ults, because he missed the Q, he goes into the Rift Herald, untargetable to dodge that one too.
Yukino is 10-0-4, 14 out of 15 kill participation. Like, we are seeing some of the class of this jungler slap Barca a little bit silly, and this turret's going to go down with it. 5k gold lead, yes, there's a Sion ulti, slow Q. He can actually steal this one, so he can get away himself. They're going to teleport in. Chocolate needs a great Scout of the Week, but there's a Sion ulti, no Scout of the Week for you. He's out, and slow Q drew the attention of 3.
Don't worry, this Sion is not scary, doesn't know how to build.
Oh, not Sunfire Cape. I think that is the worst item in the game. Sunfire Cape,
completing it, actually, yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, I always prefer Cosmic Radiance, but it's a problem when you're versing 3 AD and you got a very Fed Neferi, isn't it? As this is the Fed Neferi we're talking about.
Yeah, so he'll W the Q. Actually, he W's pre-Q, and then White Team Q's the W. And then once the ult goes down from White Team, he just goes straight into the Herald to be immune from that CC. But yeah, that was technically White Team's whoopsie right there, because Nafir was already in W mode.
Very, very true. But regardless, I mean, I keep seeing these fights play out. It's not getting any better. It's a 3k gold lead and...
A 4k gold lead.
Well,
and 3k just on Nafiri.
I was going to say, yeah, it's a 3k gold lead just for jungle, but you're right, 4k. The fact that the Neferi is so much a part of that, 75% of it, is kind of crazy. And I'll also say, the fact that Slowq's had a real big bounce back in game 2 is great, not only for the mental of KC Blue, but for him in particular, because game 1, I got so hyped up to watch this guy after watching his tournament, and it was very disappointing. This game, I will not say anything of the sort. I mean, it's crazy to say that Aragon might be right.
It's more his type of champion, right?
Yeah,
Again, Yone, Silas, Akali, LeBlanc, more of the slow queue type of champions.
As you're saying, yeah.
Right here for Barcelona, I'm trying to find a way back for them, and I would have to say it's probably through picks. I don't think they can pick on Yukino right here. It's very difficult to pin down in a Fury, but they have to slowly try to figure out a way. But KCB are playing so well around their jungler right now that they're not really leaving spaces for Barcelona to make a pick. And now the Rift Herald, the Atakan is going to get started, but making it through that choke point in the tri-bush could be very deadly.
Well, Atakan's being played slow as well. Barca, as you saw, was spotted out with a deep ward from Piero. It's being pulled off. Yukino knows that he doesn't have to force this. They don't have to play mega hard because mid's also open. Look at mid wave. It's a free turret. Barca are like, look, let's try and get the Atakan. Let's try for something. White in finds nothing. A potential steal still on the cards as Yukino has his flash, his ulti and everything up and the kitchen sink available. Runs in, doesn't get it, and maybe an opportunity for the bullet time layering down as Painter now joins in. Legolas, the Fed member of Barca, can't play the game. On top, he's sat in the ground, he's put, and White Knight left alone without any food of the making. KC Blue, their game is still there as Painter's just looking for the last kill of the leftover ace.
Yeah, White in, he's trying to run away, but he's going to run into slow queue. Main just chasing him as well. It's going to be like a matter of seconds until he goes down. And that was a 5-man pinch from the side of KCB. There was a guy tipping in tri-bush. There was a guy coming from bot lane. There's a guy coming from the top river. And there was a guy coming from the tri-bush on the left side. As you're going to see it right here on this replay. What's this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5-man pinch. Checolat flashes forward. Everything committed to shut down Yukino. The flash from Checolat just to press R onto the dog. And then what?
Yeah.
You shut down the Nafiri, but then you're so far deep into this fight. And the Misfortune's pretty fed. The Salas is pretty fed, so they just threw their bodies just so they can get that shot down onto the Nafiri, which they very well did. but then there was a then what kind of scenario. They didn't think of the sequel.
Look at Piero did more damage than anyone on the team of Barca. That just tells you the game state. Like, Yukino did less than his support. Because,
That's fake, because he stayed alive the longest.
Oh, that's also true. He also got a 3-4-man ulti at the start of that fight as well. It was pretty insane. He's got 12 kill participation as well. If you want to look at the stats, just the numbers will tell you that this support is hitting. And I feel like Whiting in game 1 on his Leona had a similar performance where he was everywhere. Piero, this game on Nautilus, has been bending the hooks like Beckham. He's been everywhere as well. So it is nice to see supports hidden in this highlight as that highlight leads us to a 6k gold lead. A Soul coming up in a minute 15. That might be KC Blues for the taking. And Thega is invading currently. Now this is not your jungle. You being here, probably going to get you killed. He knows. He's just going to take what he can. Present guard out. Slowkey's there over the wall. It's gone abducted and Nautilus ulti again. Mainta just drops his and Slowkey will take a very, very over-eager enemy jungler.
A little bit too aggressive when you're 6k down as a whole.
Guess you just
I mean, I feel like he took that pathing because Whiting was coming through, but then Piero was on his back, so is it really safe to walk that way? When you try Bush's water, you could have walked the other way, but Barcelona have now been put in a situation where they have to play 4 versus 5, 30 seconds for the next dragon to spawn. It's going to be Soul for KCB. And again, this Barcelona composition, I feel like it started so well by slamming the Sion. No one can kill the Sion, but then again, I feel like they're running into a wall where they're like, now how do we round this out? And
oh, God.
Lucian was not it, and they're feeling it right here. Like, I feel like Legolas has been a known factor this entire game.
Yeah. And something that was also talked about was like the attention or the kills and resources that Legolas gets. Sometimes this guy can also get caught out. He can be a liability. And rough to say, but as Flash, Dredgeline, and a commitment comes through with the White in ulti, culling as well, they're just trying to make this liability into something of a playmaker. White Knight's ulti sets up for Piero to flash away. They're chasing this Nautilus, but he Dredgelines in. It's not even his last hurrah. There's a shutdown, a kill. Mainta isolated as well. Hang on a minute. Somehow, Barca have gotten a double shutdown. KC Blue need to chill out. Around Soul, they're going to be denied the opportunity to pull up exactly that for another 5 minutes. They just gave over about 2,000 gold to a Syndra that's close to getting a scaling 120.
That was a 6k gold lead. That just became a 4k gold lead. You stop the stacking, and very importantly, 30 seconds for Baron with 2 members of KCB dead. That gives time for Barcelona to reset, buy items, buy control wards, and take control around the Baron area to potentially try and fight another fight like this. That was a fantastic turnaround from the Spanish team to pick them off one by one. 3xA is too far forward, and Mainta tries to go back in. He's 1 versus 5. KCB does not commit. Let's see if Barcelona will try to get any vision around that Baron before all remaining members get to the area.
Piero's going to Hex Flash away. Whitehead is looking for the engage again. Yukino hard to lock down, but there's a lot of members here.
Slowkey's without TP.
You are right. I mean, he's isolated. Baron also just spawned. But how game are they really?
I feel like you're really looking for your death cap right here.
And I think he'll be close to it, right? Like, I'm not sure if he picked up the second needlessly large after the shutdown. But if that's not the case, next back he has it.
Pretty sure he did, because he came through a reset.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a while until he gets that, but I feel like the second that he gets that is such a huge spike for the Syndra out there. Of course, very worthy to mention the Bloodthirster for Misfortune, the Seeker's Arm Guard coming through for Silas, as well as the Solaria. A lot of defensive items being built through for the side of KCB, particularly for Silas that dives too deep, takes more close range exchanges. I think Seeker's Arm Guard is very, very important for the next fight.
An extra defensive measure. I will say, the burst has come out of 3xA. I'm still expecting us, good timing to bring up damage dealt. Some Misfortune's bullet times. One-shot the comp. So even though there was a bit of a throw, a bit of a mishap from KC Blue, they're still in the driver's seat of this game. They still hold control over the Baron. It's still difficult for Barca to walk in and get some of that defensive vision that we're looking at now on our map. And they are still losing their jungle as 3xA is making sure mid is perma-wave cleared.
Barcelona's looking for a way in. Jekyll back to base. Is that a death cap? He sold something. Death cap completed. This is a full power 3 item Syndra. If he can find his target, they can find 3xA somehow again, a good scatter of the week. They can literally delete anyone, even the Nautilus. There's not many tanky members, if any, on the side of KCB.
3xA walking up, there's a Rel there. White in wants to get the cleanse, crash down, wait for the Shattering Strike. The Magnastorm pulled up and the flash away as well. culling as they send White Knight in with his ult as well, but Teleport is going to bring 5 for KC Blue right down the mid lane. Barca walk it back. They're burnt a little bit for that, but KC Blue now want to bring them into Baron.
That was a lot of commitment from Barcelona. You have no ultimates on the side of Sion, Rel, and Lucian, and you've also committed the flash from Whiting on the other side. KCB have every ultimate in their disposal.
7k for now. That's the Baron HP at half. They get a good scatter of the week. Over the wall, Yukino is isolated. KC Blue are moving into mid-brush. Baron's going to reset. Yukino wants to start it up. There is no vision currently. It's all wiped out as the control ward's doing its job.
Yeah, I'll tell you one thing. Barcelona have to keep constantly checking if the Baron's going down. Nafiri is one of those champions that doesn't really get targeted by Baron once he has the dogs. The debuff from Baron really hits the dogs, just keeps doing damage without necessarily being damaged herself. It's very unique to that champion. At least, for example, she will get targeted eventually, but the Nafiri doesn't, so they have to constantly keep checking if the Nafiri can solo it. Vele would know, because he has soloed Baron before for like 3 minutes straight.
I hate that. The champion can do it. It's been a while since we've had a solo champion. I think Yorick can also do it, obviously, with
Master
the Fade
Yi?
too. Master Yi was the classic, wasn't it?
Yep.
The days of soloing Baron. I mean, Baron
The
was a lot...
OG Warwick.
But it was a lot weaker in those days
Yeah,
for Baron. These days, it's maybe not. And as you said, here we go. Yukino is going to try and solo this, do the classic Nafiri with 3 and a bit items, and doing okay for now. But Whiten is
Just
like,
checking.
I'm seeing you. Whiten wants to stop it. Yukino's there. Going to go invulnerable, and Barca at least get control from that now, grouping up as 4 and 5. Moving into clear vision.
I feel like that's scarier for Barcelona. I feel like Barcelona need to be second to the play, not first to the play. Due to how much playability that KCB composition has, they can literally flank from any position they want and play the fight however they will, right? Again, every map for themselves.
They got a scout of the week. They got a culling as well.
Oh,
Yukino flashes away. Whiting gets a double shattering strike and a shutdown. Look at Whiting. Sets up all of them to dive as a 5-man unit. Barca have exploded the French Revolution through KCB. Maitner comes in. He brings in a bit of firepower himself. The Solar is in to bring the fight back as Whiting can't get the crash down, and Slowq now popping up the ulti, the stolen one, buys time. Maitner as well somehow. The solo lanes of KC Blue brought it all back, and even though Maitner in game 1 didn't get to play much on this Ambessa, he damn sure as well makes himself known in game 2.
They have no anti-heal for the Sylas. Slowq sustained so much damage. He healed back up so much. If this was TFT, I'd say Sunfire is enough. But Sunfire does no anti-heal in this game. So KCB with their 2 bruisers, 1 AD, 1 AP, they come back in this fight. But Barcelona have been finding angles for picks when they're 5 and 6k behind. But right now it's going to become that much more difficult. Mountain Soul for KCB. Shield is going to be a lot more difficult
what
to
the
break.
hell happened here?
That's what's more. I feel like it's Yukino playing a little bit too aggressive. He commits his W.
He does.
He commits his W
full
just
vision.
to face check, knowing that Whiten was in there, and then they commit their bodies to get far in. Then 3XA stands still for the bullet time. You cannot do this in front of a Sion. And then just commit all of their buttons, right? But very important here, Mater catches Chocolate with the ultimate while Slowq is in stasis. And look at all the healing that's going to come through from Slowq. He steals the Sinzao ult as well, which means that he gets to push the 3 melee champions away. Then his W's back up. Then he sustains again by healing. That was disgusting.
That's the mechanics that I was promised from Slowq.
We didn't need the damage dealt right there. We needed the healing done on the Sylas.
I mean, both solo lanes absolutely smurfed that fight. And as you said, Trouble Slowq, the healing was unbelievable. The time bought so crucial in the 1v5 as well as KC Blue back in charge. 5k gold lead, Mountain Soul makes a big difference. The gold worth value now shows a lot more too as Slowq's in the side lane. 3xa's going up mid. Baron is being looked at by Yukino just to make sure it's not started. And look at all the damage of these turrets. KC Blue just whittled him down while Barca are trying to commit to the Baron.
I mean, there's 4 members of Barcelona. Chocolate's going to TP, which means no one's really defending the towers. Slowq is TP'd while taking tower damage.
Yeah, okay. He took a bit of turret damage at half HP. Doesn't care. They get the objective bounty, but now what? Barca committed 5 members. White Knight wants to find an escape, but it won't be let. As Slowq cutting up the escape path again. This mid, Siles at the top of your screen. He's gone golden with 3XA, covering his front. Wide in, getting the back, and Slowq on a champion that can make plays. Now that's what I call a legendary mid.
And both sides of the map, the tower is gone. They have a mid wave, the mid lane wave. They have the bot lane wave. The inhibitor's waiting. KCB could look to end right here.
It should be over, right? The death time is too much. Chocolat isolated, left alone, and it came down to a couple of plays. It got sketchy for a bit, but KC Blue get to finish what they started. I mean, you got to give props to Barca, but in the end, slow queue, Mainter, make sure this game sits on the edge of your seat for a little bit longer. We have a series this time. We have a best of 5. We have Chocolat dropping at the end of this one. But a 1-1. KC Blue come alive.
Damn. The mid-jungle duos for both of these teams have come to play.
True.
Game number 1, it was all about Fager and Chocolat. Game number 2, Yukino and Slowq. Fantastic performance. That Nafiri was crazy good coming through from KCB. For Barcelona, I feel like I'm left wondering because, like, if from draft to their plays in game, they had step 1, step 2 was now what? It was like step 1, we'll pick Sion. Now what for AD carry? We don't really have any good one.
Yep.
Then they would make a huge play, like the one that we saw with the Baron. They're like, oh, we're gonna start the Baron. We're gonna sacrifice one of our towers. They took the Baron. Now what? Then it was just no step 2 or 3.
And then, I mean, coming back to it as well, even though the early game you talked about, the early game was really controlled by this Nafiri. Then we got to mid, then we got to late, and like a couple of throws, couple of moments. Let go a bit by KC Blue, but the coverage from the solo laners was insane. I know they want to talk about solo laners on the desk because top and mid, I think, are the reason that they got to stay in that game.
I like it.
Yeah.
I want to take it back, and I want to understand from the draft itself to the beginning of the game, you have some ideas and some things that you want to share as well. So I want to understand this game as well, because Barca at the beginning of the match did get a few points, but they got completely destroyed at one point.
Yeah, I mean, like just for a heads up, like I like to take notes on my laptop. I like to type things out, right? And my laptop, it died, but just before it died, I typed in a word. I typed in Piero, and that's all the notes I have on this game because my laptop died. But Piero on the Nautilus this game was completely goated from level 1 and then controlling the map. I thought he was doing incredibly well. But yeah, in this draft, this felt more like KC Blue. This felt more like Slowq, and I think they had a really, really good synergistic comp. And here's the level 1, right? The hook value, I think Trouble touched on it on the cast, just rooting everyone, dominating the early game, and this is really big. And the reason why this is big is because Nafiri is a champion that generally doesn't find that many plays early. She's a heavy scaler. She scales incredibly well. And can find maybe side lane plays under tower with W dives. But outside of that, she generally is a very scaling champion that doesn't find leads early, and she got accelerated. We saw a 10-0, I believe, or a 10-1 Nafiri in team fights, and while they didn't carry the team fights, they're incredibly hard to deal with, right?
Itemization-wise, Nafiri was accelerated in a ridiculous way. You got 15 minutes with Eclipse and Black Cleaver.
Oh, this was nice.
This was
Place the Herald,
clean.
Full combo, have no invuln from the W use, dodge the Rel ultimate with getting into a Herald, and run him over.
Call an ambulance, but not for me.
Absolute banger combo there. And you had the collapse of Slowq as well on his champion, but Yukino, first 25 minutes or so, slapped.
3XA as well with the highest damage, 33,000 with that misfortune. Also accelerated at the beginning of the game with those 2 kills, but Yukino 11, 2, and 8. I think that 2 only shows up due to that replay where he uses both dodge and invulnerability in the middle of the game, like, hey guys, I'm just gonna use this, and everybody paused on him. That was almost like a redemption arc for KC Blue as well. There were a few mistakes that allowed Barca to be thinking like, maybe we can win this.
Yeah, and I think there were definitely later on with, you highlighted it a lot, the W usage and just using it to face check and then having no cooldowns, then walking up. It wasn't necessarily using it to face check that was a problem, but then walking up afterwards, which maybe meant the team fights were a bit problematic and shaky, but overall, it's fine. You know, the games are such a stomp, it's okay to slip up once or twice, and I think that's okay. I blanked. I was going to say a point there, and I completely...
No, what you want to do now is you're going to break down a team fight specifically for this game.
Yeah, you're
we
right.
got you covered.
That was a banger. Yeah, bring it on, bring it on.
The Telestrated, this is the Telestrated, this is Eragon's moment right now, so we can learn a little bit more about what happened and why did it happen as well.
Yeah, this is a good one. So basically, the reason why I want to bring up this replay, right, which is about to come on, is it highlights how well Piero plays in the early game around team fights. This is a Rift Herald fight. If we pause it right here, Piero has a really big problem right here, where he has line bush control, right, that connects to the mid lane, but he can't face check the banana bush, which is to the left that has White Knight in it, right? 2 people on the red side are on that bush, and it's really hard to face check. He could hook in there and get Aftershock, but he doesn't know anyone's in there because he doesn't have vision. So approaching this bush is very difficult versus snap engage. So what he's going to do, if we play it, he's going to walk up, and then hook to the left to buffer the Q from Sion to be able to walk out, dodge the rel Q, and that allows for his team to take position and walk in and actually get past the control that Barcelona have of this bush. Then the team fight can come through, and Piero, the unsung hero, actually allows for his team to walk in. And that's really, really difficult to actually get through, because this bush is very, very important in control.
And if you look into the HP, Piero was the one engaging, the one getting caught with that prediction of hooking and buffering.
The Sion Q.
He just got out of that team fight full HP as well.
And
so.
he wastes the rel ulti too. I think that's just super awesome. Like the way he piloted that, I'm a big fan of like Nautilus mechanics, because I think Nautilus is sleeper for how difficult he can be, because he's actually really squishy. But yeah, no, I thought that was a great gameplay by Piero.
Mentally as well, KC Blue winning this game is like a reset for the team. The first one from Barca almost set up the stakes for this series as a 3-0. I think this is really important for the LFL seed to finally just breathe a little bit. So, one-on-one, what is next?
What is next? I think they're going to continue. Barca Blue. Yeah. Barca Blue, Barca Blue, Barca Blue. I think jungle is pretty pinched, and that's a concern. And now I'm looking at kind of Viego compositions that could be good. Skarner is also notably really, really strong, but you also have a Kali for slow Q that's still available, right? So in these kinds of games, I do think EMEA Masters champion pool is very, very relevant, right? For example, LR will blind pick a Syndra, which just isn't normal globally. But in this kind of case, where you have Akali, you could just set up for the Akali with bans, and I think that's important for Barca to consider for slow Q.
You know what? I'm expecting a Nadi and a Vi to appear
exactly
from KC Blue. So let's see how they're going to show that up. Barca also has those options open. I think both teams can play that. But before we do that, we toss it to a break before Game 3. I don't know what's your prediction, chat, but let us know. Spam it away, and I'll see you soon.
Hey, Law.
Yeah?
I need a bit of help with styling since I'm new here, and I was wondering if I could show you a couple of outfits.
Yeah, sure.
Amazing, thank you so much. I'll be right back. I'm a porro snack. Get it?
I don't know, man. No, not really.
I don't know, Law. It's hopeless.
No, it's gonna be fine. Here, let's have a break.
Even the biggest champ needs a break.
Back to the drawing board then, I guess.
True love is a feast for the lions. What am I feeling like? Hold my hand, I can be your eyes. It's fading in the skies. Who starts the fire? Who starts the fire? We'll keep the heat on high, and we'll let it simmer, let it. We'll fly the line, break the rush, turn the tide, 'cause we're big enough. We'll find a time and steal the love. Yeah, darling, forever give it up. Yeah, darling, forever give it up. Yeah, darling, forever give it up. The boiling point as we know it is close to frozen. What a time to feel alive. We'll be by the river when the floodgates are open. I think about it all the time. Who starts the fire? Who starts the fire? We'll keep the heat on high, and we'll let it simmer, let it. We'll fly the line, break the rush, turn the tide, 'cause we're big enough. We'll find a time and steal the love. Yeah, darling, forever give it up. Yeah, darling, forever give it up. Yeah, darling, forever give it up. What a time to be alive. We've reached the boiling point. It's overflowing. We'll climb the gates. We'll tear them open. We'll fly the line, break the rush, turn the tide, 'cause we're big
remain at 3-0. That's good to hear, isn't it? So welcome you back to the EMEA Masters semi-finals with a banger ahead. KC Blue just picked up game 2. There's trouble. Myself, Asterix, are going to take you through right into the third and equalizer game, or rather, game that breaks the camel's back. No, you know what I mean. It's going to break something.
Game 3.
Game 3, as people call it in the business.
As the common people call it.
As the common people call it, because none of what I said was correct. But that's because the first 2 games have been pretty chaos-filled. And I don't mean like everyday LPL. I mean like the best of the LPL that has a killer minute, even more so. That decides.
You mean WE, basically?
I mean a WE peak gameplay. Let's see what we get for draft here in Fearless, because again, a lot's taken off the board. We've had the Syndra, we've had the Talia, we've had big picks that have come through that have really decided lane. I feel like when mid lane has been deciding the series so far, that is where our eyes are going to be, as we're taking away jungles to facilitate to start us off.
I feel like very important champion potentially in this particular game might be Hui.
Yep.
Both of those mid laners love Hui. Hui is a champion that has a long range, pretty much really good into any champion. I didn't even mention Azir because I was pretty sure it was going to be taken care of right here. So yeah, Hui is what I have my eyes on the side for Chocolate. Also things like Corkis and Tristanas that he really does enjoy to get priority with. Ooh, I don't think I've seen this B1 in a very long time.
But maybe the Trundle to preempt the last jungler that really feels to facilitate, which is the Sejuani.
It also kind of makes sure that there's no tank on the other side, right? Yeah. So you can go more of like those big, bursty kind of compositions that Barcelona really like.
Okay. KC Blue, what's your option? Things like the Yone are up and available. Does Slowq feel like pulling it out here and maybe going with a different jungler? Viego, a different option instead? Oh, please. Oh, yes.
Hold up. We said he's the Yone, Silas, Akali, LeBlanc guy. Oh, we also mentioned earlier on the desk that if Yukino has to play an AP jungler, which he usually doesn't necessarily gravitate towards to a lot, that means that Slowq has taken more of an AD type of play in the mid lane, which is most likely going to be the Corki.
Yeah, let's say technically still flex, but you're right, that option is there. I want to see how, again, they round out maybe in the potential other solo lane. Barca have an option now. The jungle's already picked. Match that AD or get a priority mid taken away.
Usually you see Tristanas into Corkis if you want to go, if you want to match AD for AD. But they're going to choose to play for that bot lane instead. I feel like they ran out of options really fast in the previous draft. So Zyra Khan, Lovers duo, very safe. Great pressure in lane as well. And you have a lot of engage and disengage potential with both.
Do you slam a Brom here? I guess Brom, Rakan doesn't care about Brom, so maybe not, but what are the engaged supports you have left remaining? Because that now becomes a real issue. I think it was talked about yesterday as well, where like we get through these Fearless drafts, and when we have like 4 or 5 major engaged supports, what do you have left?
I don't really like the Brom right here, because it's not necessarily a counter to Rakan. Rakan is too slippery to be considered a quote-unquote melee support, right? It doesn't necessarily really stick onto targets, just goes in and then goes back out. The only thing I can think of for picking Brom right here is that maybe you want to play super aggro in the jungle early on, and that level 1 on Brom can really make or break the early game. We saw that KCB played really aggressively on Barcelona on that level 1, so you could technically just use that Brom to bleed the pressure into jungle.
Also with Corki as well, it's a good 2v2 lane, good bullying lane, so like again, we'll just see that develop as Kennon's taken off in a surprising turn of events. I'm sensing Renekton, no cap. Cannon is one of the best matchups versus Renekton. That guy with glasses backstage, I'm sure will tell you the same thing. Jack's also taken off the board. Maybe that was another option.
Talking about Aragon?
Yeah, I am. Artron doesn't wear glasses.
I was trying to think was the guy with glasses backstage. We have so much production right here. I'm like,
the guy that people see on the screen. On Taken 2. I mean, I feel like this could definitely be a Renekton angle.
I feel like the Kennen is banned because Whitener is a big fan of Kennen and he does play it a lot. Probably. And you're going to have to run Exhaust on Brom as well, which makes your pressure in the early game a little bit lower if you are playing the Brom, since the lane does not look that dominant from that Brom pick. Let's see, the Yone being taken away. This could also be like a Tristana angle. Like you could have both Corki and Tristana, and you could flex either or on the bot side of the map. Now, I would not like to see double AP, both in the jungle and in the mid lane. But I'm kind of thinking right here, maybe you pick your top laner blind even here, which I wouldn't recommend, and let Slowq pick his matchup.
Aatrox instead, okay. Maybe that's what they were fishing for all along, with something like the Cannon ban, but We now have some angles to play through. We now give mid lane as a counter pick and get that real answer of, you know, AD carry or mid. But Legolas, hold the fort. Hold the fort. We know that's
There's
lol.
no way.
We know that's lol. Okay, we already got Zaya. Everyone chill out at home. Just wait.
He was hovering MF when he had Ezreal last time.
Yeah,
so
that's
he's
right.
He's just
he
baiting
likes
us.
that. He's
Yeah.
like, I like this champion. Please know it. And now having some gum. Ooh.
Okay, that really enables you to play well.
That really
All right,
does.
Chocolate.
Annoying for
What
the
you
team,
got?
though.
Is it Hui, or Hui?
You think it's white? Because, yeah,
Unless they want to match it with Tristana,
You-
but you don't know if that Corki is mid.
you do have 3 AD otherwise, so I think that
Yep.
was a necessity is... Yeah, what runs into this? The best option.
I'm just gonna say that there might be a Wild LeBlanc coming through, but that would be too much AP. You got Salmon, Corki, you got Lily as well, like mid-jungle duo, both AP. I don't really like it. It's gonna be the Jace from slow queue. Not necessarily his bread and butter with what he is as a player, like the more assassin type of melee kind of player. But it is some AD needed for the side of KCB. I think I would have much rather seen maybe the Tristana here, but they're trying to match the range with range.
Yeah, the range added in. It's a good point. Also, as well, with the setup that comes from Yukino, I'm excited for this draft because, again, there is a lot of poke on KC Blue, now that you mention it, and there's a lot of angles to play for as well. Whereas Barca are running 1 AP through mid. And what is this, front to back? What are we looking at?
I'm just a little worried that this KCB composition doesn't have any agency to start fights by themselves.
True, very true.
They're going to have quite a bit of priority, so that is at least one thing, right? When you're playing the poke comp, you need to be first at objective, so if anyone's trying to get through the choke points, you're there to punish them. However, I feel like all the buttons for engages belong to the side of Barcelona. You've got the Mega Nars, you've got the Rakan as well. Zaya is pretty uncatchable too with her ult, so I feel like a lot of the agency has been given to Barcelona, and when Barcelona has agency to start fights in their own terms, they've looked very scary so far.
Well,
More gum.
more gum. Yeah, I just noticed that. Wait,
Damn.
White Knight's got the gum now.
And he looked like the same package as well.
Yeah, Barca Esports, they got a gum sponsorship, don't they? I mean, it must be. You know, I always think about it like the last time I played, you know, Pugs or anything of the sort, and you just hear players on mics chewing gum, and you just think, man, I get it. Like, it's cool, but at least mute.
It's cool.
It's cool. Like, it's how nice that is. As we get into Summoners Rift, it's game 3. It's 1 apiece. KC Blue blew us out of the water last game. There were some insane fights, but that's what the series has been about so far. This series has been skirmish heavy, bloodthirsty, and all the more fun as we join this roller coaster to see who leads us to match point. Is it going to be Spain's first seed or LFL's second? We have a pause. There was a light issue, apparently. We are going to be coming back shortly. I've been told that. Don't worry, the pause is not too long.
All right.
If you believe me.
If you believe me.
At your own peril, 30 seconds apparently.
All right, that's
We'll
not
be
very
back
long.
in.
You were right. You were right.
Well,
they have the right to believe
I'm not
me.
right until we get into game.
Is that more gum?
Oh, hang on.
Is he reaching out for more gum?
Wait,
Nope.
so Legolas and
nope.
White Knight right now are on the gum. Checkerlad, no gum. White in, can't tell. No gum there.
Fager, no gum either.
Where's the gum?
I think it's 80 carry top only.
Okay.
And that's that. And for Casey, we can't tell.
That's true. You guys, if you could turn around, that'd be cool.
If you could turn around and chew for us,
We need.
Newman.
I've noticed with the player house cameras, like it's nice that they have a player house camera, but why is it in 480p?
It's the security camera.
It's a security camera. We've actually logged in. We got no permission. We just like, we sent our hacker.
Wouldn't be infiltrated.
Yeah. All right, now we're truly in. And as you said, KC Blue, the engagers in there, I guess they're going to be pretty happy that Barca actually have to run into them with things like Trundle running at you with Rakan. Because otherwise, if it was poke for poke, I'd be like, there is no engage.
Very important. Are they going to do anything with that Brom in the early game? Because I personally really dislike Brom when it doesn't get played with purpose to stop an Ornn ult to play versus a heavy melee support over in the bot lane to protect from like a bullet time or whatever it is. Like, unless that's a purposeless Brom on the Rift right now. So at least you can use him potentially in the early game, but like, he's pretty good in the early game. Then you're running into a Trundle that plays with press the attack, so it's really hard to try and fight that. So purposeless Brom it is.
It's also a Brom with Spellbook, by the way. Normally Guardians
Because of the
taken,
Trundle.
Yeah.
It's because of the trundle. You don't want to go with like Aftershock, especially in it, because you're giving away like
Free stats.
free cookies to trundle. Yeah.
Very true. And also, I like the opportunity of extra smite here as an added mix. I also like the option of exhaust against Zaya too, as lane already starting out pretty well. As a lot of you know, Corky, since the changes quite a while ago now, he is a mega lane bully with so much damage in his kit. They gave him true damage as well. That was nice. Sorry.
They took all the AP damage conversion though.
Yeah.
Now he's an AD champ.
Yeah. Now he's, I mean, I think he's just better. To be fair, he's been a champion. He's just kind of been lingering around for the time being as they hit level 2 first. That's why they get the push. And he's just going to try to pop out.
Here's where this is becoming problematic. Thager, Yukino, both passing towards the bot side. Usually what happens is one of the two is going to 180 and go straight up top.
Yep.
Now, look at how the priority has been leaning towards the side of KCB with the Corky pushing in the early game. I would assume that Thager is going to walk down, clear his bot side jungle, full clear straight into the top side of the map. This is where he also has Checolad's help as well, who has been bullying Slowky for that early game.
Slowky, good dodge there from the trade, not giving the 2-spell passive as White Knight, meanwhile, dodges top. Just a quick side note on runes as well. Mainta has gone for Electrocute in this lane. And again, Conqueror normally the take, but
I just feel like with this range Gnar, you've got Zaya, you've got Hui. I feel like short trades, when you can actually connect with Electrocute, might be more impactful than if you went with any other stacking sort of rune for the side of Aatrox.
very true. Maybe alleviates the laning phase a little bit as well as White Knight, as you were saying. Like, we are getting a better lane so far as 5 CS lead, actually the start of it. So meanwhile, what do you see about jungle?
He's done his 180.
The classic.
He's cleared both sides, and now he's it's kind of like when you're drunk and you have to walk home. That's what he does. What's it called? The walk of shame? Yeah, the walk of shame.
But you are right. It's very lifelike because you don't know where you end up in the wrong street.
He did.
You know, he's like, hang on, where am I? And then finally, you call an Uber to take you home.
I think he just walked home.
Well, no, but if the B button has to be the Uber.
Oh, okay.
Surely. It does take a little bit.
Or the friend that drunk
friend.
text. Yeah.
That's right.
Not the ex. Don't text your exes while you're drunk.
These are good life lessons for you all. Be responsible. Don't be stupid.
While we're watching League.
On League of Legends, our audience has definitely grown over time. I would expect a lot of them to know this advice already. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Don't be stupid. Our audience, you know, has gotten a little bit older as... Hang on. No, it just ends there, doesn't it? I'm still waiting for this Electrocute. Mainta, I think he's had one proc so far. It's definitely not been on our screens.
It's so hard to reach.
Yeah.
Right? I feel like this is the... Before I jinx it, as I'm saying this, ball supports mid, junglers also...
What a surprise.
Heading towards mid as well.
Oh, range actually coming in clutch as floors don't come out. Chocolate only getting a severing bolt in the end. That's it.
I was about to say, lowest action we've seen.
Yeah,
the
it is.
entire series.
It's not even that quiet. I mean, we're just in little cheeky fights. Like you looking at the chase down. Thager now moving into position as well as he's level 5. He's got some Raptors to take. And Dragon is now just spawned. So obviously a bit of prior in mid would lead to that. But Jungler's just going to go back having not gotten a significant trade.
I feel like the game is going to be really hard for melees in general right here.
Yeah.
Like I feel like Mainta's going to have a really hard time connecting onto Checo or Legolas, and on the other hand, Thager's going to have a really hard time connecting onto Corky and the Jace over in the mid lane. So these two guys are screwed when it comes to fights. They're going to really have to like commit flashes or try and find creative angles to get there. However, from a perspective of team fights, both of these teams kind of want to do the same thing. They kind of want to play the front to back. They've got really nice scaling compositions on both sides. However, again, I will give a +1 to Barcelona because they can commit to plays that they start in their own terms. They've got the Rakan for engages. Conditionally, they have the Gnar as well. When you have the Mega Gnar and the right angle and the flash available, you can also use that too to engage. Whilst KCB are pretty much just sitting ducks, waiting with a Brom Shield for Barcelona to just run into them.
Or maybe hoping that they just don't. Dragon going to be started now. Now, there's wards on the back of the pit, or rather just one. As you're going to start this off, he's getting a little bit low in mana. The bot trade's meaning a little bit more as the wave is crashing in, and that means that Dragon has to be paused. Yukino turns his attention to Legolas as he enters bot. He probably wishes he doesn't. The feathers, though, sent out, but not drawn back in for a stun. Wide in, still looking, and as he gets a gleaming quill, health bars support the idea of Barca maybe starting this Dragon themselves.
Yeah, I mean, like, they pushed off KCB right here. Yukino's gonna have to take it back. Jekyll have to run back mid to catch his wave, and now bot lane has to push out their wave as well. So I don't think anyone's starting the Dragon anytime soon. However, we do have the Scuttlecrab going over to Thager as he's going to move from the bot side of the map all the way over to the top. And I feel like for Lilia as well, you don't necessarily want any unnecessary fights in the early game. You kind of want to get to your level 6 first, try to farm some items. It's more of a farmer than a playmaker in the early game, and then once you have your 2 items, you're good to go.
I also feel like as well, Yukino, I mean, has just kind of been an efficient farmer so far in the series, from what I've seen, and I will say that's probably been because he got a lead in the last game and just got to farm champions and then the camps. As a series, like, guys, this feels slow. It's probably just not, it's probably just like a whiplash effect because of how the first 2 games have gone, where I'm like 8 minutes in, I'm like, man, there's no action.
But I'm also kind of worried here because of this. Because Yukino's the guy who drives the action in the early to mid game for KCB. And then the rest of the team joins in for the big team fights, right? Right here, I don't know. Maybe he surprises. Maybe he pulls a Kanavi. Because Kanavi is another guy that really drives the action for his teams, whatever team he plays in, right? And he does play a lot of Lilia. So he knows what it feels like to not necessarily have a quote-unquote proper engage button.
True.
But a Q flash, for example, into a sleep can also work.
And I'm waiting for that as KC Blue, just quick side note, as Grubs has spawned, Checolade got an easy trade onto 2. Piero stepping up, and some good kiting away while he just tries to hold the beat through mid. It's because Grubs has started. Easy for the Lilia, the AoE, makes it a treat as Thager, meanwhile, is on the other side of the map.
No one's in position from the side of Barcelona to take the Dragon. So the Void Grubs are going to be given away to KCB, all 3, but now KCB are actually under no threat of losing the Dragon, and Piero 3XA are pushing Thager out of stealing the blue buff.
And it's going to reset with the pillar up as well. KC Blues, a big win. Piero gets tanked up, but Wyden, even though he walks into enemy blue, tries to get some vision for himself, that's the minimal, that's it. And that is definitely not a great trade, as Dragon eventually seems to be started and might just be the long-term trade.
Yeah, and usually going from neutral objective to neutral objective is absolutely illegal, but right here, Yukino made his way while farming all his camps. So KCB could try to figure out a way to turn this around. However, in the end, Barcelona are going to take the next Dragon. But this is a lot of lost time on the map for Thager. He tried to get the blue buff, he couldn't. They were playing spectator mode over in the mid lane to try and push the wave in from the side of Barcelona. Then they wasted a lot of time taking out Dragon. Meanwhile, Yukino has cleared his entire jungle once again.
76 CS is in a good state, and that should be a Leandro who's pretty soon as well. Waiting for that return as he sits in bot brush. Thager reading the play, coming to hover. There's a lilting lullaby at the ready, onto 2. Bedtime for 1 as Legolas holds off. His ulti saved him there. And in bot, he will stand tall for now.
That's a little bit scary. I would like Thager to maybe stay around for that one, in case Lilia did as well. But Lilia got spotted on the first ward in the tri-bush. She's gonna get spotted again on the control ward, so at least they know that the threat of a Lilia potentially still sticking around is not going to be the case. Flash committed from Yukino right there, which makes it a little bit scary. If you walk into a trundle, pillar goes up, could be in a lot of trouble, but now both of the junglers are going to walk towards the tops of the map when the next Scuttlecraft has spawned, and this is where it gets scary walking in as a flashless Lilia.
It really does. I mean, I think...
Just going to give it away.
Must do. I want to say that in this game, KC Blue are creeping up. And it's been like some of these, you know, you're talking about the jungle merits that came before. We're talking about some of the lanes that we've seen. I mean, especially through top. Might only be a 600 gold lead, but for KC Blue, these lanes are still going swiftly. As I say that, though, the flash back. It's from Slow Q. Spiraling Spear blocked with a bit of damage, but saved with the support in Whiting coming up. Getting first blood at 10.5 minutes. Really nice from Whiting. A bit of a bait from Chocolate.
There was nothing Piero could do there, though. Like, Slowq flashes forward, knocks Chocolate back into the Braum. Braum doesn't have a button to engage that. It was so difficult to make that play happen. Like, he'd have to commit an ult, and then Chocolate still had flash to flash away from that. White in a little bit of a trouble. Just gonna W away. Oh yeah, it's going to be a kill over to Chocolate onto this way. Has to commit his flash, but he does complete his Blackfire Torch first.
As I was saying, I mean, the lanes look good. I guess every lane except for this one was really good as Slow Q tried to pop him away.
Yeah, the ult had connected onto slow Q, the exhaust goes down onto Chocolate, but then Whiting is also there. I mean, again, Death Taxes supports mid lane is like the basic for the series.
Slow Q off to a start, and we know how that goes this series. A mid laner who really gets off early.
I feel like they forgot slightly, just for 1 second, they were like,
yes.
They're both
that's
here.
right, hang on.
Yeah.
The supports were like, we haven't played around mid much this game. We've only been there twice.
Hold up, let me fix that.
Yeah, let's do it again. The Slow Q and Chocolate. It's just been a story about them in this series, and with Blackfire Torch, with Yomu's Ghostblade, let's continue writing some of the pages here. Some of that gold lead that was found early that I was talking about through lanes, it's been minimized thanks to the only leading lane for Barca right now, which is Chocolate yet again.
And very importantly, Trinity Force as well onto the Trundle, very expensive item. You have Yuntol onto Legolas, scrapping about to get Trinity Force now completed for 3XA as well. So very good stuff right there. Minute and a half, you're gonna have the Dragon up. So I feel like KCB will definitely want to have a word on that one, especially as the first one went over to Barcelona.
That force with damage. I mean, KC Blue need to make a play because their mid laner was just pushed out, so they go for White Knight, who's going into Mega Gnar with a thin minion wave as well. As he flashes away, he doesn't go to bed. He escapes. And you look at what happened to mid. Thega just walked up, got a hell of a bit of turret plating. Gold is now even off that sick mid play from Chocolate as well.
Very nicely played right here from White Knight as well. Usually you try to escape through the both of the map, but he just went around all the way towards Whiting as a... I'm telling you, every single time there's a play happen on the other side of the map and you leave the 2 AD carries alone down the bot lane, they will win a 1v1.
By the way, look at mid.
It's gone.
It was on 4 turret plates.
And now it's on 1.
It's crazy. It was all the poke that came through, and Slowkey got zoned off to the left, had to walk the long way around. Couldn't make a quick return because his TP's not up. And so mid now just feels like it's a bit of a lane disaster.
I don't know, man. Like game 1 and game 3, I feel like the matchups they put slow Q in, I'm kind of like the sassy mode where I'm like, really? That's the best you can give me? You've got Tristana in the game, you could put Corki mid, but like, really? You're giving me Jace right here? It's not necessarily working out the best for slow Q right now. It's a level 10 Jace into a level 11 Quay on the other side. Checo's gonna TP back.
Okay, nice yoink.
He's got his Sorcerer Shoes as KCB. Again, with Yukino, he's the kind of guy that does like to invade, especially on Raptor timers when he does spot enemy supports or enemy junglers. And right here, this could very easily turn into a 4v4.
Yukino starting up the Dragon. He wants to shift gears at the very least. 3XA is a little bit low with no mana, but they found Piero. Caught out is what I'd say, but a 2-man lilting Lullaby turns the tides. Legolas is going to cleanse it and walk back towards the safety of bot at 3XA. Valkyries away. Yukino is such a big zone piece right now as Dragon reset.
But that's huge. Legolas did not have to commit flash or ult for that one. KCB lost one of their biggest engage tools for the time being, as flash Q into full sleep is what Yukino has to do to create an engage for his team, and Barcelona feel more than safe to walk back in.
Vega has his ulti as well. He can pick a target, get some tank stats, and walk it in. White in a piece of engage as well with his ulti up and available, gets zoned out. Dragon at 2k, running in for the steal. Vega chomps it and takes it for dinner. The ulti from Mainta, he runs in, he dives in, but he will regret that choice. He's the first kill of the battle as KC Blue need to get out. Their mana bars are ticking, their health bars are blowing, and White Knight is about to explode. A blast cone to save their life, while the range from Chocolate is tearing KC Blue apart.
Again, no Lilia ult, no party right here. KCB overestimated the power that they have without the Lilia ult. Barcelona had to commit nothing, and then when they had all their ults available, they just re-engage into this fight. And again, you see the inability of KCB to make plays of their own. They don't have any buttons to go forward.
This feels like a rendition of game 1 where it might not be his utility for Chocolate, but his positioning in the fight is causing misery for this French second
He actually
seed.
had to walk all the way around the bottom map just to join his team.
But it was worth it. You know, you get those 10k steps, you feel good about yourself.
I think he also didn't want to repeat the Syndra game where he's like playing the frog game to get to his team.
Yeah, that's the that's when you sit on the couch all day. That's the opposite, you know. It doesn't feel as good. I will say 2 kills on a way going towards Leandro's. Second item on the way. Horizon Focus, let's see. As Chocolate just going to clear the wave. Minion wave not enough to do the damage, even though there are 3 grubs. And 3XA is just zoned out, while, by the way, 2 dragons for Barca after Thega walked in and just chomped it down. Like,
I feel like it's so difficult to steal a dragon from things like, you know, the old Lee Sin with the Q. Oh, Whiten.
Immediately.
No Mega Gnar.
You said it. And he'll get stunned up. Meganar getting close, but not enough. Slowq gets a kill, and Yukino flashed over the wall like a baller just to pull off an ult.
But top lane, there's 3 members and no with main Turk.
We're speeding up a bit.
When you punish one top laner, the other one's under trouble as well.
You gotta kill the other. But at least Mainter is paying respect, right? Like, they got on a ward, so they know everyone's up here. The cross-map play is big. We're going to let Slowq push with triple grubs. And meanwhile, Herald's going to go down and give it over to Barca.
Yeah, I feel like White Knight did not necessarily respect the fact that he has no TP to get back out there. His whole team was playing for topside to play for the Herald. So inevitably, KCB, if they didn't want to play for the Herald, they would play to punish that top lane, and exactly what happened. Now Slowq gets to cash in on another tower, and that was a Jace that was really struggling in lane phase. Now he's equalized the levels, he's equalized the gold. If anything, he's ahead, 400 gold too. And Whiting, one disrespectful play ended up being 2 whole towers for KCB.
Checkerlad, his and White Knight. I know you said White Knight, right? The Nah. As I realized we have White in, we have White Knight.
White Knight.
And then Checkerlad can be white chocolate. Just saying. As you're right. Disrespectful play, walking up to the turret, gets caught.
You got no flash, you've got no Meganar, you should never walk underneath that tower when your entire team is playing for topside, right? You should really respect that, or at least put down some vision. Didn't do that. Again, resulted in 2 towers for KCB. Still no feat of strength. We need 1 more kill for Barcelona for feat of strength, and 2 more kills for KCB if they want to get it themselves.
But as you said, as we start approaching the emphasis of this dragon coming up, as this turret is well being pushed, Slowq now, he got 2 turrets and he got the kill. And that was a 1k gold lead between him and Checkerlad, now dead even. Almost second item picked up for this Jace as well, so range starts becoming more of a consideration as Barca just got a bit of gold injection while I'm yapping away there. Getting that bot lane turret opens things up while Yukino tries to defend mid. He's caught off on the side though. There's a quickness, wants to get out, but that's disrespect. Don't know how Yukino got caught there, but he does.
Fantastic bloom from Checkerlad on the to zone away, actually, Talia. You walk into it, you get slowed, you die. You don't walk into it, you have to walk around, you still die. No flash onto Yukino. Instant punish from Barcelona. Now they have found Mainter, or has Mainter found them? I think it's Mainter found them.
Yeah, I think it was. He wanted something off the back of it, but yeah, Barca in this game, they've kept finding opportunities like that. One in front of Dragon, then a bit of a whoopsie from Yukino. As you said, great zone control from Checkerlad. But let's count, because in 45 seconds, Dragon. Atakan spawns at the same time, but this is 3rd Dragon
and on
for
the
Barca.
same side.
Well, I mean, a Dragon here might be let's go for another analogy. The dam that opens. You know?
No.
The dam, like the floodgates that open the dam.
Oh, right, okay.
There we go. The dam that opens, you know. Classic. The ones that the beavers control in Narnia that they decide to open. No, that's nothing. That's the wrong movie.
Great analogy.
That's
All
the
right,
wrong
so
movie. The ice melted.
Herald's going to be spawned in the mid lane by Barcelona as they're looking to gain some priority over mid. Potentially get the tower as well. Super low. If that bops onto the tower, you take that mid lane tower, which means you can actually create a lot more pressure by pushing the waves a little bit deeper onto that mid lane. Here goes the tower, and now especially pushing that that mid lane wave. You can dip inside that river. Where is Nar? What's the bar? That's a mini Nar from White Knight sitting all the way in base, and that's exactly what we're talking about when we say we need that Mega Nar to actually create pressure. Main 30 pin on the other side, he's looking for a flank.
He is spotted out by a ward though, as White in is face checking right now in a perfect position. They didn't spot him out, trying to zone off while Dragon number 3 is going to go down, but the fight starts with a lilting lullaby. The feathers are out again from Legolas. He gets the root, he flashes back, and Mainter's dead. He's isolated, and KC Blue have lost their top laner. They have to run for the hills. Gastega on the chase, waiting for his pillar. Again, CC from Checkerlad. Amazing. The Nara into the wall comes up, and it's enough from White Knight, but Checkerlad controlling the fight with his jungler makes it a done deal. As Slowq is a new target, has to flash away. Yukino hovers on the right wing, but Barca have already done the damage. They've got enough to start Atakan alongside.
Yeah, they were looking potentially to grab Yukino or at least Slowq to make it 100% easy for them to take the Atakan. But Slowq and Yukino, they cannot walk in, especially Slowq, no flash available to him as well. They got the mango from the river as well from the side of Barcelona, so they healed up a bunch of their HP. That is a 3rd Dragon and an Atakan for the Spanish team. Let's watch this one more time. Ease of execution in team fights. You have the Rakan, you create, engage. Legolas with a fantastic flash inside the pit to pin the Aatrox in place to not advance any further forward. Once the Lily ult is down, you have no other buttons to re-engage.
True.
It's just so miserable for KCB.
6-1, 2K gold lead for Barca, and look at those items on Checkerlad as well, and Legolas in this game.
It's a lot of burn.
I feel like last game, Legolas had a lead, and we criticized a little bit, but in this game, the quick cleanses, the quick ultis, like, this Xayah has been playing very good at being a rage bait for KC Blue to run into. Him and Checkerlad, as you can see, doing the damage. Really good utility as well as Checkerlad I just talked about. Sidestepping, though, was unreal. He walks away from the wind to spite and figures out he's alive. Look at the TP. It's a collapse. It's a crunch. It's a munch. And KC Blue will watch for dinner. Spiraling Spare out of range, though. So given a bit more time, and Slowcube runs into the trundle. 3XA decided to come from the flank, but that guy is definitely on a jet to death. As Maiden tried to do the same thing, but again, what's he gonna do now? Thager on the chase, a pillar out in this trundle with Trinity Force, does so much damage and takes none. This chase will go for a while, but again, Barca have just soaked up the sun of 3 glorious kills.
I mean, they're just lucky they have moved the Baron timer later on in the game, because that would be for sure a Baron for Barcelona. Again, I think that's a comp diff. They see champion, they can engage up. But look at Checkerlad, fantastic footwork. He gets the speed through his spell as well, and Whiting is covering for him to not get hit by the Lilia orb. Meanwhile, 3XA is coming from the bottom with Mater, but they both split. So the second they've taken down Slowcube, who's super squishy, they just turn their attention to the other AD carry, who's overextended.
3XA, I don't know. I don't know what the deal was with that play, but it definitely feels like they're running out of options.
I feel like it kind of showed the composition right there. Like he was trying to reach, but there was no one to bridge that gap or the AD carry to reach so they can do the damage. Again, unfortunately, I feel like this game has been such, I don't say this very lightly, but like it's been such a draft gap that it's just impossible for KCB to make plays.
I think I agree with you. And I feel like as well, the double dipping and the engage around mid. Let me make this easier to understand. As you were talking about the engage, and we talked about the lack of options that KC Blue have drafted with this comp, the fact that there is engage around support, and there's a lot of cool options to play around with Checkerlad, when this is the whole comp as Mater, has to pause me, because as we talk about options, there you go. It's the engage. And as I said, play around Checkerlad. Guess what? He's teleported in for some of the fun. He won't be a part of it in the end as Thager picks up kill number 5, but as I was just saying, look how easy it is for them to just press buttons and find a pick.
Yeah, Thager and Checo have been having another fantastic game with White, of course, chipping in on the engages.
10 out of 10 KP.
Absolutely. Incredible stuff. And again, when a mid-jungle duo gets going through the help of Whiting as well, I feel like Barcelona are unstoppable. They found Slowcube as well.
He's got no flash. He's just dead again. Checkerlad from range takes that one, and Inner Turret will drop with it as well. Look at where Yukino is. He's like, guys, don't worry. I'll get some CS. I'll try and get some gold back so we can find a miracle play.
Putting on his best Kanavi impression.
He has to, because what else do you do in this game? I mean, I don't think this is like game 1, right? It's not his, it doesn't feel like it's his fault, because he's tried to find some of the picks, tried to find some of the engages, but that was it. There is no follow-up engage. There's no starter for him.
And at the very beginning in the desk, I raised the question, I see Yukino is fantastic on Brawl League champions, AD champions. What happens when he's taken off of them and Slowcube has to jump on AD champions? And so far, the answer has not been what I was looking for. I feel like Yukino has been kind of like a ghost of himself, but there's not really avenues to play through anyways. And 3XA is going to take some hurt over in the mid lane.
They're teleporting because they don't want to lose this soul. This feels like the line in the sand for KC Blue, but White Knight with half a Mega Narbar and the timing perfect from Barca, because they're going to start this dragon up at the edge of range of patience as well. Yukino wants a steal angle, but on a wall they know exactly where he is.
He's feeding him Mega Narbar as well.
It's just, yeah, you're right. Mega's going to be their perfect timing. Ocean Soul given over. Yukino now spotted again. And Barca looking for the slow. White in looking for the moves, and he'll get a knock up alongside. White in now about to go into Mega. There's Sleep, and it will slow down the play a little bit, but Barca now have an Ocean Soul. They are unkillable.
That was so sad to watch. They just walked in, fed the Nara, Mega Narbar,
oh, dear
and they just walked out. There's just no avenues for KCB to play this game, and Barcelona just running them over.
Spain step away from getting themselves to match point, from getting themselves another match against Lost Ratones. That must have been the group of power then, you know? Lost Ratones, their loss came to put them in the lower bracket from this team. And we saw that best of 3. You guys were talking about at the start of the day. They look so clean, Barca. And here today, they've subverted expectations against an LFL favorite, against an organization favorite, against one of the biggest organizations in the world. Astega, you can see, just doesn't care about expectations. Yeah,
he's just 2v1. 5-0-5 on the Trundle. He's got his 2 items, Deadmans. He can move faster, extra health in his inventory as well. They're just going to start the Baron right here. As long as you make sure that this Lilia does not get to come inside the pit, and I think this is going to have to be primarily the Rakans and White Knight's job right here. The second he walks into this dry bush, White Knight is going to start filling up his Mega Narbar again.
And it's already a yellow. So right now, the zone control is there. Meanwhile, 3XA decides to kamikaze in solo. Hey, what other choice do you have, I guess? It's 4 versus 5 is what you're left with. Oh! White Knight with a triple up against the wall. He'll bridge them all. Legolas on a rampage. The rest of the fight is done. And Spain is about to move to match point to silence the French lovers.
Barcelona with one last skill right here from Checolat, the burn. He knows he's going to take Yukino down. Not quiet.
Run. It's Bambi, except it's dinner time. Oh my God, venison tonight.
Checolat takes him down. And the saddest thing about this game is that White Knight is the only kill KCB have gotten this entire game.
True.
And that was a dive on a flashless mini Gnar. They've not been able to capitalize on 3XA coming from the wrong angle again.
And he was on a ward.
The second Barcelona's team, they just turn around.
He was on a scrying ward. He killed it as he walked.
And then White Knight, kind of enough. Jumps over the pit.
I think KCB have had enough of this game. This is like a GG go next. Just think about how we get to a game 5.
I feel like this is a game where you're like, okay, guys, we're lost in draft. Let's go next.
Yeah. We talked about it a lot. You guys are sick of hearing it by now, but there's definitely a revamp and think about what do we bring to the table for a game 4. Barca have now got Baron. They're a 9k gold ahead, and mid just seems to be the due diligence as the dive begins, and sticking around. 3XA is having a stinker right this game. Lilting Lullaby onto 2, maybe an opportunity. You can get some good damage down and onto White in. Mainta follows up with a flash of his own. He wants to dive, but he runs out of ulti. Ocean Soul seems to be the embrace that Barca love to play with. Yukino channels through as well, but his camp's not his own. There's the ace, there's the game, and match point. KC Blue French favourites, but Spain has their number, it seems, in the series. A 2-on-1, and Barca slapped them silly in game 3.
KCB backs against the wall. Honestly, it's been a case of both of the teams have showed up. That mid-jungle duo has been so pivotal, so integral for the success of the early game for both of these teams. But I'm sorry, that draft was so damn hard to execute from KCB.
Yeah.
The second we saw, you said it, we're talking about it in the draft. You said, oh, I'd like to see Brom. And then you were like, oh, hold on a minute. No, Brom is terrible.
Yeah.
It's Rakan. And then you've got no engage. And then how do you play in your own terms? They just didn't.
I mean, I feel like, we saw things like the Orm ban. We saw, it was actually coming from KC Blue, because I thought they were fishing for something like a Renekton, something different in top. But yeah, it's difficult to watch because, again, it was just so one-sided after what we saw game 2. But it really does feel like in the early to mid-game, mid-jungle getting ahead seems to decide the game. And that's support influence, that's jungle influence. I'm curious about what Des thinks because it was just Checolat's game again and we were living in it.
I think that's it. I think whoever dominates the mid lane takes over. It's either Checolat or Slow Q. We talked about this on the pre-show. And I swear, if you don't use that microphone properly, I'm going to tape it.
Yeah, we saw the Twitch chatter. I'm sorry, public apology. I've never held a mic before. I did see. It's so difficult. I mean, Archer has an attached mic to his face, so that's a lot easier.
I swear.
I'm going to do it. I'll hold the mic here, okay? Do not threaten me with the tape.
Come in, chat. I'll do it. No, let's talk about this because this is the biggest point. This is the breaking point. Mid lane is a breaking point, and I think Checolat was an amazing. He was talking. We were talking about this. This is solo leveling. He's just using the shadows, and everybody wants to play mid lane as well. Everybody's going to mid lane. We lost Treble, by the way. She's gone.
Okay, it's like jungle support heading to mid lane. I mean, I feel like that's the story of the game, especially Whiten ganking mid over and over again is really, really important. I think A lot of criticism can be sent to Slowq, a lot of praise can be sent to KC Blue as well. I think, interestingly, just looking at the compositions overall, because we're sent right into a team fight here, is that both teams lacked a lot of engage, but I think this was the freest this was the freest game for two people in this game. The first one is Rakan. Absolutely no lockdown for the Rakan in this game at all. So Rakan could scale up and then do fine because you're against a Braum, which is a great matchup. And there's also, on the other side, Lilia. Yukino had no lockdown to deal with, slow, heavy melees to kite, and no easy CC to lock him down as well to be able to play the team fights. I think Lilia could have been enabled this game quite hard, but unfortunately the game just didn't go that way. Rakan was able to find a bunch of engages. Barca, as a team, just outclassed, and yeah, it was look at the damage.
6-0-12.
Through the mid lane with jungle support, I think Checolad really popped off.
Yeah, we need to talk about this draft as well. 21-1, like it's a massive difference. It's not even close, and I think we need to talk about the draft, Erdogan, because you get the red side, so you can counter pick. You save the counter pick for last. For Slowq, 83% all history win rate for that Jace, but the reality is, the Jace was not a counter to Wei.
No, Jace isn't a counter to Wei. You get outranged and bullied in lane. The reality is, they flexed Corki from 1-2 rotation down to R5, and then gave counterpick to Slowq into Checolad's blind Wei. And they needed an AD option with the Lilia. I mean, you don't necessarily have to go an AD option, but they wanted an AD option. That also outranges the Xayah. So they go the Jace, and they play for that compositionally, while Slowq is going to suffer in lane a little bit versus the range of the Hui and the lane bullying. But it went really bad, right? It went really, really, really bad. And it didn't feel like he had the normal tools that he likes to play with. Again, I view him as like a Sylas player, you know, a Sylas, Akali kind of player, and we're just not seeing those kinds of champs being locked in. So far, we've seen what was a Jace, and there was one game one that wasn't him as well. It was Orianna.
It was a Sylas and the Orianna.
It just isn't him, in my opinion, and I hope game 4 onwards, they go back to the style that I like, where AD mids-wise, there was a champion that I had in my mind. Yone was out, I believe, which is a great cover-off ban by Barcelona, but I'm sure they could have found something.
And Slowq is an amazing player with Yone. He's winning great.
Can you imagine? AD mid needed versus control mage lane, lock in the Z. I think it could have been the source. I think it could have been the source.
Oh, Yone was banned. If you look into this one, Yone was banned as well.
They set up the Hui in R4-5 as a blind with the Yone ban, and I was just wondering what they could have R5'd for an AD. The problem is, I guess you're Zed into a Xayah, and then that's pretty horrible to play. So maybe not. I think they were really, really pinched in terms of the mid lane choices, and they sacrificed lane for team comp, and they never got to play the team comp.
I also want to ask you this: when you look into this composition from both sides, don't you think like what Barca brought in and KC brought in? KC needed a lot more budget to activate what Barca could provide without that sort of budget, because Wei can pinch from afar, get the CC as well. Jace needs a little bit more budget to be more proficient, like, you know?
I suppose in a way you could view it as they do require less econ to be able to function with Trundle, like not needing as much power farming as something like a Lilia, right? But it wouldn't be my main source of concern for this. I think it all comes back to how the mid lane interacts in terms of everything, how this entire series has evolved. It's all about mid lane. We've talked about how stacked these mid laners are, and everything always comes back to, I think, how you interact with mid lane, and what's important there is not only jungle matchup but also support matchup, because the support with Prio down in bot side will be able to move to mid first, right? And that's why the AD carry matchup and the bot lane matchup overall will be important going forward.
Interesting. Okay, KC Blue is going for blue side this time, so they're the ones defining what's going to happen.
Yeah.
It's going to be a reply from Barca. So far, blue side has been happy, by the way. And my final take and my final question for you before we throw it to a break and we jump into the next champion select is, what can we expect? And why did you tell me that it would be a 3-1 in favor of KC? What's up with your predictions, boss?
Okay, I've doubled down. Now I'm tripling down. It was 3-0, then it was 3-1. Now it's going to be 3-2. We're going to game 5.
For KCB.
KCB 3-2, and I think. Look, listen. Trust me, it's fine. My predictions have never gone wrong.
Never.
The priorities I'm looking at, I think, like, going forward, what do you handshake? I'm still looking at a bunch of OPs that are available. Slowq's Azir. He's a beast on this champion.
True.
Maybe we'll see some kind of Azir type composition.
Akali, yeah.
Yeah, I think this kind of composition could be good.
So KC Blue is going to win?
Yes. That's a triple down.
I don't even know anymore, chat. I don't know what's going to happen, but I know we have a quick pause before we're allowed to jump into what could possibly be the last champion select, because Barca has put KC Blue versus the ropes. Can they get out of that? Is this a trap? Is this a spider web? We don't know, but I'll see you soon. We love you very much. It's a small break. And I love your predictions.
Yeah.
I just love them.
I haven't loved them recently.
Freely using Katarina's cook.
Kindred cautiously cooked Kit Kat cup.
Kindred cautiously cooked Kit Kat cupcake.
Even the biggest champ needs a break.
Carefreely using...
Kindred cautiously cooked Kit Kat cupcake.
It doesn't even matter. I'm ready. It's fine.
I know I'm bad, ain't come to play. So like a savage, or renegade. I'm so chaotic, I show up, it cause a problem. They diagnose me a psycho, I'm taking off like a rocket. I know I'm bad, ain't come to play. So like a savage, or renegade. I'm so chaotic, I show up, it cause a problem. They diagnose me a psycho, I'm taking off like a rocket. Stand-up guy, they asking me who am I? They wanna know who that, I tell her give them a try. They'll soon find out and move back with eyes open up wide. I'm here, the ruler's back to take it over for life. Yeah, you know I'm major, how I run it so iconic. They all treat me like the mayor. Everything that you did, I have done it all on paper. Super like I'm Sonic, see you later, get your weight up. Yeah, applying the pressure, swear on my soul that I will not let up. I'm on a roll and I'm in control, so get a hold cause I am that fed up. Don't need a pro to decide who is better. Never will fold and never will settle. They call me a problem, but I come and solve it. I promise the novice can't handle me, never, ever. I know I'm bad, ain't come to play. So like a savage, or renegade. I'm so chaotic, I show up, it cause a problem. They diagnose me a psycho, I'm taking off like a rocket. I know I'm bad, ain't come to play. So like a savage, or renegade. I'm so chaotic, I show up, it cause a problem. They diagnose me a psycho, I'm taking off like a rocket. I know I'm bad, ain't come to play. I'm so chaotic, I show up, they cause a problem. They diagnose me a psycho, I'm taking off like a rocket. I'm so alive, my enemies running high. They witness how I arrive. They all tucking their pride and cry. I'm so alive, my heart is cold as ice. I started, then I ride. They all ducking, they hide inside. Who gonna stop me? I am the man and they all a copy. Look at them stand, they licorice sloppy. I got these hands, they straight like it's Rocky. I got the plan of becoming a leader. You just a fan, so stay in your pocket. I am the plan, the man, and you watch me. People they saying I'm really chaotic, yeah. I know I'm bad, ain't come to play. So like a savage, or renegade. I'm so chaotic, I show up, it cause a problem. They diagnose me a psycho, I'm taking off like a rocket. I know I'm bad, ain't come to play. So like a savage, or renegade. I'm so chaotic, I show up, it cause a problem. They diagnose me a psycho, I'm taking off like a rocket.
Yeah, from the block, climb to the top. Don't you see the signs? I ain't never gonna stop. From the block, climb to the top. Don't you see the signs? I ain't never gonna stop.
From the block, dirt poor in the south. Wonder if the kid will ever make it out. And you know I'm from the block. All the odds that against, but it only makes it better when you win. And you know I think I got paranoia. My team win every quarter. Our Steph Cook made the order. I know pain leads the greatest. And it's my supply. I had to push, I had to cry. I had to look my demons right back in the eye. Out of anything I learned, I do know one thing. I know you have to lose it all if you gon' ever gain. I know that you don't put the fight until the last rain. And if you ever make it out, remember where you came.
From the block, climb to the top. Don't you see the signs? I ain't never gonna stop. From the block, climb to the top. Don't you see the signs? I ain't never gonna stop.
From the block, dirt poor in the south. Wonder if the kid will ever make it out. And you know I'm from the block. All the odds that against, but it only makes it better when you win. And you know I'm from the block, dirt poor in the south. Wonder if the kid will ever make it out. And you know I'm from the block. All the odds that against, but it only makes it better when you win. And you know I'm from the block.
Welcome back. This is match point in favor of Barcelona. As it stands, Spanish team is just taking the lead. KC Blue on the previous game didn't show up. It's a battle on the mid lane, and we need to talk about it on the desk as we're ready to jump into Champion Select.
I'm looking at different ones. If I'm drafting, I'm looking at Gwen, Vi, Azir, Ari, maybe? I think the other three champs are a bit higher tier. Mundo ban as well in the jungle. Maybe that indicates you're going to pick a tank as blind as well. Maybe that sets up something like a Skarner. I think is also could be good. These are the champs that I really think about. But quickly already, Azir is the only one left available.
I feel like Sejuani, Yone, Stonks go super high now that Trundle is out the picture as well. I feel like Slowq really needs to be put in comfort zones. Comfort zones are Akali, Yone, melee kind of zones, assassin zones, and I feel like maybe even you just B1 the damn Yone to have a chance to at least solidify a strong mid jungle. And even if they take the Sejuani away, you can just slap him out high.
Yeah, I do think the Sejuani comps do rise. Getting Gwen out of there makes the Sejuani Yone Gwen combo, which is kind of Exodia, out of the picture though, so you would be down. But then you could pair it off with something like a Renekton as well. But again, we'll have to see. There's the Skarner that was set up by the Mundo.
Azir open.
So they were fishing.
Now we're talking.
Azir. I think if I'm looking at this, I'm looking at Azir for a Kali kind of trade.
However, Ari is open as well.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like pick your poison right here, because whichever Slowq doesn't pick, Chocolate will. And I feel like there's even like there's even a video from Nemesis that said this is what we lost to Barcelona 2-0, and he was talking about Ari and how strong the champion is as a whole. And I feel like Chocolate would be crazy to not go for the Ari angle here.
That opportunity is open as Azir is going to be picked, so obviously Ari might be picked. We saw Nemesis yesterday with that Ari. Ridiculous.
Yep.
Like, that was beautiful. That's like you frame it, you put it on the wall back home, and you're just happy with it. White Knight, well, it's lock-in. Maybe pair it with the jungle so you can have the perfect pair, or you go for something like an AD carry to just run away.
The problem is right now is that so many AD jungles that you would pair an Ari with are just gone, right? The ones that you go down to in like number 5 is like Viego usually, and before that, every single one is gone, unless I'm missing one. Trouble anything?
I'm looking at Lee Sin. Veigar
Lee
does
Sin.
play Lee Sin,
one.
and it would be a really nice pair with Ari if you want to play that crazy playstyle we've been seeing from Barcelona in the early game, right? Also, the rise of tanks. No Trundle in the game kind of brings back things like Ornn, Cho'Gath that's been locked in right here.
Yeah, I also think Gnar and Aatrox being gone enables the Cho'Gath a little bit. However, he will be shredded, so it's a good thing from KC Blue that they do have the Azir, because that's a way you can get through the tanks easily anyway. And then you can also pair it off with champions like Jhin later on, because you have the DPS. But it looks like it's going to be a front-to-back for KC Blue. Sejuani plus Azir backline, very standard for Dragon Tides.
You already know the top laner, so you can just reply with it and not get hit by the bans as you move forward. Unless there's some weird shenanigans coming in from the Cho'Gath, which I don't believe in.
I think something that you could do with the Ari actually into Sejuani, something that is very LPL, is you could take the Poppy into it here. It's decent against the Azir and the Sejuani and the Jax. I think it'd be a great answer, but then you'd have double tanks, so maybe you don't want to do that. Maybe the Lee Sin is the way forward, but that's an alternative route. Yeah.
Wow, I'm actually very excited. I saw Veigar hover that. I've seen him play it. I know he plays it. I mean, this is their playstyle, right? It's fiery early game. What more fiery than an OG Lee Sin together with an Ari that level 6 enables them so much. And if you can grab that flash from Azir early on, then it becomes even more deadly.
Okay, second rotation of bans coming in right now, as Barca has to remove what they believe could be dangerous. Maybe go for that AD carry champion pool. We talked about this. We had a telestrator, the Nila.
So immediately the Nila indicates to me that they're looking to blind some kind of, anything that could go forward, but also an Enchanter lane. Because Nila's good into Enchanter lanes alongside that potentially the Senna, because you can sustain through and actually scale up if you want to. That's generally why you'd ban this. Also, it's just a later on in Fearless draft, you can now pick it because a lot are out. The most important dynamic here is that all the hard engage supports are out.
There you go. That would be it. That's a Zeri. Yeah.
I feel this is where Kai'Sa and Neeko can come into play. I mean, I feel like they're some of the strongest bot lanes right now. Having the Kai'Sa, having the Neeko. Neeko's a champion that doesn't necessarily lose lane very easily, specifically to enchanters. And having all the engaged supports taking out the pool, I feel like Neeko is a no-brainer here.
I think also with Draven ban, that enables Kai'Sa a little bit more because you want to sustain through the lane and actually scale up. My only question mark about Neeko is how much the nerfs actually do matter, but it works really well with the composition as well. With the diving forward, with the Ari, with the Lee Sin. Getting a Kai'Sa Neeko would be great.
Damn.
They know.
Kai'Sa's gone.
They know.
There it is.
Don't you worry, summoners. It works with other AD carries as well.
So what do you do right now? Zeri is out, Kaisa is out, your champion pool has been trimmed on the AD carry position.
Yeah, I think
you're limited.
A route you could go is Jhin and just artillery over the top if you want to, but then they lack a lot of DPS, so probably not.
I'm looking at Sivir potentially,
Yeah.
together with something like a Karma or a Nico. You can get complete control, and then you have the scaling
Jinx.
factor. Jinx, Aphelios,
The Jinx Lulu.
all that stuff.
Potentially. I
Could
mean,
also come through as well.
the problem with Jinx Lulu is that you're not really diving forward alongside the Lee Sin Ahri. They were looking to set up for some kind of enchanter lane, and this is, as you go in deeper into Fearless, this is a very AL thing to do, just slam the Jinx. Play with reset comps
Don't
as well.
worry, man. Like, Lee Sin will be kicking people to you.
Ah,
You don't
okay.
have to dive
Okay.
forward. See, that's
Yeah.
the play. Oh.
Well, you don't need them to kick someone to you because Blitz might just get them.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But hear me out. Thresh, Tahm Kench, or Morgana.
I like Morgana and Tahm Kench. I really like that idea. Oh, I really like that idea if you pair it with the Jhin. Okay, there you go. Now Legless
Crazy,
would have a
but
safe card.
Fearless.
Yeah.
We're game 4.
Yeah.
The problem, the Blitzcrank is like a preemptive into the potential enchanter, right? So pivoting away from that's really, really difficult, but there's no melee options to actually go. That's the problem they're facing right now. You pick Thresh, you'll get hooked as Thresh, which is also a potential issue, but there is a chance that they could still go for it with the Lantern value, right? It's really hard because support is so pinched by now. Maokai.
Huh. That's... Huh.
Is anyone else uninspired by this Basta comp?
I mean, actually, I'm really happy with the Maokai right here because this blocks Blitzcrank from walking too deep into the bushes and actually being a threat. So by having the saplings right there, it kind of makes Jinx's life a little bit easier.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's up to you and me. Eragon, boss, I know your predictions so far have been stellar. 100% correct. I'm not lying. What do you have to say?
Why are you saying it like this?
I'm not bullying you.
I think it was a super nice pinch with the Blitzcrank blind pick as a counter. I think KC Blue's draft makes a lot more sense, whereas you have a lot of playmaking, but I do feel like Jinx is a bit left out to dry.
And it's
the composition
Legolas with
isn't
the
as
champion with no
cohesive.
mobility.
I think I favor KC Blue's composition because it's way more standard front to back with a front line, and I just like how it functions.
I
also
actually
think
agree
Maokai's
with
fraudulent.
you. Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Maybe, well, we'll be proven wrong. If that happens, Barcelona will move on to finals to face versus Los Ratones. They are the champions so far, so they're fighting for the title once again. Carmine Corp needs this win to move forward to fight versus LR for the rematch from Winter Split. There's going to be a rematch regardless, but with this in mind, fight or die LFL in Spain. You have one shot, one opportunity to go into finals. We're going into game for the Bird's Eye of the Rift with Aesthetics and Trouble Inc.
Did he just turn into Eminem?
Thank you so much. Yeah, Portuguese style.
Portuguese Eminem.
We're on match point, and he is right, though. I mean, Spain holds the cards in their hand once again. It seems like we're just revisiting what we went through in LEC. A finals denied by Koi as a Game 5 took KC out of the running for MSI and took him out of the running for that finals where Koi went to go on and slap G2 silly. And now here we are. Los Fratonas sitting there waiting for the winner of this series, and KC Blue one step away from getting knocked out of the tournament, getting denied a finals yet again for the second time in this split in this organization for this organization, rather. And it comes down to this. Now, Aragon said he liked the draft. Trouble, what are your final thoughts on it? Because for KC Blue, I understand why there's a lot of simple, I guess, a lot of simple tools. I see scaling. I know you also like the innovation of Barca's comp here.
So, I do like KCB because they have an ease of execution, right?
Yeah.
They've got a pretty classic front to back with Sedge and Blitzcrank at the front. And then it's also pretty classic for like KCB supports to play Blitzcrank, man. Like Targamas loves that champion. So yeah, I feel like they've got great scaling, they've got great damage distribution, they shred tanks, they've got engage, they've got disengage. Like as an all-around composition, it works pretty nicely. On the other side though, I can't say I do really like the Jinx. However, I feel like their options were very, very limited.
Yeah.
Because you need to pick an AD carry that kills tanks as a Sejuani on the other side, and also Kai'Sa was taken away in the ban phase. So you're running into either Aphelios or Jinx right here. What I like about the Maokai, though, again, is the saplings kind of stop Blitzcrank from advancing too far forward, in lane to then threaten Jinx for a hook.
See if it works out. I mean, as I say that, hook
Ouch.
does
Into a
bring White
fourth
in.
shot.
Yeah, it's a nice start to the 2v2 laning phases. You know, also, if we're talking about hard out engage, Maokai doesn't offer hard engage. He's like a follow-up, he's great follow-up, range of zone control as well. So if we're talking about, you know, what we saw last game of KC Blue, where they really struggled with engage, well, on the other side, Barca might have to show us how they do not, as again into the Maokai rocket grab, deadly flourish, ignite down, 3x8 unable to get the last shot off, but Whiten just now down with a flash.
It's a little bit disrespectful. They're a little bit too far forward. They were about to hit level 2 from KCB, and Whiten right here might be in trouble. The hook is not quite up yet, so Piero cannot hook him back in. But I feel like, again, if we're talking about Barcelona, we have to focus on the mid-jungle duo, and this mid-jungle duo is lethal.
Yeah.
You're playing Lee Sin. If that champion doesn't take off in the early game, you're literally just a dead kick in that late game, and that's about it. So Checolad onto the Ahri, needs to get ahead. He needs to have those items to burn through things like Sejuani and that Blitzcrank early on in the game.
Whereas I feel like the power of Azir Sejuani is a classic duo, has always been in like Sejuani setup with ult or her layering of CC, followed by Azir getting a guaranteed shuffle. You know, again, I use the word zone control a lot, but I do genuinely feel like you have a wider area of AoE with that duo. So, yeah, very different actions. And this is something that for Thega, I think, as you said, there's a lot of comfort zone here. But especially with how the series has been played so far by these two, I put confidence in this duo because of how explosive they've been in the first 15, 20 minutes of the game.
We'll see. Right now, Whiten has lost his flash, and he's usually a factor on that all those mid lane shenanigans, right?
He's part of mid as well. That's true. They both are.
So not having the flash right here, not the easiest to try and play around skirmishes, especially since there's a Blitzcrank roaming around who, what do you know, he's mid lane.
Yeah, classic. Good trade from Maitner as Yukino is peeking up. This is nice and early, playing towards the melee lane.
Vega's following. He's heading towards the tops of the map. So as long as White Knight does not get caught here...
Peekaboo, Arctic assault forward. The flail's out as well. Q up onto Maitner as Permafrost gets a bit of damage down, but Yukino doesn't find it a little bit more. The sad cat there is Vega. Can he get anything in the afterfact?
He's going to try to wrap around. But this is going to be a straight up 2 versus 2. Both top lane is pretty chunked. Low on mana, low on HP.
And he got the knock up as well. Safeguard. Oh, the flash doesn't save the day. But the flash away will not do the same. Instead, first blood goes over to KC Blue. Now it's up to this Lee Sin to get a 1 versus 2 down. Safeguard, though, after a Sonic Wave resonating strike gets the kill. Yukino a second time. Couldn't save the day, and he's going to die to top it off from a great roam from Chocolate.
Great first initial gank from Yukino KCB, but the Avengers are just starting gaining the scene so much faster than KC. Chocolate pushes in that mid lane, heads towards the top, and let's watch this one more time. Thega will connect the Q onto Mainter due to the knock-up from White Knight. So fantastic, connects the Q. Instant counter-strike though from Mainter, delays the Q connect, which then puts a lot more damage onto White Knight. He dies first, and look at this. Yukino is trying to stand in front of Mainter, but Thega hits the Q.
The second time. Because other than that, it would have been great, but Chocolate just takes his merit and picks up a kill himself as he moves up top. 2 for Barca in the early game.
And that's great for
Mid-jungle.
Barcelona.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely, because they take all the pressure and all the heat off of that bot lane, which is exactly what you need now that your Maokai does not have flash available. And as I see, there's no cleanse on Legolas either.
I don't know how that happened, but...
I think it was the ignite from Piero.
Yeah, it must have been. We just walked up. Regardless, I always get confused in this overlay because I see the... Like, it's blacked out, but it looks like Piero, for example, I look on his ignite, and it's actually going in reverse.
Yeah.
You know, in like on our English normal broadcast, it goes from, it goes like counterclockwise.
Clockwise. No,
it is clockwise. Yeah. Where this, I think it goes counterclockwise. So for those of you at home, yeah, Legolas only just burnt
Wait,
the
that
cleanse.
should be fine for you because you're from down under. Everything is kind of reversed
No,
there, no?
our overlay follows a simple theme, the normal theme. But yeah, it is different. So I've had to get used to that. As Chocolate now level 6, Piero hiding in the brush, but it isn't Ahri with ult up and available as Dragon now sits and waits.
Yeah, it's kind of scary. Thager just hit level 6 of the Scuttle Crab as well. So the playmaking potential between the Ahri and the Lee Sin gets a little bit scary. I am expecting a low control around your objectives. Saying that though, Yukino is Spain. A visitor was top side of the map, level 5, Sejuani only. Can they find White Knight with no flash?
Counter-Strike hits, and again, there's the ulti. White Knight in trouble, and Permafrost going to secure the deal. No Q, waits for the Arctic Assault, and Yukino picks up the kill. Number 2 for him, and top is getting a lot of attention this game.
Yeah, I would rather having the Jax grab that kill right there instead of the Sejuani.
I agree.
Sure, it's Yukino getting ahead, but it's Yukino getting ahead on a tank this time around. And there's a bunch of jumpers that can shred that tank on the side of Barcelona. Whilst Barcelona lose 1 kill, they do trade away for that Dragon, which in my opinion is more important when you have an early game team to start stacking those objectives. The earlier you stack them, the earlier you fight for them.
It's like, I know we've referenced Lost Ratonas a lot today, but it is kind of like the series where Dragon just gave them so many options.
Yep, absolutely.
And it does for any comp, for any team, but yeah, as you said, especially in this game, Barca opening up the Dragon window once again, just like they did last game, just like they did in the first opening game of the series as well.
Again, the hit being on the top side of the map means that Whiten comes out of this unscathed. He lost his flash super early on, as early as level 2. He's now level 4. He's going to get to swap towards the top side of the map. The Void grabs are spawning in about 10 seconds. And Barcelona are going to look to actually try and leverage how far ahead Checolat and Thager are equally on that Ahri and Lee Sin. Try and make plays for those Void grabs spawning really, really soon.
That's why
Which
we've
means
got the swap.
now.
Yeah, it's up now, you're right. That's going to be started by KCB first. White in is moving into position, but no ulti available yet, so the engage lacks a little bit. Thager on the side has himself a Dragon's Rage, but
everyone's so far away.
Trap, and yeah, they are. The Grub's also resetting, though. Maybe it gives them a little bit more time to catch back up, as, yep, reset KC Blue, only get 1 for now.
Level 6 on that Sejuani, and Checolad has not pushed that mid lane.
White in, engage onto the Blitzcrank. The charm from Checolat finds the perfect angle, and the kill starts a 1-for-1. But Thager now has his time in the sun with Yukino. Slowly hitting from the side, but look at the angle. Checolat gets his Orb of Deception at max range. 1 more in the ulti too. The charm almost connecting as the curtain call needs a kill, needs something. Orb of Deception indeed as Deadly Flourish to respond. Checolat might have to flash out over the wall, but he doesn't. But the charm doesn't matter. He picks up the kill. His ulti's run out of charges just outside the window as Maintena gets a response. But even though blood spawns, Checolat is making KC Blue his bitch.
That is a 3-4-2 in favor of Barcelona. And even though they don't manage to get any of the Void grabs, and KCB are going to be first in the play, something that I watched in this replay is very interesting. The fact that Ahri gets ahead means that you get a kill super early.
Yeah.
A kill super early means that your Jinx gets excited immediately in the fight, which can then snowball for Barcelona. 3 Void grabs, I'm assuming, are going to go over to KCB right here, but Ahri getting all those kills could be really, really big for the Spanish team.
KC Blue do return to the scene of the crime, though. They are going to get grubs at the end, but look at this fight.
All right, what's this? So Legolas is hitting right here. He's going to hit the ult, which means instant reset for the Jinx, instant get excited at the beginning of a fight. So if that Blitzcrank overextends, gets punished easily. Now, they overcommit to that play. Slow Q flashes out, and the Checolat walks a little bit too far forward to threaten 3XA, but the 4th shot connects, the root connects, and the Checolat does not have flash to get away, but it doesn't matter because he takes 1 last with him.
Can't believe he got the last kill. Maintena with a good trade. But 3-1, Malignant's now picked up. He's escalated into this game. 600 gold leads to individual pairing as well, but...
No Rod of Ages and nonsense. We're going straight down.
I'm glad we're so fast at, like... Yeah, I'm so glad we're away from that meta where Ahri's just took like a bit of time. They were HP tanks, but they took a hell of a lot of time to get into the game. Now there's an electrocute Ahri who's shooting to killers. You know, I was going to say, Barca, you know, the early game, it was feeling a little bit shaky because of that bot CS difference where that Jinx was quite far behind, but I then forgot that White Knight, for some reason, is 20 CS ahead in a matchup he's 0-2 in.
Yeah, and Mainter actually got the shutdown onto Checolat. After Checolat gets the 3 kills, Mainter got the shutdown, which means that's a very early Trinity Force in the inventory for Jax. So he should be quite comfortable going up against the Cho'Gath, going up against the Ahri for the time being, even in levels as well. You've got the extra health through the Trinity Force.
Hit.
Uh-oh.
It's a nice route as well, and the hook makes it a done deal. Kill given over to 3XA. Nice chain of CC from KC Blue.
Legolas again caught in the mid lane. I think we've seen this one too many times. He did have his flash available. A little bit of a disrespect right there on the Sejuani ult.
Actually.
Let's see if Barcelona can return the favor right here. Piero, super squishy on that Blitzcrank. If they do find him through a charm, through a kick, through anything, this is where Barcelona can really start farming their kills through. And Chocolate now has been put on a side lane. Very scary, very slippery as well, not very easy to catch.
Like getting a push in. Remember, plating's still up. We've had that much action again, but plating is still up. 10 kills, we've just returned to the feeling of the whole series so far. Next objective's up in 10 seconds. Note the Dragon, bot side. Attention going to be driven as Thega already down there, starting to clear away his camps and then move in.
Yeah, Slowq though and Yukino are over on the tops of the map. They might be looking to punish. I don't think they're really looking to fight, particularly for this Drake. So they might be looking for Whiting here. Whiting does have his feast available. Oh, sorry, it's not. It's on cooldown, actually. Does have the flash available. Can he get away from it, though?
White Knight, wave clear needs to come first. He's doing exactly that, and I think this dive is just about the plates, but caught out as Yukino tries to escape. Cho'Gath too tanky, it seems, at this point, as more members moving up. There's the blitz on the way.
The other hand side, Barcelona is doing that Dragon. They try to commit too. Now they commit the TP from Mainter too.
So Dragon is just a foregone conclusion. White Knight is going to have to get the Bounce treatment. Clearing the way first. Again, that's the first step. He does do exactly that, but the dive is absolute. The kill is done as well. 1 minion left in the process. Some plates will go down for the Dragon and a response in turret too.
I actually think that's in favor of Barcelona right here. Doesn't commit a TP, doesn't commit a flash. No summoners wasted. You have to commit a TP from Mainter. Meanwhile, you've got 3 tower platings going to Ahri down bot lane. Jinx gets to push in that mid lane wave, and you stack two Dragons for the side of Barcelona. So all in all, I think that's a pretty even trade, if anything, favoring Barcelona here.
Thanks to the grubs, though, at least some gold closer to part of that argument as Loki picks that up himself. Gold is even again, by the way. Just keep tracking, it just keeps bouncing back and forth. And first items on the board as well. Makes things a little bit more interesting. By the way, Herald in a minute 30. That's something to keep aware of as a Slowq just staying up to defend top with the next push. That is going to be the last of the plates here as Yukino turns it into a miss. I see X-Smithy here. Knock up though, covers it, and Whiting is just going to be dead. Full shot again, 3x8. Big way on the board.
Such a breath of fresh air for KCB to be able to engage in their own fights at their own time, in their own pace.
True.
Right here, Piero can see champion, can grip champion. There's not a single champion that he can't grip apart from Cho'Gath super later on in the game. And I feel like even if he grips Cho'Gath at some point, like you've got so much strength through Jax and Azir that you can really just beat through the Cho'Gath as well.
Oh, amazing jump. The damage huge as well. Piero gets the hook on his way out though, and Thega trying to escape, but he's kept in place. The CC lasting a few years. Charm this time doesn't connect as Yukino runs away, but that Lee Sin could not move.
The fun fact is that the second he dies, Thega just completes his mercs.
Oh no. Well, it makes sense now. Piero flash knocked in the air, but the charm was great, and the flash away from Chocolate as well. He had no mana and no ulti, so had to burn the summoner as KC Blue are really using these picks well.
And as long as KC Blue are even in this game, they're guaranteed to win later on. Again, the ease of execution, the scaling that they have in raw damage in their team is definitely going to benefit them later on when they start those team fights. Chocolate and Thega really need to accelerate that mid-jungle duo. They've got about 600 gold lead between them. Split between them, rather. And if they don't accelerate this right now, KCB should be more than happy going into late game. Slowq.
He's walking down, but unaware. And Barca sitting in the brush. He takes the safe path, though, and Herald just going to be taken, and maybe a steal after the fact. Safeguard in, but no. Herald goes down, and as you said, KC Blue really stagnating this game. Herald's going to help them do that as well, and Barca are still fishing for the angle, but KC Blue are grouped up as 4. 5 in a second as X is walking back up.
And they've already chipped away on that top lane tower so heavily. That's a Cho'Gath.
It is a Cho'Gath. The hook, though, still good. It chunks the damage. Jumping in with an ulti is Maintener, and they're going to find the first target. That's Whiting with the Glacial Prison. The flash forward. Maintener gets no more. 5 members top for KC Blue. Legolas so far away.
Yeah, no one was really willing to step up. I didn't see Chocolate trying to step up or use any of his ult. There was no kick from Thega. Like, nothing was really used, and somehow White Knight was covered by White-In when White Knight's supposed to be the tank here. Against a little bit of miscommunication right there for Barcelona, but KCB take this anytime. Slowly but surely, the lead keeps creeping more and more towards the side of KCB, and the recipient currently is going to be that Jhin.
Ulti.
Oh,
Charm.
it hit.
Wow, Chocolate hitting everything so far. There's the ulti. He waited for it. He's got no flash available, but one more in the tank. Chocolate needs to get it. Gets the flash out of slow Q. The movement speed, the charm just out of range, but Chocolate is trying to bring this game on his back right now.
Ooh, Chocolate doesn't miss with those charms. Takes the flash off of slow Q hugely. Takes the ult as well in a minute's time. I really don't think that Azir ultimate is going to be up and available, and that is going to be so point if Barcelona manage to secure that for themselves.
We'll back away. Chocolate now has to reset, though, because Dragon's up in 45 and KC have Pro. Skelter's going to be taken first. Push in from Maitner, you can see in bot lane as well. And for Barca, it just seems all these fights, if they're a 5v5, aren't going well. Maybe this is the Dragon they give up because they just don't have a Jinx with items yet.
I'd love to see a play here from Thager. Try to get something through. You see slow Q, doesn't have flash, does not have his ultimate available. KCB are going to use the Rift Thrower here for the classic tactic. We're going to put him mid, push the tower, get priority through mid lane, and then walk down river to try and take some advantage of that push for the next Dragon. However, White Knight is going to sort of cover the gates and not let them pass as Barcelona are looking for the third.
Getting excited is Legolas. That enables him to join the team. Maitner's going to get the push out in bot. Dragon's still a big contest as 3XA tries to get the push in mid, but that means Barca are going to get towards Dragon first. Chocolate on a flank. I'm watching this, Ari, ladies and gentlemen. We even get the picture on the side. White in glorious ult, the charm onto jungler as well. Dragon foregoing conclusion as they just fight one. Getting excited to Jinxes. KC Blue can't get out. Look at Chocolate. He's cornering the escape path. The charm onto 3XA. Gets the cleanse. Thager's in. The auto, the ult. Misses. 3XA is going to walk it out. The curtain call brings retribution here. If he can get a kill, if he can get Thager, but it's blocked. 5 members stand strong. Barca now on the Dragon in a numbers advantage.
Yukino can dash in. He's looking for it. He's just about outside of that wall. He has flash to get out too.
Charm doesn't connect in the mean side. Maintenance caught out. Twisted advance is glorious. White Knight sends him skyward. Jumping on one. Counter-strike flashed away from Legolas. Is free firing. This guy with the perfectly timed flash is part of the Rohirrim.
Barcelona turn it around. Chocolate with a fantastic flank, blocks one side, and then they find a flashless slow Q on the other. Whiting with the ult through, breaks apart KCB once again. Half of them focused on the flashless Azir, and then Chocolate is blocking the exit from the other side.
Just insane play from this Ari, and then we go for round 2. Maitner tries to get in versus 4.
I feel like they were just looking for a play right here in terms of like stealing maybe the Dragon and not give soul point away. But then Maiter's too far forward. He gets engaged by Barcelona. They cannot burst the Dragon because again, Chocolate is playing gatekeeper on the other side, and 3XA cannot walk up. So that is 3 kills for the side of Barcelona and 3 Dragons.
Legolas got everything he wanted. Most damage in the fight, but Chocolate, MVP of it for sure. And Barca are keeping this game super competitive, and by all rights, they've got 3 Dragons. They're not only doing that, but they're using some of that early lead, and now that the Jinx has got almost 2 items too, it's big. 3XA also lost his cleanse in the last fight. He's punished for it. White in, he's going to take the kill with the Bramble Smash, unfortunately, but a 3XA caught out with an Atakan up and available.
Fantastic pick. Chocolate can get to go back, reset TP up for Atakan. Can KCB defend 4 versus 5? Thager's going to start the Atakan right now. Mainter has to run. He's going to push that mid lane wave as well. Does have TP to join.
Yarrow.
Instant TP coming through from
he
Chocolate.
gets White in. That's nice. Over the wall, twist advance is all you can do for now. Nature's Grass sets up 3, though. The Azir ult is disengaged, gets White in out, but look, Thager just sits here while Ari over the wall fires in. Piero with a sonic wave on his head will not be taken. While Atakan, small reset, small patience, deep brief. At 9k, he'll return again. Piero wants the hook, but even though Maiten is opening up the map, trying to TP in for an angle, Atakan is still being looked at. Charm misses, though. Not good from Chocolate, but he's going to rejoin the fight at 2.5. Maitner in the middle of the fight himself. He gets a flash in. Atakan, though, is taken down. And now we ensue again. Safeguard, reset, Legolas again. Free firing. Maitner runs. All he can do is just buy time because he'll be sent up, he'll be stabbed, he'll be given a reset. 3XA will get a bot, but Chocolate is running the game. The smartest fox on the rift. will die, but 3XA in close quarters as well.
That was a huge shutdown for the Jin as well. So many kills going over to Chocolate. 3XA gets that reward, but a bigger reward for Barcelona. They kill almost everyone from KCB, grab the Atakan, grab the top lane tower. And Gold is almost dead, even again.
ReXA brings the fight back to what he can. Almost 3 items, but Jinx now with 2. And Barca keep getting these resets. They keep turning it on ahead. KCB fighting for their lives not to have the repeat happen from Spain in another league for this organization.
Someone needs to shut down Chocolate. His positioning has been so impeccable. He'll either block an exit or block an entry or cover a TP or push away the carries. Like, his Ari has been insane to deal with in this game. And I feel like Slowq, again, it's like playing in a movie and you only seen once while the other guy is the superstar, right? Like, he really needs to rise up to the occasion right here. We're looking for Slowq getting one of these big ults. You don't have any flashes on the carries of the side of Barcelona. And in 1 minute, you're going to have the Dragon spawning, which is going to be Soul for the Spanish team. You cannot give away Ocean Soul.
Flexibility of having that Ocean Soul maybe a minute past or a minute earlier than the Baron is huge. 2 minutes till that Baron, a quick note. So if it can be drawn out for KC Blue, they're going to have a hard decision to make. There's also, when you have a Jinx with Infinity Edge too, 1 more reset, and the fights might end a little bit quicker. 3x8, the most kills on the team right now for KC Blue. He's the one holding it with almost 3 items, the Noon Quiver sitting in an inventory. But we are getting to those game-defining fights. We are getting to that point that'll decide the next couple of months for at least one of these teams.
Slowq backed off. He's going to buy a crystal. Lightning Jewel.
TP, by the way. Slowq's in.
Some MR shred in his inventory. They're looking for White in Chocolate.
They are, but Nature's Grasp, it's not good. Yukino getting it silenced down. White Knight devours him. Legolas on a rampage. And again, he's hitting every damn shot. I can see it. The bow, the arrow, the Orcs running for their lives because KC Blue have erupted. They've been destroyed, distraught, and Barca have blown them to bits.
The Spanish team with an ace right here and the soul for themselves. And what another fantastic fight. Huge credit to Whiting for this Maokai pick. His ultimates have been game-defining. He puts them in such an angle that he completely breaks apart formation for KCB. And if KCB don't play front to back, they cannot play these fights. Barcelona come out on top every time.
That was a 4K gold swing, a Soul, mid-turret, 5,000 now the lead as the chase for White Knight and Legolas went a bit too far.
Everyone overcommits onto the tank, and then 3XA again walks a little bit too far forward.
To a choke
The twisted advance, the ultimate from Maokai breaks apart the fight, and then Chocolate dashes in, which instantly takes Slowq's flash as well. It feels like KCB are just responding.
Oh. Double rocket as well. White in gets the excess damage with twisted advance, and Maiten is just trying to run, but even Legolas walks up to him. A full-blown ace. And now a Baron spawns. KC Blue, these are their last legs as Barca return onto the map with a 3-item Jinx.
I feel like 3XA has kind of overstepped a few times right here, as maybe Yukino has as well. They're looking for Slowq.
Connects again. Rely on Mr. Chocolate. Oh, he tastes so sweet. He flashes all the deception. And you'll take that for dessert. With Chocolate opening up, Maiten teleports, but it's going to be late. It's going to be without his team. Charm this time doesn't connect. A safeguard Sonic Wave, rather, into a resonating strike, waiting for a bit more damage to come through as Chocolate waits the cooldowns, but he's got no one. Maiten isolated in front of the Baron. An easy turn to seal the deal for Barca.
And remember, KCB had blue side B1. They could choose Azir or Ari, and they chose Azir. Chocolate said bet. That's what I wanted anyway. Fantastic performance so far. Absolutely game-breaking. And right here, KCB are finding themselves in a 6,000 gold deficit and potentially missing another final.
KC as an organization have not had a good split. Yes, top 3 in the LEC. Yes, semi-finals of EMEA Masters, but losing out the first seed, as we talked about from the LFL. Losing out on MSI from Spring as well. You're an organization with a lot of merits, with a lot of expectations. You're not hitting the top. You're not hitting those expectations. And Barca, the first seed of Spain, is taking to the court right now as Chocolat jumps in. Baited out is his ultimate, which might be a win here for KCB. Yukino's there as well. They're trying to dive on him, but mid-turret with the Baron buff is going to be the consolation prize while you're looking for this Ari. Okay, he's going to teleport. Yukino, he stops it with an ulti.
No flash, no ult.
Chocolat is going to do some damage on the way out, but he should be dying here with a hook in. It's a nice pick for how rough the game is looking for KC Blue.
Shut down as well, going over to the Azir. Again, Slowky really needs to step up in this game. It's not an easy game to play whatsoever, but I feel like KCB have rarely held their formation, the front to back, allow the Blitzcrank and the Sejuani to play forward, find angles with Mainter over in the back line. 3xA has been overstepping just a little bit his boundaries right there on how far forward he can play, same as Slowq, and they just haven't been hitting the mark. Whilst on the other side, Barcelona, I mean, Checo has hit the mark with that charm plenty of times, and they've been able to capitalize on kills. Right here, of course, with Ocean Soul already in the bag for Barcelona, it becomes that much harder to sort of play the in and out fights, because you get to heal in between as well through the Ocean Soul. They've got 2.5 minutes until the next major objective to try and grab a few items. Third item potentially for Azir completed right there. Third item already completed for that Jhin.
Yep.
We get to breathe.
For a little bit. 32 kills, 28 minutes. It's a reminder in this series, it's definitely been over the 150 kill mark. I'm sure of it. Or 120. Somewhere there, it does feel real as Barca. They can't knock on Death's door right now. And the Death's door is KC Blue's door. So they can't knock on Heaven's door. Look, whatever. Bob Dylan told me something one time. Listen to me, everyone at home. The game is steps from ending. But those steps, as Rocket comes through to clear the wave, all about the next objective. Elder in 145. That's the last hand that KC Blue, whether it's Heaven or Hell, can start using to keep this series alive.
Yeah, they still have some of the Baron buff active on them for 20 more seconds, so they can get to pressure out the lanes with the buff right here. Thager already in position. They are looking to set up a lot of vision as KCB. If they can make the pick onto the Listen right here, it could be kind of huge, but it's a very slippery champion, and you're going to need a lot of friends to make it stick. Chocolat,
though, he's not slippery if he gets rooted down. Charm comes down, but he's dead. Big mistake from the Polish mid laner.
They got the Maokai right here as well as the Juani ult, but fantastic Maokai ult to dissuade the situation, and now KCB have the chance to establish control. It's a 1-minute timer still till Elder. Yes, they made the pick, but they can't get anything massive with it.
They're backing in this brush. A Len spots them out. It's White in. All it takes is a Deadly Flourish, and they've found it. A hook in as well. Barca have thrown 2 members, and this timer is going to line up more with the Elder.
Oh, absolutely. It's not going to take you 10 seconds to get from base all the way to the Elder Dragon. So for quite a while, you're going to be playing 4 versus 5. And it's not about the fact that you're playing the team fight 4 versus 5. You're going to have to enter your own jungle blind 4 versus 5 into a Blitzcrank, into an Azir, into a Sejuani, into a Counter-Strike from Jax. Face checking right here for Barcelona can get really, really dangerous. And I love the fact that KCB are not giving up the space they've just earned with those 2 kills. They need to make a pick before that Elder Dragon spawns.
They've cleared so much vision as well. White Knight is going to sit mid because he's probably safe as long as someone from Barca are nearby. But as Slowq teleports in, they're looking for a real target. Chocolat over the wall once again, but he has flash, he has ult. He needs good reactions here as Thager also hovers around mid. Remember, they have Ocean Soul. The hook doesn't connect this time, but Chocolat pops his ulti. His ulti now down before the fight ensues as Elder spawns, and KC Blue still have the area.
KCB just need to be patient right here. Wait for the ultimate to run out from the Checo. You don't need to overforce. You don't need to overforce.
Yukino ran in. He missed his ulti. White Knight is face checking though, getting hit by an Azir. Spacing is good as the flash away from the big dinosaur, but look, White in, jumping in, zone controlling onto Maitner. It's a hex flash. It's rather a flash in. He's dead. Meanwhile, the hook does it again. It does it again. Thager running in though, takes care of business as the Ari is doing the rest. A double already for the Jinx. And while KC Blue caught them at a blunder, Barca got to buy their own space.
Legolas should not be able to free hit in this composition. No tanks, no frontline, but no one was touching him from KCB. All they had to do was be patient, and then he threw it away.
It was close. KC Blue had the space for themselves, but Barca got a reset over to Legolas, and Ocean Soul made all the difference in the end. They can't survive, and history's going to repeat. Spain is the Achilles heel of France this split. It started with MCOY, it started in the LEC with MSI, and again, getting so close to the finals, it is Spain in Barca that knocks them down a peg and keeps France from seeing England in the grand finals of EMEA Masters.
And how exciting! The Messi of League versus Barcelona in the finals. The repeat of the best of in the group stage. As a remind everyone, Barca beat Los Ratones 2-0. A clean, decisive 2-0. And now they're going up against Los Ratones once again. Clean series, honestly.
Yeah.
Apart from the third game, that was a fantastic, second game. That was a fantastic clean series from the side of Barca. And I'm actually scared. That mid-jungle duo, Whiting hovering around mid lane, like they look so aggro, they look so active in that early game, and it's kind of scary.
Yeah, Chocolat had an insane Ari performance.
Oh, for sure.
And even like, I want to give a credit to White Knight on that Cho'Gath. Some of the team fights there, he was insane. That last one, blimey, I thought after seeing Yukino throw the ult out, I thought having numbers advantage was enough, but I guess the analyst desk can break down how KC Blue threw away, I guess, any chances they had of coming back in the game.
I also think it's like, not only that, but Barca just played extremely well. You almost said in the middle of the green room, like, I guess Lee Sin is just OP.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, right? He got buffed. We're on a new patch, 15.12. Lee Sin got buffed, and maybe he's just OP and that's strong. I looked at this composition and I said, that's a skill check comp. They have to play well. Lee Sin's a skill champion, and they do. They execute, and it's really nice.
Yeah.
So,
Barca played extremely well, and obviously, congratulations getting into finals. KC Blue, it is rough. I know it is rough. We were talking with people who follow LFL, so obviously that's a little bit heartbreaking.
I mean, there was a case where if KC's at EMEA Masters, they don't lose. There was a case where if KC's here, they win.
Yep, with the full roster.
And it just hasn't been the case for the past 2 years.
As we look back into yeah, it's heavy burden. I know it's heavy burden. This play from Chocolat, like, oh
I mean,
gosh.
This play and another 15, 20 plays that he made that game. Sure.
You know what? I'm on board. I'm on board. You look to scout talent. You look at all these players.
Don't jinx it.
Don't do it.
Say you don't like it. Say you don't like it. Say you don't like it.
Don't do it.
Why am I not allowed
You guys
to say
can't see us. We jumped on him.
I'm a fan of Chocolat.
Oh, no. It's rigged.
Oh, 7.
I have not cursed him.
Oh, 7's in the chat.
I think he's pretty good.
I mean, he is. He is at the end of the day. I was concerned with Legolas positioning because of Jinx.
So surprised that, like, they had B1 and they didn't take the Ahri. Like, KCB looked so strong in game 2 when they had the lead in their hands, when they had the plays in their hands, right? And right here, I know that Slowky really gravitates towards what he feels comfortable in, and I know he's a really good at zero player, but right here, they just did not let him play the game, straight up.
I think it's hard to criticize draft in some ways as well, though. Like, yes, you could take in the Ahri of this, but they also have nice avenues to play the early game and play the composition too. Like, they ganked the hell out of White Knight, right? They had so much gank set up with the Jax and the Sejuani into the immobile top laner, and they managed to make White Knight go 0-3, but in the end, it didn't matter, just like you're saying. The playmaking of the Ahri, getting that for Chocolat and letting them play just mattered more.
I feel like the last teamfight is what hurt my heart the most, because all they had to do was just wait out the Ahri ult. And they just weren't patient. Like, you get the Ahri ult for just a Sejuani dash. That is a big win in my book. And then they just threw the Sejuani ult in there. They just went all in. And I feel like for some time, like, 3XA was just free hitting on that Jhin until they found him. And then it was that.
Even with the Jinx, 10-1-10, getting early resets in fights.
Jinx has no business, like, freaking in a game with an Ahri and a Lee Sin as his front line.
It's scary because she was always like excited, like the passive was always proccing so early, and the Ahri still out damaged her by a lot. Like, let's be honest, by a lot. And look at the goal difference. It is just it's just steep. It goes down.
Yes.
Well, Barca played extremely well. When you look into this, we have to look into finals as well. Los
Ratones and Barca group.
Rematch.
We're having a rematch.
But I gotta say, there's a curse. We all know this, and Balsi talked about it.
He's a curse.
He is a curse. But you know this one from NLC. Nord wins versus Los Ratones 2-0, and they're like, oh, there's a chance. Go to final, boom, 3-0.
You know what? Bao said that when they're playing with no stakes, it's easier for them, right?
If there's a lower bracket,
if there's a
I
lower
don't
bracket,
care.
it's fine. we
In
can come
his
back.
words, he said he didn't care when there's a lower bracket.
Yeah, that's what I said. They didn't care.
Yeah. So now going forward, they do care.
Yeah.
Is that enough?
Now he's locked in.
But they got 2-0'd, man. They're 2-0'd by Barca.
The past repeats itself.
I think it's quite spooky.
It is.
And I'm scared to predict.
No, everybody's scared of your predictions right now. Like,
No, and who you're a fan of. Like, whoever you're a fan of on the day, like, they're scared.
You know what? Let me ask you this.
Go ahead.
Eragon, look into the finals. 10 players. You know all of them. You're a fan?
Oh, no.
Of which one? What is the player you look like?
So how does it work if I'm a fan of two players in the same role? I'm a fan of Chocolat and I'm a fan of Nemesis, but they counter out and both in.
We're just not going to have the camera on mid lane at all.
Mid lane is not going to show up.
Both of them are going to have the worst series of their lives. I'm guessing that's what's going to happen.
No, pick one.
It might be.
You gotta pick one.
I like Nemesis better than Chocolat.
Oh, 7. Oh, 7.
Sorry, Rats. I think I've cooked you.
I think Nemesis is also co-streaming this. Oh,
I think
7.
I've cooked you. I like Nemesis more than
Sorry,
Chocolat.
Nemesis. I'm so sorry.
Make sure you
You
sleep well,
played
Nemesis.
so well yesterday, but this guy had to curse you. It all starts with one word. It all starts with success. That's what you just did.
Yep.
Okay, but when you look into the big picture, looking at Los Ratones and Barca, obviously the 2-0 coming in from the groups, but Los Ratones completely reshaped themselves. There are some weaknesses. We've seen it before. Boostgate versus Los Ratones. I think that was an amazing series. It was. I was nervous. I was really nervous on that one. I was watching Casual. I think Casual had like 5-10 hard attacks. But there are some weaknesses. But at the end of the day, what do you say?
I mean, the TCL is Los Ratones is kryptonite. I think
Right?
that's for sure. Super massive in
Yeah, for
winter, Boostgate now. I will say any team that's willing to take chances in the early game is Los Ratones is kryptonite because that's their weakest state. And Barca play purely for early game pressure through their mid jungle, which is absolutely beautiful to see. So they've got what it takes inherently as a team to take down Los Ratones.
I think stylistically as well, they don't match up into the how well they can take down the Baus sort of tactic, where you have White Knight on isolated scaling or on a tank, and Baus probably likes that. You know, he gets the scale up for free as well, and then he can play his mid to late game just fine. So I think in terms of matchup, I prefer Los Ratones as well.
But Baus did admit that top lane could be a concern facing White in. Like,
Then he called them
brought
both
it up.
demon players, you know?
White Knight, yeah. So this could be something where you don't even need to worry about the top lane, where the player can actually handle Baus by himself.
I feel like White Knight is just so underrated because we don't look at top lane at all. I feel like he was such an anchor today for the team. He was there with the Galio when he needed to be. Like, his timings were perfect. His teleports were fantastic.
It's the macro.
He knew when to pressure side lane. I think he made one mistake where he walked over as Mininar and died, and he didn't respect side map priorities, and that was his one big mistake where they lost 2 towers down bot lane. But I feel like that was his only big mistake in an entire series.
And when you look into the lane swaps as well, I think this is another topic. That could be a weakness coming in from Los Ratones, like some specific timings, because Baus always says, one more wave.
One more wave. And Nemesis always says, Baus, don't get that wave. They have portals. They're going to catch you.
It's mine, yoink.
Yeah.
And what happens?
And then he backs off, but he needs Nemesis there. And if Nemesis
Or he dies and Nemesis gets the wave. It's a win-win.
But if they do play will swaps, I agree with you, Barca. I think Baus does have a tendency to disrespect the potential for a swap at 3 minutes, 5 minutes, before grubs. And he often does do something like recall at the wrong spot or proxy at the wrong timing and die to the support. So I think that has potential to be exploited. Early swaps could be a weakness for Los Ratones.
But it depends if it's a good death or not.
Sure. And it's always a good death.
It's always
a good death.
See, you're learning.
I am.
You get the gist of it. Okay, you're part of the NLC. I'll say like, I don't know how to say like a newbie on the NLC. I mean, you've been there. We'll talk about that further on. We're just waiting a little while, by the way. We're just buying time to get an interview on here. But I know the players are celebrating as well. So as soon as we get the proper opportunity to jump into that interview, we'll bring the player in. From you, chat, I would like to know, obviously, a lot of you are Rats. So what would be the score for you on final, Barca or Los Ratones, taking into consideration that there's a rematch? And Barca already won versus Los Ratones once on a 2-0. But Los Ratones lower bracket existence, I think that's the
scary
theme
part, man.
for spring.
That's the scary part. When you've already
lower bracket.
beaten them on a clean 2-0, that's the scary part, jumping back in. Like, I will say, I have more, what's it called? I forgot the word.
But I believe you.
More faith. Thank you.
Ah,
I've got more faith in Barca than I did in Nord. When it came to the NLC finals, for example, when they won 2-0 and then they lost 0-3, I've got a lot more because I know the fire in these players like Thager, Checo, like they were unshakable.
There's a
And they have been unshakable throughout the whole bracket.
There's a Yankees somewhere in the world. Like, my back. My back. After you saying that, like, what do you mean you believe more in them? No, I agree. Like, there's a lot more fire on this team, on Barca, and in EMEA Masters finals as well. They are one step away. How long ago? Like, for how long have we got to see a Spanish team on finals on EMEA Masters?
Heretics was the last one, if I'm not wrong.
2022.
It's a long time.
That was Heretics.
Almost 3 years then, if it's
I think it's Heretics on 2022 final.
I feel like that was the Jack Spectra Heretics, if I'm not wrong. I think.
And now he's on the LEC, but on a different role as well, you know?
Man, he's done those all LEC.
I love when players get washed and now they turn into talent. I really like that.
Whoa.
I don't know. Wait, what? I'm kidding. By the way, sadly we can't get an interview, so we have to move on. Can we look into the bracket and just get a feeling before we wrap up the day and we wrap up the
Bring
analysis?
Checolat here right now, chat. Go to his Twitter, go to his Twitch stream. I don't know where he's live, and tell him to come here for an interview right now.
Find him, rat. Los Ratones 3-0 on BKR. That's first seed from LFL. And Barca took down KC Blue on a 3-1. The difference, well, at the end of the day, it's only one game away. That's the second seed from LFL. So it's now Spain versus NLC. We're living on a good times. Those from the NLC.
Shows you which one the strongest group was all along from the start of EMEA Masters.
Group F, yes.
Group F?
Yes, 0-7 for the other groups. So only Group 7 survives for the finals, which are going to be played on Saturday.
So we'll have one day. Everyone can get to clear their mind, rewatch the series, do their homework, and we'll be here again on Saturday.
Yeah, final remarks.
Not too much. We've had two, quite big stomps for semifinals. It's going to be interesting to see how two stomps pair off in the end in finals.
Okay.
I'm actually very excited. I think this is not going to be like a complete wash from the set of Los Ratones. I think Barca have a lot more heart and fire in them, and I'm expecting this to go all 5.
I know we have like representation from all the regions. We have the Red, we have Spain as well, we have KC, we have Torifel, and even Arc de Triomphe.
One guy made a prediction in the chat on the result of the finals. Ink says 3-1 Los Ratones.
Ink.
My goat. Absolutely my goat.
To be honest, like I'm being really honest, I think it's going to be 3-1 in favor of LR, but I really want a 3-2. Regardless of whoever wins, I actually want a 3-2. Yeah, I just want a 5 series banger, like in 2022, like Spain got it with Heretics. I think that's what I'm expecting. Well, from you back at home, we love you very much. We expect you to see you on Saturday as well. So far, this is going to be a banger. Is it back-to-back for the NLC, or will Spain take it home for Barcelona? The Messi of League versus Barcelona. Trouble brought it up. Now that's a match I can get behind. I'll see you soon, and until then, keep climbing.
nosebleed. So stick 'em up, spread 'em out like a rollie. Ayy, show me love like you know me. I'ma make 'em whoop, whoop like the police. Helen Keller forever, I'm about to grow dumb. I need a fuck to borrow because I got none. I got ways for days, you're looking washed up. you're just embarrassed, cause all of your bars are flaccid. Need Viagra just to spit a hook. You need a coroner cutting you like a warrior. All of your bars are boring, yeah, they're longer than the corridor. Your boys ain't cooks quick. It's tradition, the women are always better in the kitchen. Hustle, 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 hustle. You should already know. You should already know. Hustle, 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 hustle. Yeah. There's more money to blow. There's more money I gotta hustle, 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 hustle. Till I get that gold. Till I get that gold. Hustle, 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 hustle. Yeah. I make money, money, make money, money, money. 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 Hustle, 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 hustle. You should already know. You should already know. Hustle, 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 hustle. Yeah. There's more money to blow. There's more money I gotta hustle, 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 hustle. Till I get that gold. Till I get that gold. Hustle, 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 hustle. Yeah. I make money, money, make money, money, money.
Can't stop, won't stop till we on top. Quit, I think not. Coming hot for the #1 spot, yeah. No key, got the game on lock, ayy. Big threes when I take my shot, ayy. On the rise and we ain't gon' drop. On the grind, it's our time, just watch. If you want it, you can get it. Life gets hard, but don't you let it get you down. Go get the crown because our time is now. Ayy, we gotta get it. Gotta get up, gotta go, we gotta get it. Ayy, they won't forget us. Made it happen and we all became legends. We gotta get it, gotta get it, gotta get it. We gotta get it, gotta get it, gotta get it. We gotta get it, gotta get it, gotta get it. We gotta get it. We can't be contained when we leave the game. My name will remain. We don't need the fame. You can keep the chain. We broke free so things won't be the same. Nah, on the mission, gotta get it. Let's work. You were raised on the net. I'm raising my net worth, but it ain't about the money. Nah, it ain't about the cause. All that matters is the world knows who we are. Stars.